Hello, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran, and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. This is now episode 327. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Jaguars being exposed by the 49ers. If CJ Stroud is in an MVP conversation, we are also going to talk about the Browns' comeback win versus the Ravens, Bills firing Ken Dorsey, do our power rankings, and much more. We also got some special guests on the show today. Brett James, he's a Jaguars fan, and DJ Bien-Aime, ESPN beat reporter. How's everybody doing? And I know, Drew, you might be doing the best because the Broncos just beat the Bills yesterday.
Mr. River Brown, how are you doing today?
Contrary to popular belief, I had a great week until that day.
Because Browns memo you had on Twitter was hilarious.
Bro,
I heard it this morning. I was crying.
The Browns steal one in Baltimore, Brock Purdy back, and then just the Bills just continue to disappoint me every day. So you dropping that bombshell is nuts to start the show.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was crazy.
That was crazy.
Isn't this interesting, Riv? Remember, it's no 6 wins.
4 and 5, right?
Not a chance in hell.
We're
We're not worth watching.
They got the Vikings next week.
No, guys, we're not worth watching.
The
We're a
Vikings
football
look good.
team not worth watching.
The Vikings do
Do you think the Broncos are worth watching now?
I probably won't still watch them ever again.
I'll tell you what, last night's game,
it was a great
it was
game.
entertaining
Actually,
as
no,
hell.
Jettas might be back next week.
Jettas will
might
probably
be.
be back.
So
next
I
week.
would
that's
probably
a
say
fact.
that. Yeah, that was your Super Bowl.
That's not true.
Chiefs. Chiefs was Super
Oh,
Bowl.
it's your second Super Bowl.
I mean, I've actually seen a Super Bowl in my lifetime. But again, now that it seems like we're on an upward trajectory, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But I do one thing I do know is, are you gonna be owing me some bread at the end of the season?
It's okay. I'll pay you week 17.
No, you probably pay me a lot sooner than that.
No, I'm going to milk it to the end of the year.
Well, as soon as we hit 6, you
In
send
case
me
they
the
take
cash.
some
out.
losses away.
I'm going to milk it for sure. No, you had a great day. It was a great game.
It was great.
I texted you, like, dapped your hand for sure. Said GG. And then when you missed the field goal, I got geeked. And then 12
that
dudes
was
on the field.
crazy.
And I was like, yeah, it's just not meant for me to win tonight. But
So what's your question? Oh, no. What I actually have the question. What's your answer to Russell Wilson outperforming Josh Allen?
what?
What's your answer to Russell Wilson outperforming Josh Allen? Michael Jordan.
I don't think I mean, Russ played well.
Mhm.
Josh played bad.
Mm.
So I don't know. I don't have anything to say.
Oh, okay. No, because I remember you telling me that Russell Wilson's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
I mean, yeah,
He's
what
done.
What do you have?
Remember?
What do you have? Like 180?
Yeah, 165.
cool.
Something
He played
like
cool.
that, yeah.
He had over 200 all purpose.
He made timely throws.
Okay, 200 all-purpose. Yeah. Okay.
He made some
Yeah,
timely
he had a
throws.
couple. He had a couple.
Did
big
you actually
rushes.
think Josh Allen played like bad though?
I thought the people are weird because I
The
thought
second interception was not on.
no,
him.
no. You mean the second one was on him. The first one was
The
on him.
first
The
one.
That
second
was
one,
Gabe Davis.
and then
people-
fumbling the ball also. Like,
yeah, I think the
that definitely was
turnovers,
on him.
the
The-
turnovers
the
are exaggerated.
Botch snap with James Cook.
It wasn't. It
It was
wasn't.
both of their fault. I blame both.
He
of them.
literally just dropped it. He just dropped it. He didn't put it on James Cook's chest. He just dropped it.
I think they should take like 50% of the blame each for that one.
I think the turnovers exaggerate the game. He didn't play bad. It's just those two.
And then
turnovers are
how
bad.
crazy is it that on the last drive of the game, you guys didn't pass once?
They didn't have to. Be honest, it was gash after gash after.
Yeah,
gash.
once James Cook
fumbled.
broke
My
like
goodness,
two.
That was bad.
Once James Cook broke like two big plays.
Well, he fumbled and God said, "Don't worry, James, I got you." And the ball bounced right back into his
he
arms.
fumbled again. Yeah.
But then with less than 2 minutes on the clock, Russell Wilson goes and he leads a game-winning drive.
You got
Well,
lucky
we-
as fuck.
Why?
You missed a field goal.
Well, Will Lutz is mid.
No,
That's
for
how
you, for you
do
guys
it.
to win by 2 points with the turnover margin, you guys should have won by more.
They missed two. You missed the field
Bro,
goal.
every fucking
extra.
drive they had the ball
listen,
to 50.
to say we should have won by more when nobody expected us to win this game.
No,
outside
you
of,
should have
of course, me.
lost.
But I'm just
Should've
saying.
lost,
I know,
yeah.
but like based on like how the game happened,
Gabe
and the
Davis dropped a
events,
pass in the
I
red
think you
zone.
should have won more.
Okay, Gabe Davis not that good.
James Cook got like it was like me taking something from my son. That's how much he got. Like he
Mm.
did, like whoever that was, great play with
But
him.
the thing is,
He
James
took
Cook
the
also had.
ball
He had
out of
he had a
James Cook.
great.
He
a great
did,
game.
but
He did.
my
Yes.
God, to start the game like that was nuts.
I was lit.
I was mad as fuck. Like first play start like that is crazy.
We'll be talking about the Bills more. And
No, I just know we weren't going to be talking about the Broncos. So
No,
I
we
needed
can talk
to-
about
can
the
talk about the
Broncos in that
Broncos during that
segment.
topic.
Come on, G.
Don't you
We always
worry.
show
I'm
love
just
to
glad we're
Broncos.
talking about my fucking Browns, man. We're here, and I got questions for you in that segment too.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
before we start,
I can't wait.
before we start and get on to the
He's
Jaguars
got questions for
segment,
me when he didn't even pick them.
I told you during the
That
Patreon
was-
pick 'em.
Patreon, what did I do though?
You said you want to jinx them.
I jinxed the fuck out of them, and it worked.
You said the same thing with Houston too.
And I jinxed the jinx worked beautiful.
We'll call it even because I did the same thing with the Jaguars.
So do we take those wins away from your record or no?
No, those are still L's. But I'm glad those are L's because I said I want the Bengals and the Ravens to be jinxed as fuck, and they got jinxed.
So before we get Brett up on here to talk about the Jags, yes, of course I get it to you. Santos is he's added the totals up. I'm about to ask him to put him in the chat. Santos, if you want, put the totals up in the chat.
You had a tough week. I had a tough week.
Tell you what, Broncos saved me. They saved me.
So guess what? Last week when I recorded the Joe Moran show,
and you picking the Jets was huge.
I did a giveaway for Call of Duty, the new one. Santos won it. I did the spin the wheel thing.
That's got to be something.
And Santos won it. I did two. Just I'm gonna give out two, but Santos won the first.
Was it Alex Hernandez won the other one?
Alex Hernandez did win the other
one.
Yes,
I watch our content.
I can't wait for Santos to pull up these records because we're gonna talk about them. But right now we're gonna have Brett James up on the stage to talk about the Jaguars. How you doing, Brett?
What's up, man? I'm doing great, bro. It's been a good week. Jags didn't perform well on Sunday, man, but everything's going good, man. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, anytime, man. You sound a little bubbly right there.
It's all right. It was that quick transition to having you back on stage.
Yeah,
definitely, man, definitely. But I'm excited to be on, talk some Jags football with you guys. It's been a rough day. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a rough couple days trying to process what actually happened on Sunday, man. But like I said, 6-3. We're gonna be good moving forward.
You sound like somebody died. That's how bad the Jaguars got beat on Sunday.
It was tough.
My God,
brutal,
you know what's funny though? Hey, listen, Brett. Before of course, I already told you before the show. I'm gonna treat you like you're on the show, like just one of us. But I've been saying this for a couple now. The Jaguars are a good team. They are a good team, and when we do our power rankings, they're gonna be in our top 10. But they weren't this prolific team. The numbers, the advanced numbers, tell you that this is one of the best pass defenses. That this is one of the more mediocre rush defenses. When you look at the flat out numbers, it's opposite. They're bottom 3 in terms of pass defense, in terms of yards allowed. When it comes to their rush defense, they're one of the teams that give up the fewest rush yards in the league. So advanced statistics, they're just always a headache for me, because in this situation, what am I supposed to do? Not trust my eyes, not trust the raw statistics as well, because against the Niners, they looked pedestrian. This team was completely mishandled. Let me not say mishandled, but that also too. But at the same time, they got manhandled was the word I'm looking for. Unprepared also. No, there's many words you could use for that performance. Now, Trevor Lawrence, who has been kind of skating around being one of the main blames throughout the season and for their offensive woes, I'll say, because the advanced numbers do support Trevor Lawrence, and he's looked all right. The receiving core outside of a Christian Kirk, who in my opinion is the wide receiver 1 on this team, they've had their issues with drops. So for Trevor to have the game that he did against the Niners, there's no avoiding blame here. He was definitely at fault for this performance. Two bad interceptions, a fumble as well. Christian Kirk, ironically, who I believe is the wide receiver 1, he also did fumble in the red zone. That was a brutal turnover for them. But what that Niners offense did to the Jaguars was an ass kicking.
Are you surprised?
I can't say I am, because River, what did I tell you? I don't worry about the Niners with this game because I know who the Jaguars are. But if the Jaguars were this team, if the Jaguars were this team that I've been told, right, the advanced statistics tell you that this pass defense is a top 8 unit. They would have been able to stop Brock Purdy, who struggled these last 3 weeks. Remember, think about the slander that you've received these last 3 games from Brock Purdy. Going up against the Jaguars, they should have been able to handle business. How wasn't that the case?
Well, listen, last week on the show when we talked about 49ers, I think I very honestly said that Brock Purdy didn't play a bad game against the Bengals. He played well against them. He had over 300 yards. He made some big-time throws. He had 2 turnovers. We have said repeatedly the Vikings game was solid, but then he had those turnovers late in the game. So it's not like Brock Purdy has been just regular. He's been playing well up until the late game turnovers when the team has been trailing. You're funny, Drew. Brett, I know you're probably vomiting in your mouth listening to Drew talk about your Jaguars like this.
Drew's throwing too much shit out there about my Jags. Come on, let's pump the brakes.
Don't worry. I got you right now. Listen, it's funny when the first bad game for the Jaguars, or you're coming after them, that you've known this team all along, buddy. What are the Dolphins' record against 500 teams? Every time the Dolphins lose, is you coming up here? Oh, they're still dark horse. We did a Bleacher Report early. You had them number one as a dark horse contender in the NFL. Listen, I didn't want to argue on the Bleacher Report stream. It was 30 minutes. Our cutoff was coming.
Interesting. But listen, he agreed with my list. He had the Dolphins number one right there with me. Don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you.
It's hilarious because the Jaguars had a bad week. But before this week, the Jaguars, quite literally, of all the 6-win teams, had the best strength of schedule record, and they beat good football teams. The Dolphins got demolished by the Bills.
They beat the Bills in London. They beat the Bills in London.
Don't give me the whole jet lag. Bills got beaten in London.
They had a vacation over there.
We had an extra week of rest. Don't give me that though. You go out there and you play the game, man.
Have been playing well, and for you to call this team fraudulent, I don't think they're a fraudulent team. And Trevor Lawrence, his numbers have been pedestrian this year. Even the advanced numbers say he's been middle of the pack. The eye test tells you he's been more than that. He's been playing high. He's been playing at a high level, but it's just the supporting cast around him just has not been that good.
Like yesterday.
The biggest thing that was exposed against the Jaguars was they're playing in trenches. That's it. ESPN Analytics, according to them, the Jaguars are 46% in pass block win rate, 31st in the NFL, and 68% run block win rate, 30th in the NFL. This is Daniel Jones' Giants offensive line level bad, a guy that you routinely defended every single week.
Right.
The Jaguars are playing with this bad of an offensive line.
And you're going to drag him down? That's
Daniel
really
prayers
typical.
to Daniel Jones.
Yeah, that's really typical, bro.
49ers had 16 pressures, 6 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, and 6 hurries. Trevor Lawrence was pressured on 55% of his dropbacks.
Chase Young,
it's impossible to play quarterback when you're pressured that much. And they had turnovers in costly moments, like the Christian Kirk fumble in the red zone. You mentioned it was 17-3 at that point. Could have been a one-possession game had they capitalized, but Kirk fumbled. Lawrence had a fumble early in the game. His first interception was Tank Bigsby not catching the ball and it bouncing off his hands, leading to an interception. And his second interception, the game was out of reach. He's trying to make a play. Bad play.
Okay. I'm
bad
going to
play.
say we're going to let that one skate. Just let it go on to the
terrible
road.
Decision. Bad play. And that was what sealed the game up ultimately. But the Jaguars were exposed in the trenches on throws between 2.5 seconds to 4 seconds. He's been pressured on 43% of his dropbacks, the highest rate of any quarterback in the NFL. This offensive line for the Jaguars is not good. Ben Cleveland has not made his debut yet. He's going to help somewhat, but he's not going to change this offensive line around. And the 49ers,
you refer to Ezra Cleveland, right?
Yes, correct. Ezra Cleveland. I apologize. Yeah. Ezra Cleveland, who they just got from the Vikings. When it comes to the Jaguars, I thought their defense was solid for the most part. But when your offense is unable to sustain any drives and you're consistently out there against a 49ers offense that is off a bye week, they have scripted up a perfect game plan against your defense. It's going to be difficult. I think the 49ers showcased to us, I mean, we know they're a top team in the NFL. The Jaguars had a bad week, but I think Trevor Lawrence and his team will bounce back. Weeks 11 onward in 2022, Lawrence was 5th in EPA per play, 3rd in success rate,
2022
had 12 touchdowns to 2 interceptions and a 103 passer rating. I expect Trevor Lawrence to bounce back from this week going forward. He had the worst performance of his career. I think he will bounce back. And this upcoming week, he has a get-right game that I think he's going to ball out in.
Brett, let me get your talk, man. First of all, go follow Brett on social media.
Run that up.
He covers the Jags. He's a damn reporter, damn beat reporter for the Magic. So give him a follow.
HQ.
But Brett, let me get your thoughts on this game.
Go ahead, man. San Francisco.
Either or,
man.
whatever you want to start with.
Go ahead. No, the San Francisco game just horrible from the get-go. I mean, coming off a bye week, you get Trent Williams back, you get Deebo Samuel back. They have no Aaron Banks. Nonetheless, the Jaguars should have been prepared. You got Tyson Campbell coming back, who unfortunately left the game early. Andre Cisco. You come in prepared. You understand that this 49ers team was kind of falling off the train tracks a little bit. And, bro, Jacksonville did not capitalize at all from the get-go. Not only did Brock Purdy have that incredible first drive, goes all the way down the field, scrambles out left, hits Brandon Ayuk over 2 defenders, and just an incredible drive. Jacksonville got out-physicaled, outclassed, out-coached, out-schemed, everything from the moment the ball kicked off Sunday afternoon. It was a horrible performance. And Jacksonville, I wouldn't say got exposed, but I think you saw Jacksonville, like you said, Joel, get exposed in the trenches. The Jaguars have had their offensive line struggles all season long. You've had a handful of different starting offensive linemen. Cam Robinson missed the first 4 games of the season. You've had Luke Fortner, who's regressed. Brandon Sheriff's played up and down. You have a rookie right tackle in Anton Harrison. Trevor Lawrence has made this offensive line look better because he's a great quarterback, and he's second in the league behind Tua in terms of time to throw the ball. So the Jaguars' offensive line needs to be significantly better moving forward, regardless if they're playing an elite team like the Niners or not. And then defensively for the Jaguars, you got to give it up to Joel's front runner for MVP, Brock Purdy. Bro, he played a hell of a game. I mean, he did nothing wrong in this game. 3 touchdowns, had a damn near perfect passer rating, perfect quarterback rating. Just the Jaguars, everywhere you look, out-coached, out-physicaled, outplayed. Nothing they could do went right. And the last thing I'll say about the Jaguars is if this Jaguars team, if the defense specifically is not generating turnovers and flipping the field for the offense to put them in good field position, this offense is anemic because our offensive play caller, Press Taylor, who's taken on that full-time responsibility, he's been shit this year. It's just plain and simple. Doug Peterson handed him the reins this season prior to week 1, and the offensive play calling, execution, and preparation throughout the week has been horrendous. The Jaguars have masked it with a defense that creates a lot of turnovers and creates that to help the offense. So when this offense is not put into a good field position, they don't have the consistent players in the scheme to go 80, 90 yards down the field and consistently score. Plus, they're turning the ball over in the red zone all the time. Just so many issues with the Jaguars, but they do have a get-right game this Sunday.
Who they got?
Titans.
Oh, they got the Titans.
Titans.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Jags are forcing the most turnovers in the league right now. They were tied for number 1 entering the week. They're still probably up there. Although the Niners, like you said, played damn near perfect ball. I told you I'm a little under the weather. But flu game,
like a lot deeper.
But not the
like a man.
Mr.
Bro,
Dehls
just hit puberty overnight.
Mr. Dehls sounds like you Rack Dehls.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get through it. But now this Jags team, I don't think you could say they got exposed because I still like them. I still think they should be the favorites in the AFC South.
Sure.
What Houston is doing, I think has to be noticed, has to be recognized because CJ Stroud is playing at a top level. But right now, the 49ers, this is more about the Niners than the Jags to me. I thought they dominated this game. I think that, and I even tweeted this out, that I feel like a lot of people overreacted to October football with the 49ers. They overreacted to a couple of games where it was really just a couple plays by Brock Purdy, a couple turnovers where he was playing well for majority of these games. And then fourth quarter comes down the stretch. He made some key mistakes that ended up costing them the game. They were also dealing with some injuries to some of their best players like Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel. They had a bye week to get right, to get healthy, another extra week of preparation for Kyle Shanahan. And you see what happens. I mean, they doubled up Jacksonville in terms of yards gained. They averaged over 7 yards a play. I mean, every play they were gashing them. CMC looked phenomenal. There's really not a ton you could take away from the Niners side. Be like, what can you improve on? Of course, coaches every week be like, oh, we can get better at X, Y, and Z. But you just went on the road into Jacksonville, a team that's going to be competing in the playoffs, probably hosting a playoff game, and absolutely tore them apart. So I don't want to, get too ahead of myself with San Francisco. I still think them and Philadelphia are the 2 best teams in the NFC. But I have more takeaways from San Francisco side saying this is the team that they've been all along. It was just a couple games in October that didn't go their way, where Brock made a couple bad interceptions. The concussion also in the Minnesota game probably had a part in it too. But overall, you got to feel fantastic if you're a 49ers fan. And for Jacksonville, maybe the hype was just a little bit too much because, as you mentioned, Drew, with the statistics from Jacksonville, I think a lot of it helps when you're able to generate so many turnovers.
For sure.
But when you're not able to generate those turnovers and you're going up a high-powered offense, I know they did it in Buffalo, or I guess in London against Buffalo. They were able to, get away with it. But still, if you're not able to consistently get stops and having the bar set with the 49ers, which is going to be, top 2, top 3 offense probably at the end of the season, this is going to be a big test for them. And they failed that test. But I think, like I said at the beginning, you should still look at them as the best team in the AFC South. They just have some hurdles to get past. And right now, 49ers are clearly a better team.
They do. And let me chime in real quick, Joel. Do you still got Houston winning the division? I'm curious.
He's aggravated.
I think it's close. I think
it is close.
I think it's close.
I think it's close.
Are a better football team. I think all around the Texans are a better football team. And the way CJ Stroud is playing, he's playing at the level Trevor Lawrence can play at right now, at least statistically. So they're playing now well. I'm glad that you asked me that though, because
he is. And I mean, Jacksonville's got 2 big games. They got versus Tennessee this Sunday, and then at NRG they play Houston. So 2 divisional games. I know you guys are going to be tapped into that Texans and Jaguars game in 2 weeks. That's going to be a huge game, big test, and can't have the Texans sweep us this year.
I was going to say they did what they wanted to do.
That sound good. You know, if you're a 49ers fan, you should be feeling really good about this win.
I'm glad you said that.
Riv, how you
it's my
feeling?
turn to talk.
49ers
I was going to
fan.
say, I know Riv, he don't care about the Jaguars right now. All he cares about is the Niners.
The Jaguars are a good team. They'll have their time in the sun, but right now it's just not their time. You know, they'll fight with the Texans for the division. Trevor Lawrence is going to be great. Listen, I think people overreact to when the Niners whip teams' asses, because I think the Niners are just so good that they can beat like almost any team in the league. They can do this to when they are fully healthy, or even 90% healthy. Like they just did this to Dallas not too long ago. So like this is a team that, you know, credit to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've been playing great football up into that game, but this is a team with one of the most high-powered offenses in the league, one of the best defense. They just picked up Chase Young. Like this is a team that on any given night, any given Sunday, they can destroy teams. So I don't like they beat the Jacksonville. Did they destroy them? Yeah, I'm not going to look too much into it. Jacksonville doesn't have to play them probably ever again, you know. And on top of that, they have to focus on the Texans and winning that division because, like you mentioned, Houston is coming. Houston is right there with them. They already lost to Houston, so they got to get that win back. But talk about Brock Purdy. I mean, did you see that pass to
Kittle?
No,
George Kittle.
Did you see the Ayuk
Oh,
pass?
yeah.
And then the Kittle pass,
first touchdown.
The pocket collapsed. He just slid
First
that.
touchdown I felt was a little lucky.
The first one was like
lucky.
He looked. He was like,
No,
Ayuk
the one
out there somewhere.
he had a nice touch on that one.
Yeah, man. Listen,
The first one was risky. Kyle Shanahan said it was the worst decision he's ever made
well,
since he's been the quarterback.
Listen,
yeah,
they're all risky, but you got to make them how you make them. And then the Kittle one was amazing.
the Kittle one was his best throw of the year.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, hater. For sure though.
I love Brock Purdy.
You know,
I love his story.
Yeah, I know. But like the Niners are so back, and Dehls mentioned it. Like people overreacted to them having a few bad games. I mean, a lot of teams have those type of bad games. You look at the Chiefs, they've had a bad game. You look at the Eagles, they had a bad game. Like top teams.
It was a 3-game skid though,
for sure. But I think they were banged up.
But they weren't getting killed. I mean, Cincy, they kind of got dominated.
They got dominated in the fourth.
Since
they got dominated towards the end because they were making turnovers. For the most part, they don't get dominated. They lose. You look at the Niners, you'll be like, it's because you made timely turnovers at the end. And that's why because that Viking game, they had that game in the cards. They made some timely turnovers. But I think this just showed like this offense, when they're clicking and they're healthy, they're one of the most like we know what the Niners is when they're healthy. They're one of the most dominating teams in the league. They're a top 2 team, 2 at worst in the NFC, a top 5 team in the league. Like when they're on and they're healthy, I don't think we need to say too much. And Dehls mentioned that you take away more for the Niners, but in my opinion, I don't think you can take away more from either team. The Jaguars played a tough team. This was a moment where they can put their stamp on the league. They couldn't capitalize. It's fine. The Niners just reminded everybody who they are when they're at their best. And I think, honestly, this is back to a 2-man race in the NFC with the Niners, with the Eagles.
Respect Dallas. They've been playing some really good football.
Don't care.
They've been playing some really good football. Last thing I'll say before we move on or whatever we're going to do, I'll say this. What impressed me the most was I expected the Jaguars offense to run relatively smoothly from what we've seen from the Niners over these last 3 weeks. The secondary has been relatively forgiving. So for them to get the pressure that they did on Trevor Lawrence, to make him feel as uncomfortable as he was in the pocket, that's one thing I got to credit to the Niners.
Ridley has been very underwhelming this year, though.
No, definitely.
Yeah, Brett, what's going on with Ridley, man?
Man, it's like I said, it's a part of Press Taylor not getting him involved in the game plan. And also, if you look at the Saints game a couple of weeks ago prior to the bye week, Marshawn Lattimore had him on an island. Just Trevor Lawrence in this execution of the game plan. It's just not going towards Calvin Ridley. Ridley had, his early season struggles, really kind of getting back into form, but this team is just missing Zay Jones. That's really what this comes down to. And especially with Calvin Ridley kind of struggling out there. Not sure if you guys saw the Zay Jones news last night. Yeah. I kind of checked up on that trial as well this morning as well, too. Won't even get into the details of that, but getting back to Calvin Ridley in this offense needs Zay Jones out there. They need that vertical ability, help alleviate some pressure and kind of take some eyes away from Calvin and Christian because defenses can lock in on them. And then Drew, what you said about Trevor Lawrence just in the offense really struggling this past weekend, bro, San Francisco's defense not only has all pro level on all 3 levels, which I credit them for. Steve Wilkes coming down to the field, I thought was incredible, but they kind of expose what defenses need to do in terms of game plan against this Jaguars offense. Press up at the line of scrimmage, send 4, drop 7 back in coverage. And a lot of these guys aren't creating separation, right? Jamal Agnew leaves the game. You have Elijah Cooks out there or Tim Jones as your wide receiver 3 next to Ridley and Kirk. So if you can press up on these guys, get guys to, like Eric Armstead, Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, everybody out there. These guys can expose the Jaguars offensive line, create pressure, rattle Trevor Lawrence, and these receivers aren't creating separation. So it's a culmination of everything. The offensive line's not playing well. Trevor Lawrence is second-guessing everything. Calvin Ridley's not getting involved in the game plan. And if Travis Etienne gets bottled up, which is hard to do, but if he does, it's hard to get the passing game going as well, too. There's so many issues with this Jaguars offense, and Doug Peterson needs to become the full-time play caller again.
I think you said a lot of good things, and I think that's one of the solutions, making Doug Peterson a play caller. But that's what I saw earlier today. I checked up on this game. I was watching it, and the way the 49ers shut down this Jaguars offense was similar to how they shut down the Cowboys offense. The Jaguars offense is very horizontal. Crossers, quick game, that's what their bread and butter is. They don't have many vertical threats. So when you have a team like the 49ers that they take away the middle of the field, they press up, they mess up the timing of the offense. The receivers, they were bottled up in this game. Trevor Lawrence, I felt like he did second guess things. He didn't rip throws quickly enough, and that led to his poor play. And then the offensive line got completely demolished. And if it's not a run on the outside, it's very hard for this offensive line to create lanes for Travis Etienne to run through. In between the tackles, they cannot run the ball. So I think that the Jaguars just have to get more creative in making this offense more horizontal and kind of getting out that quick game. But the difficulty with that is you cannot really call longer developing concepts with this current offensive line and how they're playing. But I do think the solution moving forward is just to make Doug Peterson a full-time play caller for this offense.
Yeah,
Right.
I would like to see. Go ahead.
He does need to be.
Right. Question. Your team just got their ass whipped, right? Okay, so
yeah, we got our ass whooped.
let me
We got
ask
our
you.
shit rocked.
You did.
I got 3 questions for you.
3.
Yeah. Question number 1,
Understand.
and you can answer after. Question number 1, do you think you'll win the division? Question number 2, if you don't think you'll win the division, do you think you'll still make the playoffs? And question number 3, how far will you guys go in the playoffs?
Okay, great question. Yes, we're still winning the division. 2, not concerned about Tennessee or Houston or Indianapolis sneaking up on us, even though I respect them.
The team that beat
And
you
lastly,
recently,
our ceiling in the playoffs is AFC Championship game. Being completely objective and honest, that's our ceiling because of what I've seen all season. And secondly, no one's getting through Kansas City in the AFC. At the end of the day, I truly believe wholeheartedly, if Patrick Mahomes is on the other side of the ball, I don't care if he's having a flu game, having an ankle injury.
So Brett, you think you can beat the Ravens?
We play the Ravens later in the season, so yeah, we're gonna see. We'll also play Cincinnati at home Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. Look, Jack, let me put it to you like this. There's 3 teams in the NFL in Tier 1. I think you guys would agree with me. Kansas City, Philadelphia, San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone else in that next tier,
I'm going to respect Baltimore as well. Baltimore
Baltimore's not on that Tier 1 yet. They're not in that. They're still in that. They can be in the top of Tier 2.
Until this past Sunday, the conversations were that this was the best team in the NFL. This is the best team in the AFC. I think you have to respect the Baltimore Ravens. I understand the loss to the Browns. I get
Lamar guy, but
I'm just saying the defense has been great. Lamar Jackson had probably his worst game of the season, and they lost by what? 1 point.
Yeah. No, I'm personally putting Baltimore at the top of Tier 2, but I think everyone else you can throw in there: Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Dallas. Handful of teams like that are able to compete. Miami's going to be in there as well. Jacksonville's in that mix. I think Jacksonville any given Sunday can go out there and beat a Cincinnati. They can beat a Miami, right? They can beat a Baltimore. Okay. I don't know if I trust Jacksonville to beat Kansas City in the last 3 times that we've played them, twice last season in the regular season, once in the regular season, once in the postseason, and then in week 2 this year. I got to see us beat Kansas City.
Okay, I respect that.
Want to know your last one?
Could not be my team. Last time we saw them, we handled business.
Yeah, y'all handled business.
I would like to see ETN get more involved in the passing game when they have this type of game script, because I mean, you guys blinked and you're down 10-0, right? You had a first drive, you go 3 now, get sacked. Second drive, you go 3 now, and you have a screen set up. Agnew doesn't go out for the screen. weird play. Trevor,
Yeah, that was
back.
on an audible. That wasn't on an audible. There was a miscommunication there. Nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah. But then like Etienne, in my opinion, is your best player. So I would like he did get 4 targets, I want to say, but we know how great he could be as a pass catcher. So in those games where you have a negative game script, you're coming back from behind. I would like to see him get more design plays, get him open in space, because we know with the ball in his hands, I mean, he's shown time and time again this year that, you know, he can make some special plays happen.
Yeah, he's
And I'm
definitely
glad
a top back.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the miscommunication on that screenplay, because I think that was a summary of kind of what the game was for the Jaguars. They just were unprepared. Off the bye week, you cannot be that unprepared against a 49ers team.
You have to be
it's
focused.
really just as simple as that. I see you smiling, Drew.
Listen, man, I'm sorry.
Should have taken the Niners,
I
bro.
don't know what to say. I'm not upset. I'm not upset. You watch the Patreon. That little part of the Patreon episode is worth watching, because it's honestly ironic.
Let me chime in and ask you guys really quickly, because Riv, I know you asked me. What do you guys think is the ceiling for the Jaguars team? Like ceiling?
I think
for the
second
season.
round.
Second round.
Divisional?
I think you're a first round exit.
That's not crazy.
Oh, you think that's our ceiling? You think a first round exit is our
I'm
ceiling?
gonna give them their ceiling.
So you think their ceiling is first round?
My fault. I completely misread the question.
That's all
I
right.
apologize.
Give me their
Well,
ceiling.
It depends. Like if
It
they
does.
like, it's like, bro.
They get
If they play
Baltimore round
Cincinnati
one.
in the
Yeah,
first round, I can see them losing.
I
I
agree.
can too.
Yeah, and I can see us losing. I can also see us winning that game.
I would
I
say
think we
because
can
you
beat
guys
any
gonna have
team.
a home game. I would say
If
second
they
round.
win the division again.
Yeah. If you win the division, you have a home game. I see your ceiling second round.
We're better on the road this year. I don't know what to tell you, man. Look at the records. We're way better on the road.
Home, they're terrible. I think right now it's a little bit too early to tell. I think the
Mhm.
Jaguars, they need to make some changes, and Trevor Lawrence got to get back on track. But when you got a quarterback like him and a defense that can force turnovers, you'll be able to make some noise. I think the ceiling is the AFC Championship for this team. Now, Brett, before we get you out of here, anything that you want to plug in, things that you're doing, things that you're working on, you could plug it in right here.
Yeah, man. Just want to say, first of all, thank you guys, man, for having me onto the channel talking some Jags football. Hopefully next time that we're actually talking, it's some, playoff matchups and see where Jacksonville's going to be at. But no, man, for you guys that don't know and haven't been following me, I'm a Jags and Magic content creator. I work with the Orlando Magic HQ, so I actually attend and I cover the Orlando Magic, all the home games at the Amway Center. I'm around the coaches, players, around the court, and it's just been a great season, man. Orlando's got a lot of fun things going in their direction. Jacksonville's still a good young and up-and-coming team, so you guys can go check out my Twitter at TheBrettJames1, my link tree to all my socials, including my YouTube. It's all in there, man. So it's just going to be a great year covering the rest of these teams.
Listen, man, all the homies love Jamal Agnew. All
yes,
right.
we do, man. Yes, we do. Always.
Brett, man.
Have a great day,
Appreciate
Brett.
you guys, man. Take care.
Sir.
On to the next topic.
Here we go.
I'm excited for
I know
this
you've been
one.
waiting on
Now
this
the
one. I'll tell
juicy
you what,
one.
I definitely been waiting on this one too.
CJ Stroud, has he put himself in the MVP conversation? We have DJ Bien-Aime, who covers the Texans
DJ, what
beats,
up?
on the show. What's up, DJ?
DJ,
What's good? How y'all doing?
doing all right,
Doing good.
man. Appreciate you coming back on the show.
For sure. I mean, last time I was on was right before the 2022 training camp. You know, you guys had really high hopes for number 2 in New York. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, we see where that's gone. Hope has vanished. So
Hope has vanished. Now, DJ, I want to ask you, because I had you on a Joe Moran show a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about the Texans, their playoff chances, CJ Stroud, how he's playing. We talked about the Jaguars too. We just had Brett James on to talk about the Jaguars and their loss to the 49ers.
If you call it that, yes.
What is your opinion on the Jaguars with how badly they lost? Because I know you're a little bit of a Jags hater right now.
I'm not a Jags hater. I just didn't really see the hype.
Yeah.
Because they didn't really do that much in the offseason to improve their team. Historically, since I want to say 2016, teams that spend a lot of money in free agency, they tend to reap the benefit immediately, that immediate year. So them making the playoffs and winning a playoff game wasn't a surprise. But they usually all those teams regress in some capacity, whether it's one game or 2 games or whatever. Like again, 2016, the Giants spent a bunch. They went to the playoffs. The next year in 2017, I believe they went 5-11, and that's how they ended up with Saquon. Or they might have went 4-12 because they had the number 2 pick.
Yep.
Then obviously in 17, I forgot who spent the most, but I remember in 2020 and 2021, the Dolphins spent the most. They had won 10 games. The Patriots spent the most. They won 10 games, and both of them regressed Patriots ended up winning 8 the following year. Dolphins ended up winning 9 the following year. And the reason why the Dolphins even won 9 because they had a terrible schedule down the stretch where they were playing a whole bunch of bums. They played the Jets twice. They
That's
played.
Don't expose that, DJ.
They played the Saints. The Saints when they had everybody out with COVID. So like there's a history of like teams that spend a lot of money. They get that immediate jump and then they regress a little bit. I thought the Jags would regret, like they would be like closer to 500 at this point. But they're not. I think they'll still make the playoffs. I do think that their issues. I heard you guys on last segment. I think their issues can't be fixed. Right? They can't. They're not a good pass blocking team. And as the other guy said, right, if you press and force Trevor to hold the ball, the O-line is going to cave. Period. So, because they have right now, according to one ESPN stat, pass block win rate, they're 31st. They're right ahead of the Patriots. The Patriots have the worst. So, and then down the stretch, the Jags are going to play 3 teams that are in the top 8 in pass rush win rate, or just pass rush, like just pressure on quarterbacks. The Texans, the Browns, and the Ravens. They're going to play all 3 of those teams. 2 of the 3 are going to be on the road, I believe. So they have a really, really tough schedule. And they still got to play the Bengals, but I think they match up better with the Bengals because the Bengals pass rush hasn't been as good this year.
Sure.
And they can't stop the run. So the Bengals, that's why I laugh when people think like the Bengals are going to like turn it around. The Bengals have issues. They can't pass protect. They can't run the rock, and they can't stop the run. That's 3 out of the 4 issues that you need to be able to do to be able to win consistently in this league. And they can't do it. They can't run. They can't stop the run, and they can't rush the passer. Good luck. And my bad. And they can't protect the passer because you just saw Joe Burrow get sacked 4 times against the Texans. So yeah. But back to the Jags.
Completely to you.
Sheldon Rankins had a vintage game versus the Bengals.
He learned so
Yeah,
much.
exactly. So like, but it's funny. The Jags and the Bengals play each other down the stretch. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah. I wasn't that high on the Jags because of their offensive line issues, and I thought that their run game, their run defense wouldn't be as good. I think it's been solid, but again, like if you can't protect the passer, I can't believe that you have that much capability of winning anything significant. So I think we've all gotten blinded and confused by Joe Burrow and the Bengals not having good pass protection and being able to win. But in the playoffs, their defense carries them more than we want to admit, right? Like when they got to the
right now.
He's talking directly to you, by the way.
when they got to the Super Bowl in 2020, the 2021 season, they held the Raiders to 19 points. They forced Tannehill and the Titans. They held them to 16 points, and they forced 3 turnovers, and then they held Mahomes in to 3 points in the second half. Like, yeah, Joe Burrow makes some cool throws, and Joe Burrow dresses really nice, and he has swag, but like that was more of a defensive Super Bowl run. If we just
don't get McPherson.
You cannot forget about Evan McPherson.
Hey, thank you, thank you, DJ, for pointing out the fact that in order for teams to go on a Super Bowl run, you need to have things clicking around you. But don't forget about that man, Joe Burrow, how great Joe Burrow is, DJ.
He is great. He is great, but like he's not out there by himself. I think we love to talk about quarterbacks like it's the NBA. And if you got a quarterback, you good. Nah, you still need a good team around them. Like there's no such thing as like a LeBron in the NBA where like you just give them anything and they're gonna still be able to win, 50 games in his prime.
That's how I felt about Mahomes last year, unfortunately.
Yeah, but even then, like Mahomes has a great O-line, great D-line, great defense now. He has arguably the best tight end ever, arguably the best offensive line ever. Like Mahomes not out there by himself. Like I know we like to talk like that.
I'm gonna use all these arguments to not give him as much credit as he probably deserves.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, you up to something. You up to something.
That's fine. Like Mahomes got every great. That's why like when people talk about like Brock ain't that good or Goff ain't that good or Tua ain't that good, bro. Like everybody that succeeds has talent around them. Like Josh Allen ain't just forget how to play football. Like he doesn't have it's not that great of an infrastructure around him. He got one receiver, one tight end, decent run game, and that's it. Like, of course, you're not gonna win that much. And the defense can't stop nobody.
DJ, before we get into a deep dive into the Texans, now I could be wrong if memory serves me correct. You are a Dolphins fan, correct?
Big Dolphins fan.
All right.
It brought me joy watching the Bills lose last night.
That's a fact. Hey, and I'm a Broncos fan, but Tua is probably my favorite player in the league, honestly.
Let's go. I'll be seeing your tweets.
That's my dog for sure. But let me get your quick insight before we get into the Texans. What you think about Tua and the Miami Dolphins?
I think
It can't be good teams. That's one takeaway.
so they can't be two good teams. Let us be fair. They couldn't be two good teams that both were in the Super Bowl, and it was a one-possession game going into the fourth. I think the defense is getting better, and I think for me, they can run the rock. So if you can run the rock, you can stop the run. I think you can in the playoffs you can make a run. So they might not be in that tier 1, but they're for sure in that tier 2 in the league. That if they're in the playoffs, they can run the rock and they can stop the opposing offense. Their defense has been playing well the past few weeks. Now they got Ramsey back. Like Chubb is starting to come on strong. Phillips starting to come on strong. Obviously, if Howard is your number 2 corner, like you're in a good spot. So I think like they're gonna be clicking. Like they're not peaking yet. They're gonna peak eventually, and you want to peak later than early because the Bills peaked when they beat the Dolphins. That was basically their Super Bowl.
How is their Super Bowl? You're spitting.
Yeah. That was the Super Bowl because they've literally been terrible since. Like,
that's a fact.
You know. So So I mean, I think like obviously like I think the Chiefs are the class with the Ravens. I think the Ravens and the Chiefs are like neck and neck.
I'm with you.
But I think the AFC is wide open though. I think anybody can be beat. I think like the AFC looks like what we thought it was going to be last year in regards to all the talent and the quarterbacks and stuff like that. But I think this year it's really what we thought it was going to be last year. I think 1 through 6 will be able to give whoever they're facing absolute hell.
I'm with you.
There's going to be a loaded AFC playoff picture.
We're about to talk about number 7 right now.
Yeah, it still might end with Patrick Mahomes, the king of the NFL, holding up the crown at the end.
Don't do that.
I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl this year.
I said that last year.
Their offense is not that good. Their defense,
their offense is not that good. Like last year, their offense was still elite, and their defense was still top 10 in scoring defense last year.
How are they going to figure it out?
If the question mark about the Chiefs is their offense with Patrick Mahomes, I like my chances.
I agree.
I mean, we've seen Brady. You feel me? With a mediocre offense, with a great defense, get in the playoffs and they lose. It wasn't like Brady forgot how to play. It was just like at the end of the day, you got to be a scorer. And their
Mahomes
offense
is better than Brady, respectfully.
No, he's not.
Just as a player, not like all time ranking stuff.
Even as a player, he's not. Even as a player, he's not.
Come on, DJ. Let's be honest.
Mahomes is more entertaining, sure, but Brady's still a better player.
He's not even Peyton, bro. So what do you mean calling him?
What do you think? What do you think, DJ? Mahomes or Peyton?
Come on, DJ.
Peyton. I would still lean Peyton. Because you gotta understand, like the stuff that makes those guys great isn't like as pleasant or easy for the casual eye to see. Because again, like their whole game is predicated off of processing, and Mahomes processes too. But what people love about Mahomes is the fact that is what he can do off script. You know what I'm saying? In the highlight and the wild plays. But in reality, like he's also an elite processor too. So it's just that we diminish that to prop up his off script stuff. But any coach will tell you you'd rather have a quarterback play off script the whole game than play on script the entire game, because if he's on script and he's reading and dissecting and processing and getting the ball out quickly, there's nothing you can do. But if you turn it to backyard football, defensive coordinators they'll love that versus the alternative, which is them just 1, 2, 3 picking you apart that way. So
now I agree with Riv when Riv said we got to talk about the next up and coming.
We got him.
Great quarterback in the NFL,
no doubt.
And that's for CJ Stroud. The Texans beat the Bengals 30-27.
What a game.
They had 17 explosive plays against Cincinnati. The first game where I seen the Texans offense as a whole really click. Devin Singletary had what? 150 rushing yards. They were gashing the Bengals in the run game. CJ Stroud made high-level throws, led a game-winning drive. And last week we had an NFL awards show, and we predicted our awards. MVP, I had Lamar Jackson. My dark horse, I said, listen, dark horse, I think it's CJ Stroud. I think it's CJ Stroud. I winked at the guys over here on the table. Drew told me, no way, CJ Stroud can't be MVP. No way. But then he beat the Bengals. I got the whole world talking about CJ Stroud. Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Bleacher Report. They saying Stroud MVP. I'm looking at BetMGM.
I'll tell you what,
Stroud.
The whole world is talking about CJ.
Stroud has walked into MVP conversation. And DJ, I just want to ask you, are you putting CJ in MVP conversation? And if you are, where are you putting him? Is it over Tua, your boy in Miami?
No, the answer is no.
All right, so He's in the discussion, but like he's on the lower end of the discussion. Like it's hard to be MVP when you're still like second in your division. You feel me? Like it's he had here's what's gonna hurt him is like a lot of MVP is narrative based, right? So his last big game is gonna be against the Jags, right? Let's say he wins that, right? He puts up good numbers, but like he's not gonna be seen on a national airwaves for the rest of the year, right? So like that's gonna hurt him in the MVP like race because he's not gonna win it, right? Like I think the reason why like we even talking is because Tua, Jalen, and Mahomes didn't play last week. So like we didn't, and Lamar played bad. So like, you know, when it comes to NFL media content, we gotta like, all right, what we gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about Mahomes didn't play, Dolphins ain't play, the Eagles ain't play. We gotta talk about something. We can't just talk about the Jets, you know, and how's that since maybe they should bench him. So like, no, I'm not. I'm just going off of what we've seen on TV, right? Every Monday is like they always discuss the Cowboys and they discuss the Jets or whatever. So obviously, like the Cowboys did their thing, but we knew the Cowboys were going to destroy the Giants. So like they needed something else to talk about. So of course they're going to talk about CJ Stroud in this discussion. I mean, he is second in passing yards. He is top 5 in passer rating. I think he will win an MVP one day. But like Jalen, Tua, even that, and Lamar, they're all going to be on like prime, like standalone ish or prime time slots where the voters are going to see them. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, right? Like everybody that wins MVP for the most part are like they have to have like a moment later in the season that kind of solidifies it. And I think that what's going to hurt CJ is he's not going to have that standalone game because again, all their games for the rest of the season are at 12. One's going to be at 4:15, but everything else is going to be against the Broncos. Everything is going to be at 12 Central Time, 1 Eastern Time. Like it's hard to. Like again, at the end of the day, I'm talking about the human component and the human element with the voters and things like that. They're gonna just go to the guys that they just see more. That's why I know I'm a Ruffles Feathers. That's why Sauce and Garrett Wilson won offensive rookie in a year. They're that East Coast bias, and why Brian Daboll won offensive coach of the year. Like I think Sauce and Garrett were worthy.
Dable
wasn't worthy. Hell no, Dable wasn't worthy.
That team was mid. That team was mid.
And you do not deserve coach of the year. You do not deserve coach of the year if you're if you're third in your division. I don't care what you do. You're third in your division, getting waxed by the Eagles and the Cowboys every time you step onto that plate. Hell no. Like, bro, Nick Sirianni was right there. Kyle Shanahan on his third string quarterback was right there. Andy Reid was right there. Like there were so many better Dan Campbell. There were so many better options than.
Dan Campbell.
Or stay with me. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who were literally had the number 1 pick and ended up winning their division.
Okay.
So back to my original point of like, CJ in the narrative, he's just not going to have it. He's just not going to have enough of it. And again, he's a rookie. So like, eventually he's going to have like a couple of stinkers because he's going to play the Jets and the Jets have made every quarterback look bad. So like, that's going to be a tough game. He's going to play the Browns and both of those games are in December, right? Now, if he light both of them up, yeah, I might have to shut the hell up. But, but like, I can't envision like him lighting up both of them. I envision his team could win, but lighting up both of them, like that's gonna be tough.
Now, Joel, I know you're gonna say a lot. So let me get this off real quick. To support CJ.
Yeah,
he's been putting on insane performances these last 2 weeks. Both of them, at the 1 o'clock slot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think against the. Was the Falcons 4 or was that 1? Regardless.
But both of them won. So the Bucks was at 1.
So he's been making headlines at 1 o'clock. But that's what happens when you do stuff that we haven't seen a rookie do before. You're gonna get the headlines. You're gonna get talked about in the media the next day. So listen, DJ, I think you're making a solid point for sure. You bringing up the Jets and you bringing up the Giants, you got some good points there. But seeing what CJ has been able to do again at the 1 o'clock slots. Back-to-back weeks, game-winning drives, it's going to have people talking about you regardless, especially as a rookie.
For sure. But when we're discussing, like, are you going to win the MVP? Because, again, like, if you're in the discussion, okay, now this discussion is, when you're in the discussion, the question becomes, will he win?
Correct.
And the answer for me is, I don't think so. Not because I don't think CJ won't win MVP one day or he ain't a great talent. I think he is, and I think he will win MVP one day. He just turned 22 last month. I think he will. It's just I know how narratives go and things of that nature and agendas and things like that, right? So I just can't imagine they're like, because again, like let's say hypothetically, like Jalen wins on Monday if Jalen wins on Monday against Kansas City Chiefs, he becomes the favorite to win MVP, right? And if Mahomes, vice versa, he becomes the favorite. But then, like when December comes around, if let's say, follow me here, if the Chiefs win, right? Now the Cowboys win. Now the Cowboys are kind of like right nipping on the Eagles' heels, and then if that plays hot down the stretch, because he's gonna play the Bills, he's gonna play the Dolphins, he's gonna play the Eagles. If he sweep all that, now he got a great shot at winning that. You know what I'm saying? Or if Tua handles business in December, because for Tua, if he can win 2 out of those 3 games against the Ravens, Cowboys, and there's somebody else.
Buffalo. We got Buffalo.
And Buffalo, like if he win 2 out of those 3 games down the stretch in December, because he's gonna throw for almost 5,000 yards and have well over 30 touchdowns.
For sure.
And have all the advanced metrics. You know, it's gonna be hard to like pick a rookie over these guys when at the end of the day, like they might have 10, 11 wins where these guys will have possibly like 12 or 13.
Now, DJ, I think you make a great point about the narrative of it. I think CJ has entered the discussion of the MVP conversation.
He has.
I don't think he will ultimately win the award because I think other quarterbacks will have better seasons. I do disagree with you on one point. While CJ won't have the primetime slot, there's also other quarterbacks that can melt down as the season progresses. We're talking about a Tua Tagovailoa who every single December he's gonna melt down. You know, we already
he didn't do that. He didn't melt down in 2021. Like they literally only lost. They didn't lose a single game in December.
They only lost to the Titans, and they
lost
won
to the Titans
against the Patriots.
That Titans game was important to make the playoffs.
Sure, but the Titans were the number 1 seed.
They were amazing.
They were a fraudulent number 1 seed.
No, they were not. They just lost to a team that went to. They lost to a team that went to the Super Bowl.
They lost on the playoffs. Didn't they lose on a field goal?
And they lost on a field goal. And they had a bye, and sometimes teams are a little wonky coming off the bye. Not everybody can be Patriots or the Chiefs coming off a bye in the playoffs, but no, they were not fraudulent at all.
The Titans,
in 2021, no.
Yes,
you know the Titans beat the dog shit out of the Rams on Sunday Night Football that year. The Rams won the Super Bowl that year, so how they fraud?
All I know is that
he was calling Matthew Stafford a fraud that season too. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got you.
All I know, DJ, is that when everybody looked at the Titans as the 1 seed that year, everybody said, we don't believe in this football team. Nobody actually believed in the Titans to make the Super Bowl. Nobody did. Nobody. Did you believe in them?
But that doesn't make them fraudulent because they lost to the team.
Yes, it makes them fraudulent. If nobody.
No. That doesn't make any sense though. Because you lost to the. Go ahead.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. Do you think the Steelers were fraudulent the year that they started 11-0?
No. I didn't think they're fraudulent, but they lost, sure. But I didn't think they lost in the first round, but I didn't think they were fraudulent. No.
Because listen, to me, I didn't think the Titans were fraudulent per se. Of course, you still had Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill was a solid quarterback, however you want to think about it. The front four was great. Now, would I call them fraudulent? No, they gave the Bengals a great game. The Steelers, 11-0. I at least remember the time.
No, but the difference is they lost like 4 out of the last 5 games going into the playoffs. I'm looking at the Titans right now. The Titans down that stretch, they beat San Fran. They beat San Fran. San Fran was in the NFC Championship game. They beat obviously the Rams. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills. Like they beat really good teams, bro. Like I get it. Like
last year with them, correct?
Yeah. Like what they lost to a really good team that went to the Super Bowl and it came down to the last possession of the game. That's what they lost to. It's not that they lost to like some. One that didn't get blown out. It's not that they lost to
nobody.
They get on Joe Burrow too. What didn't they get double digits?
They sacked him 9 times. That was the most sacks a quarterback has taken and won the game in the playoff.
Yeah, well, that's not that says more about the defense.
Nobody's saying that the Titans was this bad team, but I think everybody kind of knew that this team has a limited ceiling because of Ryan Tannehill.
How?
Playoffs. He threw 2 or 3 interceptions versus the Bengals.
He did.
He played bad. Yeah, he played bad. But like the reason why I can't subscribe to the Titans being frauds in that moment is because at that point, that was their 3rd year of making the playoffs back to back.
Yep.
And on top of that, the 2 years prior, they went to the AFC Championship game. Yes. The year after they lost to Lamar. You feel me? That happens. They lost to a great player. And then the year after that, they were the number 1 seed. You saw who they beat to get the number 1 seed. And they lost on the last play of a game to a team that went to the Super Bowl that, they lost and it came out the last play for them. So,
but there's difference between being a team that's actually fraudulent, meaning not good, versus being fraudulent, being not a contender. I don't think anybody had them as a true contender.
In my eyes, if you make it to if you're in the second round and there's only 8 teams left, you're a contender.
That's cap.
How's that cap though? How's that cap? You're literally 2 games away from the Super Bowl. How's that cap?
Do you think that the Jaguars last year were contenders?
They literally went down to the wire with the Chiefs.
It was a 2-score game.
Cowboys were contenders last year.
Yes, Cowboys were contenders last year.
Don't do that.
No, were the Giants contenders last year?
That's a good question.
No, but like there's exceptions to the rule for sure.
Come on.
But how is there not? What? There's exceptions to the rule, of course. But for generally, if you make the second round, there's only 8 teams left. What are you talking about? Only 8 teams left.
Let's get back on topic.
The Titans, they got Will Levis now. They on to I wouldn't say better things, but they on some new things. This is why. Listen, I'm disappointed in you that you're not giving CJ the props for MVP. Listen, because I'm looking at CJ Stroud. 2022, the Texans were 3-13-1. You're bringing a new coaching staff. You get a new quarterback. CJ's not doing this alone. I understand that
for sure.
The offensive infrastructure around him is really great, but Nico Collins having his best year with CJ Stroud. Noah Brown on pace to have his best year with CJ Stroud. The offensive line's playing well. It's not one of the top units in the NFL. The weapons aren't one of the top weapon groups in the NFL. Tank Dell as rookie also playing well.
Tank Dell, that's firm. Not one of the top in the league, though.
I'm looking at CJ Stroud. Last year, the Texans ranked 30th in offense. This year, the 10th in offense. They're 5-4 through 10 weeks. This is with being 25th in rushing yards, inconsistent rush game, and CJ right now, he's on pace to shatter the rookie quarterback passing yards record by about 600 yards, be second in passing touchdowns by a rookie in NFL history, second only to Justin Herbert, and have his team in prime position to make the NFL playoffs, and has the most completions of 25-plus yards of any quarterback in the NFL. So I'm looking at CJ Stroud, and I'm looking at the type of company that he's putting himself in, not only just as a rookie quarterback, but as a quarterback in general. There have only been 5 quarterbacks in NFL history to start the first 9 games of the season with 15-plus passing touchdowns, 2,600 yards, and 2 interceptions or less. Tom Brady, Mahomes, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud has a major case to be a top MVP candidate. And I think right now you can I think he's in the top 5 right now. And I think he has arguments over other players that are in an MVP conversation. I think Jalen Hurts is over him. I think Patrick Mahomes is a little bit over him. Lamar, I think is a little bit over him.
Lamar is tricky, man, because like I know Lamar is not going to win it. You feel me? Like I to be honest, if you ask me, I think CJ has a better shot than Lamar because Lamar isn't going to have the counting stats.
Lamar doesn't have the counter stats. You're right.
Put 2 over CJ.
Josh Allen, I think after yesterday's performance, CJ surpassed him in that conversation. Tua is in the conversation.
He ain't passed Tua yet. Here's why I favor CJ Stroud. The expectation of the Texans, the weapons of the Texans. CJ Stroud isn't playing with a Tyreek Hill. He's not having an offensive play caller like Mike McDaniel. The Texans have a great record against teams over 500.
I hate to defend Tua, but who is leading the division? The Dolphins.
What do you mean? At 6-3.
Yes.
The Texans are 5-4.
But they're not number one. For CJ to even have a chance
and then the counting stats, the advanced
statistic. They have to win the division.
The counting stats
it's
are not
probably looking like Miami's going to win the division.
That's what I'm saying.
They're going to win the division. For him to even have a chance at it, he has to win that division.
Yeah. That's going to be his hardest.
All right, so this is where I'm going to get him, right? So you're telling – so listen, you said all this about CJ, but then you poo-pooed everything around him. You're like, the O-line is fine. The receivers, all right, So if they're all how in the world is he going to continue this pace then? If everything around him is just mid, it's just okay.
Because he's a great quarterback.
No,
exactly.
No, that's not how that works. Even if you're a great player, a great quarterback, you still need good to great players around you.
But there are quarterbacks that can do more with less than other quarterbacks.
Some can, but even then, that has a feeling. We're seeing it with the Bills.
Lou Anarumo defense, and he went in there. Listen, it could have looked a whole lot different because he had interception in the 4th quarter. Tyler Boyd drops a touchdown, and if that doesn't happen, we're not having this discussion. But what CJ Stroud did to go into Cincinnati, a team we all had in the top 5 power rankings entering this week, Lou Anarumo is regarded as one of the best defensive minds in the NFL. And
Great
he went in
quarterback.
there and played the way he played.
CJ lit them up.
Game-winning
To
drive.
be fair, in the second
Great
half,
quarterback.
they definitely limited him more so than they did in the first.
He had a game-winning drive.
He did. No, he clutched up when it mattered the most, for sure. But the last 3 drives before that, the Bengals were able to limit them. It was just Joe Burrow turning the ball over, getting the ball back.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
This is my thing, and I love CJ to death. You know, that's
your twin.
That's 21 now. But we could prop him up. We could praise up his numbers. We can call him great. We could think the
Number 2
Texans
in yards right
are
now.
going to
It's
be
crazy.
good without saying he can win MVP or without saying
Yeah. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at because we all know he's not. He's not going to
once
win
again,
MVP.
I really don't like the Dolphins, but to say like he's over Tua or he has a chance over Tua when Tua is comfortably number 1 in his division with the counting stats, that's I don't know. That's tough.
That's tough. Yeah, that's tough because you could poo my guy, but my guy is tied for the league in touchdown passes.
Correct.
It has the highest passer rating.
The Texans have not had their bye week, correct?
They have.
They've
only played
So to this point, Tua just had his bye week, so they've played the same amount of games. Am I?
Tua 6-3.
6-3. CJ
5-4.
6-3. CJ has 2,626 yards on the season. Tua has 2,609.
CJ has more
to beat
passing
it
attempts
up.
also.
Okay. CJ has 15 passing touchdowns. Tua has 19 passing touchdowns. It's 4 touchdown difference. Passer rating is 106.4 in favor of Tua to 101 passer rating. And CJ has 2 interceptions to Tua's
now do the
9
completion
interceptions.
percentage.
Completion percentage, CJ's at rounding up to 62%. Tua's at 70% rounded up.
Mhm.
But you have to take into account the.
What about EPA?
You have to
We don't
take
give a
it.
fuck about that right
Now,
now.
now,
No, I could mention it, but I'm just
But Tua leads the league in total EPA. Even though I hate EPA and I hate DVOA, I hate all those.
No, wow, man. DJ, you're really that
We're
guy.
not that time for that.
You're
right?
really that guy. We're on the same way.
Tua does lead the NFL in EPA, but when you take into account what CJ supporting cast is, DJ, you can tell me all much. You can tell me all this about how I'm poo-pooing his supporting cast. You cannot make a legitimate argument that CJ supporting cast is on par or better than Tua supporting cast.
So let me ask
It's
you a question.
impossible.
He got a better O line, but that's about it.
CJ,
Ask it in.
why do you have Jalen Hurts over CJ?
8-1.
Jalen Hurts as a rusher, as a passer, what he's doing, his volume, I think is more.
But
But he has like the best supporting cast in the entire NFL.
you didn't. What you didn't add in your what you just said. What you didn't add between Tua and CJ is that the main factor is their stats are close, yes, but Tua is leading his division.
Yeah.
Well, the main factor,
He's leading his division.
the Eagles have the best record in the NFL.
Tua also
I'm
has the
saying, yeah,
shortest
but-
time to throw the ball in the league.
Yes, that's because they're scheming things up quickly, and that's the offensive
No,
design.
the
of
offensive
things.
line's not that good.
It's also the offensive design is.
But
for him to
Tua
get the ball
also
out
is
quick.
avoiding sacks. He's also still pushing the ball down the field with the best quarterbacks
Having
in
a
the game.
super low time to throw is more an example of the offensive design. Of
Nah,
what they're
it
doing.
goes-
Not really. You go both
It's a
ways.
little bit of both. It's a little bit of both.
To be honest, it's probably just you kind of knowing
So
what
Trevor
defense
Lawrence
they're
is
in.
number 2 in that stat, but we just had this whole long
think it's
segment
one.
talking about he's number 2. 2 is number 1. We just had this whole discussion about Trevor Lawrence and he's pressured. He doesn't have time to allow plays to develop. This, that, and the third. But why is that not the case with Tua though? But if we're gonna go by if that's the case, then Trevor Lawrence. Hey, the offense is doing a good job. They're getting the ball out quickly.
When we talk about the Jaguars,
you getting cooked right now.
Didn't I not say that their whole thing is quick game? I literally said that's the Jaguars' bread and butter. It's quick game. It's the quick game. That's what I said.
But
That's what the
they
Dolphins
have
are
to
too.
do
But
that.
the difference is Tua is the quickest to throw, and he's also 1 or 2 top 3 in ADOT. Like he's pushing the ball down the field with it.
That's because their
quick.
offense, their offense is vertical. The
Because
Jaguars'
my boy's
offense is
different.
horizontal.
That's why.
That's because
Stop
they
playing
go
with him.
vertical, and they have some of the best designs in the league.
Nah,
They
you
get
just
stolen
play with
from.
Tua's name, and that's
Now,
what happens.
What you said,
Mahomes got great design.
of course.
CJ has great
Right?
design too.
And
They're
also-
from the same
yes,
scheme.
CJ
They're in the
does
same
have
scheme.
DJ, a big knock
How
on
slow
Tua's
it-
name is that he's one of the league leaders in yak. Are we going to pretend like the MVP of the league last year wasn't number 1 in yak? So it's
Come
like,
on
you
now.
know what? We just can't just minimize one guy
Well,
because
Tua
it just
can't-
doesn't fit the narrative.
Tua can't do the out of structure things that the
We-
other
we-
quarterbacks
Not
do.
as well.
Not as well, but we still have
not
seen it
even
in some
close.
flashes.
It's not even close.
Yeah,
Okay,
we've still seen it though. It's just not.
Saw him on the field. He didn't break someone's ankles. Skating to his weak side.
Here's the difference with
Respect
Jalen
him.
Hurts. The Eagles have the best record in the NFL, and their best competition, they have beaten the best competition. They
but they have because they got a great team around.
On prime time, who played better? Jalen Hurts or Tua? Who played better on prime time?
Jalen played better. Jalen played better, but he went against the defense was like the whole secondary was out.
The Eagles' defense is worse than the Dolphins' defense.
No, not at that time. And you got to also factor. No, not at that time. No, you're tripping.
Tua had no time at all.
Yeah, like what? Like and Tua was down his left tackle, his left guard, and his center.
Waddle was in and out of the game.
When we talk about Tua and his MVP case, it gets diminished because when he's faced the top quarterbacks in the discussion, the top teams, he has lost to outside of Justin Herbert week 1. He lost to the Bills. Josh Allen severely outplayed him.
They're Super Bowl.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but are we gonna ignore them? Hold on. He severely outplayed Tua because the Dolphins defense ain't show up. They had 41 points going into the fourth quarter.
The average
winning in that?
Was like 40. It was
I don't think you can say Mahomes severely outplayed.
He did not. Like they both were kind of even.
First half was great, but second half Miami was able to get on the board.
It was the battle of the
it was basically it was basically a draw.
That game.
Okay,
second half
exactly.
The difference that Jalen Hurts has shown his moments though of building. Willing his team down the field and scoring.
Jalen Hurts has a great argument.
I'm not just
I think Jalen is right now is the favorite.
You can't solidify it.
You can't diminish a guy just like Jalen Hurts was a top 2 MVP candidate last year, and he's probably going to be top 3 this year. Just because you have the best offensive line or the best weapons, you still can't diminish what the guy is doing. Like Tua still has to be in that top 5.
And you have to.
I never said Tua wasn't top 5.
You were thinking about
you
might not have put him in.
CJ has an argument over Tua because
I don't think he does.
Answer this question, yes or no. Have you been more impressed with CJ this year or Tua?
CJ.
Have you been more impressed?
But why?
It's because CJ's a rookie. That's it. Because CJ's a rookie. That's it. That's the only reason why.
Out of there.
No, you have to keep the rookies.
You have to keep that in.
It's like talking about Brock Purdy.
Yes,
he was the last pick in the draft. This is why it's so great. CJ Stroud's a rookie. This is
exactly.
This is the difference. Even if it was a veteran quarterback in CJ Stroud's place, given the supporting cast around,
you can't.
What that quarterback is doing statistically is more impressive.
I think you're capped because if that was a veteran quarterback, you wouldn't put him in MVP. The only reason you put CJ in the MVP
is Trevor Lawrence. Was Trevor Lawrence more of an MVP than?
That's not true.
Let me ask you a question: Was Trevor Lawrence deserving of MVP last season? If that was the case,
in the second half of the season, he made a case.
In the grand scheme of things, he also was.
But the first half of the season, he wasn't that great.
So the game against the Panthers just disappears.
That's one game that CJ had that wasn't good.
Okay, what about the game against the Saints? Or what about the game against the Falcons? Or what about the game against the Ravens?
It was all right games, but they wasn't terrible games, DJ.
No, they weren't terrible games.
No, DJ, that's what I have a difficult time wrapping my head around. You have these all-world performances against the Falcons, against the Bucs. Thank you very much. Against the Bucs and against the Bengals. But then you lay a dud against the Panthers, the worst team in the league.
That happens though. That happens. Everybody's gonna have a dud.
I'm fine with that, especially as a rookie. But again, why do we allow it to go? Because it's there. He's a rookie. He's
cooking right now. He's cooking.
The thing is, and I think this is the misconception when it comes to CJ Stroud.
By far, not a question.
Correct me if I'm wrong, DJ. Up until that Panthers game, you can ask anybody and they would tell you CJ Stroud is playing great football. Not just great for a rookie. He was playing at a top.
No. At that point, hold on, let me finish. After the Panthers game, it was just he's playing great for a rookie and he's playing good football.
Correct.
Yeah, because at that point they had a 3-game stretch where they only won 1 game and CJ was averaging under 200 yards passing and had 3 touchdowns and
I think after those 2 games, he solidified. Like he's probably like top 10 right
because no one was talking top 10 until he had that game against Mbappe.
Yes, but I'm looking at these game logs right now. The Saints and Panthers game were his 2 worst statistical games of the year.
Yeah, but
he 242 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Versus the Colts, 384, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
A lot of garbage time.
Jaguars, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
That was a good game.
That was his best performance up until that point.
306 yards versus Steelers, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Versus the Falcons, 249 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Then the Saints and Panthers game, he had less than 200 yards, but up until that point, he was still on pace to have one of the best statistical rookie quarterbacks.
That doesn't mean that he was.
But nobody's denying that. I think
the top 10 talks was after the Bucs game, and then after the Bengals game, it was like, no, he's top 10.
He's dumb nice. He's
like,
what
he's
yeah, that was it. Yeah. But like MVP
That's
is still
why
tricky.
I'm fine with the propping CJ up conversations because he deserves it. Because doing this as a rookie is unprecedented. But when we start to emphasize the conversation into strictly MVP,
exactly.
When you do it
that changes
once,
everything.
I said this when we did the BR. When you do it once, like he did against the Bucks, it's a surprise. But you do it twice, now it becomes an expectation. Going forward, we expect better in the game. But MVP, it's a strong conversation.
But I disagree with what you said, and I just want to counteract that point because I think any quarterback having the stats that CJ has would be considered an MVP convo. I don't think he's just an MVP.
Not at 5-4.
No, no. They were second in division. You would not have an MVP.
No,
it's 10 weeks into the season.
But it's because he's 5.
If they win out, that's 13. He only has like 3 losses.
He's 5-4 in the AFC South, bro. That's one of the worst divisions in the league. If you took the rookie tag from him, you would just say he's playing great football. But you add the expectation, you add the fact that he's overseeding them, then you can be like, all right, well, since he's doing this, plus he's doing that with a team that wasn't supposed to win this many games, you can say he's an MVP. But if you strip all that, which when you become an MVP, you kind of have to, it's like, all right, he's doing what these other guys are doing, but these other guys are winning more.
It's gonna be hard to get more than 10 wins for Stroud. They're 5-4. You're gonna have to be, damn near perfect down the stretch.
And unfortunately, we're expecting that.
The Bills are 5-5 now. We're 5-5.
5-5.
They're 5-5. When they were 5-4, I still consider Josh Allen an MVP candidate.
The Dolphins are only 0-2 to teams over 500. By the way, I'm just letting it be known. Last I'm going to say.
They just had a bad week against a mid team. That's all that was.
I'm going to give you 2 player stats.
Wait, you said you still had Josh as a what?
As an MVP candidate for sure.
You didn't have him top 5
last week.
You didn't ask me. I probably would have made my list.
There's no way. And
Josh Allen definitely was still playing at top 5 quarterback level to me.
There's no way on planet Earth that you had Josh Allen as a top. Like, no, yes, the numbers are amazing. There's no way you're watching and you're thinking he's a top 5 MVP.
No, I'm watching. That's
5-4.
I'm watching that. That's why I'm making that opinion.
I'm not going to get it.
I'm going to give you the numbers. I'm going to give you the numbers between 2 players. All right. You tell me, are both these guys deserving of the MVP conversation? Here we go. Let's cook.
He's about to do a Sam Howell comparison.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
This guy's so
because the numbers are amazing. They have 4.
Do they?
They have 4.
But nobody's looking at
Sam Howell. 3rd in division?
Right, but why? Even though it's his first year
starting. He's cooking, man. He's cooking y'all, man.
He has 4 wins, and CJ has 5.
CJ's over 500.
But the difference is that what's the interceptions? What's the interception?
He has 9, and CJ has 2.
CJ has the best touchdown reception ratio in the league.
CJ's amazing. But again, number 1 in passing yards, he has 2 more touchdowns than CJ.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Listen, I'm not saying that
the totality numbers.
But the last 4 weeks, he's definitely limited sacks.
The last 4 weeks, Sam Howell, his sack rate has went down in half.
But it's something that you said that it couldn't get better, and he has been.
It's very hard to get better.
But he's done it.
Yes, and
credit
to him.
That's an easy fix. They have no shot.
Does Sam Howell have the moments like CJ the last 2 weeks?
I don't know. That Broncos game was
pretty. His point is more like this is his point. His point is CJ's numbers and Sam Howell's numbers are comparable in some capacity, and and he has one less win, and nobody's talking about him as an MVP.
That's it. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, because
one guy I'm not saying Sam Howell's an MVP. All I'm saying is
Stroud also has the MVP moments. He just went on the road and beat Cincy. He had to come back against 500
twice, not once, but twice against the best team in the league in the Philadelphia Eagles. What did Sam Howell do?
He played great, but
whoa, let's not gloss over that.
Last year the Eagles last year the Washington beat the Eagles,
and then this past Sunday against Seattle, he goes and puts him in a position to tie the game. The defense couldn't get a stop.
Drew, does Washington have a chance to win the division?
No.
So then that's the argument. That's dead.
I agree.
I know, but that's not his point though. His point is like
it's not even.
I mean, you could do that with a lot of guys though.
No, you can't. Because CJ's number 3 in yards. He has 2 less touchdowns. He has 4 less touchdowns than the top guy in the league right now. CJ has been that good. But my point being is Sam Howell's by the numbers. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about but Joel, you're saying in terms of moments, his defense is horrendous. Sam Howell, where 2 times he's gone against the Philadelphia Eagles and he's lit them up. Something that you said that you wanted Tua to do, right?
Everyone likes
right. You wanted Tua to do. Sam Howell did that.
Hey, respect us.
And then against Seattle, he goes and puts them in position. He ties the game. The defense couldn't get a stop. You're saying those moments, he wasn't allowed those moments because his defense is so bad.
What was the final score of that Seattle game? What was the final score of that Seattle game?
29-26.
This is where your conversation falls on deaf ears. Because one, Sam Howell He has played one more game than CJ, so he's played one more game to accumulate those stats, right?
That's the passing yards, yes.
Sacks and interceptions, both significantly worse for Sam Howell.
Come on, though. Let's talk because the last 2 weeks are why
Sam
CJ's
Howell,
in this conversation.
Sam Howell has improved, but Sam Howell has still taken the most sacks in the NFL. He's tied second right now for interception leaders in the NFL. CJ is one of the best quarterbacks at protecting the football. That has to be taken into account. Also, we cannot forget the fact that Sam Howell, the same way he's balling out.
He's fourth, but he also threw 4 in one game.
He's had great games, Sam Howell.
I'm just saying, one game 4.
Versus the Eagles, Riv. Now talk to me. Last matchup, Commanders had a chance to win it. Why didn't they win? Sam had a late game turnover, right?
He did. He was playing great.
He's had turnovers late in games that have cost.
Yeah, but you feel me? You still need your defense to bail you out. CJ had a late turnover down the stretch, and then went 3 and out right after that when you had to put the game away. And then if not for a drop touchdown by Tyler Boyd, like we're talking about a whole different. We're not even having this discussion.
Like CJ's been so awesome, and it's just tough.
To me, like both of them shouldn't be top 5 in MVP.
I agree. That's the whole.
CJ Stroud is an MVP.
That's the whole point.
I don't have CJ top 5. I had like 9 or 10, 8. You know,
I'm just saying.
Purdy over him,
of course. It's
like Tyreek Hill's more of an MVP.
What?
Tyreek Hill more of an MVP.
I don't think a wide receiver.
Then who? Then CJ Stroud? No, you're crazy.
Tyreek Hill could finish number 1 all-purpose. Like, bro, he's so much.
He's not more valuable. He's not more valuable.
I'm not saying he's more valuable. I'm just saying in terms of votes because Tyreek Hill has been one of the most.
I don't really believe that 9.
It's so tough because MVP is just so quarterback driven. I'm just trying to emphasize.
Rightfully so. If the question is most valuable,
then only 69 yards.
Oh damn!
What?
AJ caught up. Actually, he's only 100 yards more than CeeDee Lamb. Tyreek Hill.
So now DJ,
CD and AJ.
We'll talk.
I got a question. I got a question for you then, DJ. If you was doing a ranking on your top MVP candidates, how far until you get to CJ Stroud?
All right, so 1 right now would be Jalen, 2 would be Mahomes, 3 would be Tua, 4 would be Lamar.
Where you go putting Brock Purdy?
Purdy
not in there. Purdy not in there because you don't got enough of the raw kind of stats.
Like he not in your top 5, he in top 10.
He top 10, but if you're not, you being 10th in the MVP discussion don't really mean much.
That means much for me.
No, that's what NBA when they do the Kia MVP ladder, they give you 10.
Have 10 people. Yeah, they actually have 10 and then the next 5.
You got Dak,
but they don't. But Dak's up there, so I'll put Dak 5th. No, because with the MVP stuff in NFL, I think it's like the top 4 or 5 when it comes to voting. Yeah, they don't do that in the NFL. They don't do that in the NFL.
You just add 2 more weeks to that. That's Dak Prescott essentially.
So after Dak Prescott at 5,
I'll put CJ in there. Just for sake of discussion,
but
in my eyes, though, NFL MVP voting, I'm gonna put it right now. I want to see what 2022 look like in terms of like what the actual voting look like. Give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna pull it right now. Yeah, now they go all the way down to 15, but at the end of the day, like it cuts off. I don't know, but like it's all about who gets the first. It's all about who gets the first place votes.
He's top 10. Facts.
Yeah, but like it's about first place votes. Like Mahomes got 48 first place votes. Hurts got 1, and then Josh Allen got 1. So like it's all about who gets the most first place votes. So like the question is, how many first place votes are these guys gonna get? It's gonna be hard to convince a lot.
DJ, can you read that list real quick?
From last year?
Top 15. Oh, facts. No, I thought they were doing a ladder.
From last year, I mean it was Mahomes, then Jalen Hurts, then Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Nick Bosa, Trevor Lawrence,
Justin Jefferson at 5. That's the only reason why I say Tyreek.
But AJ been on a different kind of votes did Jettas get?
Jetta didn't get a single first place vote. Who cares?
Did he get a second place vote?
No, let me see. I don't know what. I mean, they're only showing first place votes because it comes down to like. It comes down to who get the first place vote.
I feel like offensive player of the year has been like we're gonna go away from quarterbacks.
It makes sense though because MVP. I mean, what DJ said is facts. Quarterback is the most valuable.
No, it's so true.
Right. Which is why I always get annoyed when people say like Tyreek Hill the MVP of the Dolphins.
That doesn't make the quarterback always the best player on the team though.
Yeah, exactly, and that's fine. There's 2 different discussions. Best player,
another one that's been amazing.
Best player, most valuable. That's 2 different discussions.
For example, you look at the Titans in 2020 and 2019. Ryan Tannehill had a top 10 efficient quarterback season ever, but you know the reason for those stats is the attention that that defense were paying attention to the run game and Derrick Henry.
That's
so he was the best player.
You go 30 and 10.
Most valuable.
It's not just. It's
He's
not
the main.
just
He's the
Derrick.
main.
It's a big
factor.
part of it, though.
Derrick Henry was the best player.
So Derrick Henry's the reason. Like you're going to give him over 50% credit
for the offense.
For
Tannehill was more valuable that year than
Tannehill had a phenomenal year.
That's all I'm saying.
But I mean, the true color showed though in the playoffs when like they didn't trust Tannehill to throw the ball over like 15 times.
No, against the
Ravens.
No, the Ravens too was
that year.
But that was a great game.
It was, but Tannehill was not throwing the ball at all. They were just running the ball.
I don't remember the stats enough. I just know that it was a really good
game. Now, DJ, before we get you out of here, Houston Texans, do you think they will win the AFC South?
I think they match really good with the Jags. I think they got it. So I'll say this. I do think, for the playoffs, I think they'll make the playoffs regardless. I think wild card is a lock. But I do think that them losing to the Panthers or Falcons may hurt them in the playoff in the AFC South race, mainly because if they lose to the Jags, then that kind of creates a little bit of separation. And at that point, it now turns into, because they both finish with the same record, the tiebreaker will be between your in division record. And right now the Texans are, I believe they're 1-1 in the division. Because they lost to the Colts, and obviously they beat the Jags. But the Jags have already swept the Colts, so they're 2-1. And then the Jags, they lost to the Texans. But I also believe they haven't played the Titans yet. They're going to play the Titans this week. But let's say they win that game, they'll be 3-1. And they beat the Texans, they'll be 4-1 in the division. So they finish the same record, it's over with at that point. So I would say Week 12 is a must-win. I don't know if I can say they will win. But they do match up well because of their D-line against the Jags O-line. But I don't know. I can't say it. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't know if they'll win the division. Mainly because they got to beat the Jags twice. And even though the Jags were a little bit overrated, they're still a good football team. Because again, they've beaten the Bills, they went on the road and beat the Steelers, they beat the Saints on the road. They beat the Saints on the road on Thursday night football, and they controlled the majority of that game. We all know how hard it is to win on the road on Thursday night. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really can't answer. I don't know. Right, because let's say they go out there and they lose this week to the Cardinals. Everything we're talking about right now is dead.
I'm gonna take the Cardinals. Huh?
You feel me? Everything we've talked about, the whole MVP stuff, all that's dead if they lose this week. That's why I kind of side with Drew on the discussion because it's he's basically going to play the team is going to play flawlessly down the stretch. They can basically only lose one more game down the stretch, right? Could it be 12-5? Sure. At that point, they can only lose one game down the stretch. To expect a team led by a first-year head coach, a rookie quarterback, a rookie offensive play caller, and to be fair, recently what we've seen, which is a shaky defense, because they gave up 37 to the Bucks, and then they gave up 27 to the Bengals. The defense is a little shaky, has been a little shaky recently, and because I really don't know which defense we're gonna get. Right? Are we gonna get the one against the Jags, or are we gonna get the one against the Colts that gave up 31, or the one against the Falcons that Desmond Ridder have a career day,
or the Buccaneers? The Buccaneers,
you know what I'm saying?
Torch them.
Yeah, so MVP, as much as it's the quarterback stat, it's also a team stat on top of that. So you have to also have a good team, right? I'm not saying they don't have a good team. They do. You need a great team to win MVP, right? A good team, not enough. You need a great team. And we can't definitively say yet that they have a great team to help. Because CJ is going to have an off day. And then when that off day happens, you're going to need your team to come through or your defense to come through and guide you through. They did that against the Saints, but they weren't able to finish against the Panthers or the Falcons when CJ had an off day. So
thank you for being on the show, DJ. Great having you. Anything you want to plug in before you go? Because I know yesterday you was at a Nico Collins event.
Yeah, I was at Nico Collins, man. It was cool. I've been doing it just show face. Only thing I want to plug to put a pin in this conversation about the weapons you have around the quarterback. I'll say this. I had an NFL head coach tell me the other day, won't say who it was, because it could be a lot of people. But
Bronco legend.
I asked him about the discussion regarding quarterbacks like a Brock Purdy or Jared Goff. I ain't throw Tua in there because for what? Tua's stamp is solidified. But just the concept of they got all this talent around them, people trying to take credit away from them. What do you think about that? And he said, quote, "It's all crap." Like, he said it's all crap because at the end of the day, and I had an NFL player call me earlier today, or former NFL player, and I told him the same thing. He said exactly, because like just because you create, like you have help from coaches or whatnot, you still got to make those throws, even if they're open. You still got to make those throws. We see quarterbacks miss open throws all the time. Like, we got the guy in New York. It don't matter which one you want to pick. Both of them, all of them, they all be missing. But again, like you feel me? But regardless, like you still got to execute. You still got to make the plays. And then the coach said, "Imagine trying to coach without good players. You won't be coaching that long." So the concept that like we try to like knock guys because they can't do the Mahomes thing is it's hilarious. I actually had a friend tell me, he made a great comparison. He was like, it's kind of like what Mahomes did to quarterback evaluation is what Richard Sherman did to cornerback evaluation. When Richard Sherman came in, everybody wanted that 6'3" corner that was twitchy, that could run down the field, that could do all that. And God don't make too many guys like that. Just like God don't make too many guys like Patrick Mahomes. And I think that if we only view football through that lens and how we evaluate quarterback through that lens, we'll never ever appreciate the guys that don't necessarily do what he does, but they can still be highly effective, like a Brock, obviously like a Tua, like a Goff, like a Dak, obviously like a Kirk Cousins. Because at the end of the day, this league is all about producing. We don't care. Like, people don't care about what you can do. It's about what you have done. Players don't care about what you can do. That shit don't mean nothing to them in terms of what you can do. It's about what you have done and what you will do, not what you could do from a mental masturbation standpoint, from a hypothetical. Because all hypotheticals are mental masturbation. That's all it is. You just imagine what it could be. No, it's not what you are doing, period. So that's all I had to plug.
Oh,
thank you for saying your piece, DJ. Excellently said.
Thank you, DJ.
Appreciate it, DJ.
No problem. Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
You're good.
I like it, man.
Nah, that was a fire segment. Oh my God.
That was taking off the headphones.
Right away, man.
Mental masturbation
Yeah,
is fucking hilarious.
Sure.
Yo, you're looking fly.
Thanks, bro.
That's the puffy coat.
It's cold out, man.
It is that.
It's that
season.
type of season
It's
right
that
now in New
season.
Jersey.
Damn, we're an hour and a half in with 2 topics.
What's up?
Oh, don't
Cook
worry.
up.
You know, we'll breeze by the other ones.
We
This
won't.
might be a 3-hour show though.
We won't.
Might
Couple
What up?
things. Couple things I wanted to say, because I made this. I don't remember if I said it. I don't remember if I tweeted it or I said it in like the Discord, and I was like, I think after the Jaguars game, I was like, yeah, CJ Stroud is gonna be better, the best quarterback in his division in like 2-3 years, and then I was like, he's gonna be better in prime D-Watt. And like when I said that, people were like, I was getting like mad backlash for it, and now he's like,
Prime who?
Deshaun
Watson.
Watson.
Got it.
So, like, I was talking
Better than
crazy.
Prime is
Prime Deshaun Watson was top
I was
5.
talking so nasty, but I was just excited because
Yes.
When did you say this?
after the Jaguars game, so week 3, week 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
so this
I
wasn't
respect
even
that.
It was like half troll, half like hopefully it comes true.
like
so
this
I
some
can
shit
say
that
it.
maybe could hit.
Yeah, like some shit like but yeah, like
Gotta take swings to get
Tell
those
you what,
hits.
Joel, listen, I know that it was a big segment against you, but the stat you put out there, CJ's been fucking phenomenal.
Oh yeah, no,
It was
I
like
stand on
that
everything I
whole
said.
laundry list of statistics that you pulled out. Listen, we're not trying to take away anything from CJ. It's the bigger picture. But again, I thought you had a great argument.
little baby.
You know,
What?
I have 2
Take a
things
picture, little baby.
that I want to share with you guys. So first one,
Rookie blind stats?
it's the second one that's coming up. The first one coming up
Spoiler.
is, do you guys think that Trevor Lawrence has been underwhelming as a first overall pick?
Last year he was fantastic. This year he has been underwhelming.
Yeah, because I remember I said that on the fantasy reaction last night, and I almost regret it right after I said it because it's easy to forget. I feel like early in the year he was a lot better. Like that Buffalo game sticks out. He was phenomenal. But these last couple of weeks, I think you just see so many other quarterbacks play at a high level, and you see Trevor Lawrence. And I don't know whether it's me just not locking in as much on Jags games as I was at the end of last year because they were so hot or what, but he doesn't seem to be elevating as much as some other guys. Maybe I'm just comparing him too much to Stroud, but what he did last year, going on that run those last 8-9 games, winning that playoff game, I can't say he's a disappointment 3 years into his career.
I do think we expected a lot after that playoff game. We expected them to come in this year and Trevor to put up some stupid numbers, And even last year, you can seeing how the way he ended and they go into the playoff game. So it's a lot of expectation. Plus, he was like a generational prospect.
I think that's
pick.
the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's like
he was propped up to be generational.
Yeah, so it's like he's not doing generational shit.
He's been good, but not generational.
Like we expected, like you see what Justin Herbert's done his first 3 years, stat wise. That's what we're expecting from Trevor Lawrence, and we're not getting that. But it's not like he's playing bad.
Here's the issue too, though. One thing I want to give Trevor a little bit of leeway. Or again, I was very critical of his game versus San Fran, but here They tried to help him out by bringing in Calvin Ridley. Their big move for Trevor Lawrence was bringing in a guy who was gone for 2 seasons. That was their power move. They brought in Christian Kirk on an, at the time, overpay, right? They these big moves in the bigger picture were not these power moves. So you look at a Jalen Hurts getting an A.J. Brown. They drafted Devonta Smith. They already had Dallas Goedert. They already had this amazing offensive line. Look at Tua. They drafted Jalen Waddle. They go and they trade for Tyreek Hill. Josh Allen. They go and they trade for Stephon Diggs. Patrick Mahomes gets Tyreek Hill and arguably the greatest tight end of all time. To me, he'll always be number 2, but I just want to preface.
Even Dak, they traded for Coop. They drafted
CeeDee Lamb. They also drafted Ezekiel Elliott. Tony Pollard comes in. Tony wasn't supposed to be that, but he's great.
Zeke was the same year, though.
No, I know.
Yeah,
that was
nuts.
But my point being is these power moves, in theory, in hindsight, they're not.
Jacksonville's not when have we known them to make power moves,
But again, they tried. They tried.
In my opinion, I don't think CJ Stroud is horrible. I mean,
I know what you mean.
I don't think Calvin Ridley's horrible. I think Calvin Ridley's good. It's just that they're not putting him in a position to actually get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the main takeaway I have from that, because I think Ridley has or can put up big numbers. It's just the offense that they have designed right now is just not putting him in a place that fits his strengths too much. There are a lot of quarterbacks that have more passing touchdowns than Lawrence right now. These are all the quarterbacks.
Him having 9 is wild, right?
Yes. Trevor Lawrence has 9 passing touchdowns on the season. These are all the quarterbacks that probably shouldn't have more passing touchdowns than him, but do.
I think Mac Jones is one of them.
Sam Howell, 17. Jordan Love, 14. Baker Mayfield, 14. Josh Dobbs, 11. Justin Fields, 11, and he hasn't played in weeks. Geno Smith, 11. Derek Carr, 10. And Mac Jones, 10. Those are all the quarterbacks that have more passing touchdowns than Trevor Lawrence this season.
You know Lamar Jackson has the same amount of passing touchdowns as Mac Jones.
Josh Allen leads the league in total touchdowns.
ETN also has 7 rushing touchdowns. Where it's
2-2-2. A 3-week span. It's weird about that you brought that up, because I was talking to a couple dudes in the Discord, and it's just mind fucking boggling to me that you're so good, and yet you only have 9 touchdowns on the season. It's I get he's playing well beyond the numbers, and I get but sometimes when you're a top 7, top 8 guy, there's got to be a form of numbers that just back up what you're doing. And Trevor Lawrence is probably one of the few guys that's no, it's not backing him up, but he's playing extremely well. So it's and it's weird too, because AR is coming, CJ Stroud is coming. These aren't guys that are old. You have not the benefit, but you have a situation where your division has young quarterbacks that are going to be coming for your spot. Outside of Tennessee, who has Will Levis, but they don't know what they have yet. But AR has the potential. We've seen it. CJ Stroud, we know he's probably pushing the door quicker than we expected. Absolutely. So this is not a situation where you have a bunch of old quarterbacks. You have a bunch of young guys that are going to be coming, and then you have Houston, who is primed to make probably some big moves next offseason. So for Jacksonville, you expected them to make the big leap, and they're 6-4, 6-3, or whatever. But you expected them. I remember we had conversations this offseason about how we thought they'd run this division for so long, but the Colts are 5-5.
The Colts are sneaky.
AR hasn't played in some time. CJ Stroud in there, 6-5, 5-4, some shit 5-4. These are 2 teams that can literally make moves this offseason, get better, and literally take the division. You won't even have a chance to run the division like you wanted to. So
Tennessee, after that Falcons game, people were hyping up hey, Levis coming on. We'll have
that's what I'm saying. Now you got another dude you might have to watch over, and then
the hype's died down for Levis.
And what if Caleb comes? What if Caleb comes to the AFC? Now you have another guy
God willing, go the
NFC. So it's tough.
I mean, we got the Giants, Cardinals, Bears. So
do you adjust? Do you adjust your? Because I we do this in the NBA. We get a guy, we draft him, right, and then 2 years you start to adjust what he can be. You're all right, he's not that top 5 pick he was, but he can still be a service or role player.
Yeah, that's fair.
So do we adjust?
Andrew Wiggins type.
Yeah, type shit. He was a number 1 pick. Now we adjust. No, he's just a high quality role player. Yeah. Do you adjust Trevor Lawrence's expectations where he was a generational prospect? First year you blame it on Urban Myers. He was complete dog shit. Last year they came back from 27, did all the great things, but now this year they've kind of, as a whole, offensively looked pedestrian. Do you adjust Trevor Lawrence's expectation? Maybe you thought he'd be top 3, top 4. Maybe he's not that anymore. Maybe he's probably going to be top 5, top 6, top 7, as opposed to CJ Stroud, where he's this dude might be top 5 in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for really any quarterback. I mean, I think we've just seen, I don't want to call them anomalies, but I feel like throughout the history of the NFL, most guys don't come in 2 years, 3 years in, and like they're top 5. But these last couple of years, we've seen Mahomes do it. We've seen Herbert do it. Josh Allen
in
took,
year 3.
I would say Josh Allen took like year 3. Same thing with Jalen Hurts, where it took his, I guess, 3rd year,
He
but
didn't play
2nd year
the- yeah,
start in
so,
the
yeah.
NFL, where we're seeing all these quarterbacks
Shit,
break out
K1
early.
off the dome.
Yeah, K1
Tough.
was phenomenal as a rookie too. So I think it's still too early to write off or kind of define what Trevor Lawrence's career is going to be. He could still end up being a top 5 quarterback because he has that type of talent. And I don't want to, at the end of the day, they're still first in the division. I still think they will win the division. They'll host a playoff game. So if they win another playoff game, like Trevor Lawrence still has to be in that conversation for top 7, top 8 quarterback. But it's just been, when you compare him to the rest of the league, he hasn't been putting up the same numbers, kind of the same eye-popping type of like wow moments that we've seen from other guys.
It's just funny to me because this is kind of the difference between these two quarterbacks. But you look at Justin Herbert, he puts up great statistics. This year, he's playing at a top quarterback level, but he's labeled as some type of loser because his defense gives up a ton of points every single game, right? And he's not labeled as a top 5 quarterback because he doesn't win. But Trevor Lawrence wins, but the stats aren't Justin Herbert's. But now that they're using that to knock Lawrence. So when you have great stats but lose, you get knocked.
Yep.
When you have stats that are not the best and you're winning, you get knocked. I think Trevor Lawrence has been playing great. I think the issues are things around him right now. The play calling isn't good, and the pass blocking is horrible. They're 31st in pass block win rate. They're 30th in run block win rate. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. Calvin Ridley has not been what he was supposed to be. He has not been A.J. Brown to the Eagles. He has not been Stephon Diggs to the Bills. He has not been that type of game changer. He's not been Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins. So I think that hurts them a little bit. I think last year the Jaguars went all in free agency to bring in more talent to the team, and they've kind of strapped themselves financially. And now they have to really hope that they hit on draft picks to get talent on this team.
You know what fucking grinds my fucking gears that you just brought up? You brought up Stephon Diggs, and his brother was tweeting a bunch of
chatting.
and you know what pisses me off about stuff like that is you can say a quarterback, a wide receiver can elevate a quarterback, yet nobody in a God-given mind was putting Stephon Diggs in top 4 conversations as a wide receiver in Minnesota. He goes to play with Josh Allen. Josh Allen elevates him as he elevates Josh Allen. Yet the only person that gets the benefit of the doubt is Stephon Diggs.
And we're not going to pretend like Pat didn't strap him up. Like, that's what happened.
And it's like mind-boggling how people people were just chiming in with like, yeah. Like Josh Allen had 29 total touchdowns before Diggs that year. They won 10 games. He had 29 total. He wasn't this completion god. He was at 58%, but he was improving. You saw it. Stephon just upgraded the improvement, but he also made Stephon Diggs a top 5 receiver in the world, and they just don't care about that other side.
And not only that, but it annoys me that Stephon Diggs, he requested out of Minnesota because he wasn't getting the ball enough. Since 2020, since he's been in Buffalo, he's been the 2nd most targeted wide receiver in the NFL, and that still doesn't seem to be good enough for him. The fact that Trevon Diggs, Devontae Adams #1, the fact that Trevon Diggs is comfortable enough to tweet out on social media against the quarterback that his brother plays against, you just know that Stephon Diggs is saying things behind the scenes on how he's not all the way vibing with the Bills right now. I think that's a horrible look for Stephon Diggs, and he has to check people in his circle that stuff like that does not get out because that quite literally can mess up an entire team season. The Bills already look like they're on the decline. They fired their OC. Sean McDermott can't close out games defensively. Bro. Now this Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs beef, this drama that kind of brewed up after the playoff loss is being brought up again because of his brother. At this point in time, I just think Stephon Diggs just has to check his circle and make sure that doesn't get out.
Let's also go back in time. We can agree Josh Allen's best game ever would be against the Kansas City Chiefs, correct?
Sure.
All right. Now, in that game, do you know how many yards Stephon Diggs had?
Probably like 60.
I think it was 14.
I was upset.
Was it 4 catches?
Well, Gabe Davis. Well, he was a decoy. Gabe Davis had a breakout game.
Davis 200 yards.
That was the moment. Gabe Davis was
and Stephon got into the end zone too. But again,
he was primarily a decoy.
Gabe Davis went absolutely crazy. So again, in the biggest game of Josh's life, right? Stephon Diggs has been amazing for Josh Allen for sure. But again, in the biggest game in recent memory for the Bills came up short, not because of Josh Allen and not because of Stephon Diggs.
Team in general.
But the point being is, so we're just going to let one game in the playoffs versus the Bengals. And then, of course, we're looking at the early season woes and the struggles of this offense back and forth, where even still, statistically, Josh Allen has been impressive. It's just the turnovers. You got to stop. It's 6 games in a row now, something like that, with an interception.
I mean, I feel like at this point, you should just expect the turnover again.
But excuse me, for Trevon to tweet.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That is
ridiculous.
And
that's weird to me because you are on a team where you see CeeDee Lamb elevate Dak. Dak elevate CeeDee. Like, you see the connection they have, and you have like the nerve to sit there. And I get that's your brother, but your brother gets paid a hefty amount from Buffalo.
And he's contracted for what, another 4?
The dead notice, I think it's a year next year, but the dead cap to move him would be insane.
Okay.
Like, they wouldn't do that. So it's like, like people do, and I don't even get that because they've been a high talented winning team for the past 2 or 3 years. You've had opportunities to get to this AFC championship, to get to the bowl. I mean, before the Josh Allen perfect game, they was in the AFC championship game and they lost to the Chiefs. So it's like, you've had multiple opportunities, but who am I? I'm just a guy that has a podcast.
In honor of CJ Stroud's tremendous rookie season, I have created a game, blind quarterback rookie season rankings. Let's blindly rank the best quarterback rookie seasons of all time.
Before we do that, Trevon Diggs, I lied. Didn't have 4 catches, 17 yards. He had 3 catches for 7.
He only had 7 yards. That's crazy.
No
That's
touchdowns.
actually disgusting.
No touchdowns, but was it a 2-point conversion? Something
yes,
like that.
it was.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Got it.
Let's get on to this.
My beard get
Blind quarterback
Yeah, that shit is full.
Huh?
Your beard's looking full.
Shit tough, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. I'm sleeping on me.
You know what killed me? All the comments talking about my lack thereof beard.
I thought you were going to see last night. Last night I defended you
Why?
because people were.
No, that definitely.
You didn't acknowledge my tweet. That's why I was upset.
No, but I definitely saw it, and
Okay.
you didn't acknowledge mine.
What? No, I liked it.
Oh, did you? I didn't see that.
I would never, bro. You and Terrell. I liked both of you, and I retweeted.
Nah, I love
and
Terrell.
I tweeted him. I was like, "Sadly, I'm here." And
I love Terrell,
yeah,
bro.
no,
Terrell
she
was
didn't
there.
acknowledge my.
No, but I saw it and I appreciate it. But that's a fact that people are on my body talking about, I'm hype about the Broncos winning.
You're supposed to want to lose.
I'm just like, no, bro. We're on a 3-game heater. We beat the Chiefs and the Bills. Let me cook.
Yeah. People don't have fun anymore.
They don't, bro. They're too serious, especially on Twitter.
Blindly ranking the best rookie quarterback seasons ever in honor of CJ Stroud, who's worked himself into the MVP conversation. First comparison up. This was 2012, or I shouldn't even say the year because you guys are gonna fuck
Russell
up.
Wilson.
Okay. Quarterback 1.
I fried.
3,200 yards, 815 rushing yards, 27 total touchdowns to 5 interceptions with a passer rating of 102.4 and a record of 10-6.
No.
Player
it's RG3.
Player B, 4,051 yards, 706 yards rushing,
Okay.
35 total touchdowns, 17 interceptions, an 84.5 passer rating, 6-10 record.
I'm gonna say
Josh
Cam Newton.
Allen
What year was
so
that?
much.
What year was that?
I'm not gonna tell you the year.
Wait, player
Oh.
B was a rookie?
Okay, yes.
Yes.
They're all
Fucking
rookies.
as a rookie.
I'm gonna go 800. I'm gonna go with
35.
35 total touchdowns.
no. That's the second one.
35 total.
Player B, 35 total
Cam
touchdowns.
Newton.
Cam Newton is that one. The
First
first
one
one's RG3. I cooked.
That's correct.
Bang. Stop fucking with me.
Hey, buddy, are you going to name all black quarterbacks?
No.
No. There's it's rookies.
The third one's for sure going to be okay.
This one was.
I already know.
comparison
I already
to-
know
to
his
Black
guy's
Bears.
going to come up here.
So next time you guys have to say who you're taking between player A and player B.
Oh, I can't just guess.
Let's name them
you
first.
can guess.
No, but the answer was B for sure. 35.
Okay.
I'll
So
live with the
are you
picks.
taking RG3's rookie year or Cam Newton's rookie
Cam
year?
Newton's?
I'll go Cam. Wait, what was the record for Cam?
6-10.
I'm taking RG3.
Yeah, it's valid. 10
And
I'm
it's
gonna go.
6 moves, man.
No, he went to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton
No,
eventually.
we're talking about just
But-
rookies.
I
Rookie
understand, but
years,
that team wasn't good.
Exactly. That's why I'm taking RG3.
There's a reason
It's
they were
10-6
number
moves
one.
me a lot.
There was a reason they were number one.
He had the numbers and they're winning. Yeah, I'm taking RG3.
I'm
I'm
gonna
with
stay.
you.
I'm gonna stay confident.
We heard Dehls.
Next
RG.
comparison. Now, this quarterback as a rookie, 3,667 yards, 29 total touchdowns to 4 interceptions, a 104.9 passer rating, a 13-3 record.
This is Dak.
This next quarterback, 4,336
You are
yards,
nice.
36 total touchdowns from this quarterback, player B, 10 interceptions, a 98.3 passer rating, 7-9 record.
I will always take the better record, good
Herbert?
stats. So Dak.
Say player B again.
One more time.
Player B, 4,336 yards, 36 total touchdowns to 10 interceptions,
You cooked.
a
It's
98.3
Herbert.
rating, 7-9 record.
It's Herbert.
I would take
I'm
Dak.
easily
I'm
taking
taking
Dak.
come on. That was different.
Dak,
13 and
Yeah,
3.
yeah, no.
I'm easily
Dak-
taking
I'm
Dak.
gonna stay consistent though, because again, the record
you
didn't
have
move
to,
me
yeah.
the first time. That being said,
Now,
I also
13 and
remember.
3 is
I
movable.
remember Dak Prescott and how
He was
amazing he was.
unbelievable. He
So
was
10
basically
and
what-
6 may not move, but 13 and
What
3
CJ
should move
Stroud
the
is
shit out
doing
of you.
right now is very comparable to kind of what Dak was doing his rookie year, except he had a much better offense.
Player A is Dak Prescott. Player B is Justin
That
Herbert.
was just cooking.
Nah,
Are
All
all
right,
you
let me-
guys
like I didn't get the first one.
You did. Now let me go.
Okay.
are all of you guys going with Dak Prescott player A?
Yeah.
I'll go Dak there.
I'm gonna cut. Come on.
Next comparison.
We had to let this guy do. Okay, good
Yeah,
luck,
let
buddy.
me- Let me cook. You
Next,
could tell me the year, bro. I'm
okay,
really-
no,
yeah,
it's fine. I don't want to give that away.
Please.
This comparison, this rookie player A, 4,374 yards, 27 total touchdowns to 18 interceptions, a 76.5 passer rating, an 11-5 record. The second quarterback, 3,725 yards, 27 total touchdowns to 14 interceptions, a 93.7 rating, 6-7 record.
Yep. I need help.
I know B.
I need help.
I know B.
6-7 record.
B is
Yes.
Baker. I think.
I'll be honest. I was gonna say Sam Bradford. Please help me.
No, what's the
Say-
first one?
Say player A. I think
The
B
first one
Baker.
is 4,300 yards,
6-7. You went absolutely
'Cause
pinpoint
he,
there.
yeah,
Correct.
he missed a couple, or he
Yes.
didn't start.
Player A, the first one, 4,300 yards, 27 total touchdowns to 18 interceptions, 76.5
Ooh,
passer rating.
How many interceptions?
18.
18.
And what was the
Okay,
record?
this is not
11-5.
This is not Mac Jones.
So
Wait, 11-5.
I'll
What
say
did they
every- that is a
go?
rookie. They didn't go 11-5.
That's
The
a
rookie
lot.
Patriots, Mac Jones, went 10-7.
Okay, that's a lot of interceptions.
11-5
I'm waiting to hear Russ. That's not Russ's stat line.
is B Baker.
B is Baker.
Okay, let me get that out of the way.
Are you looking it up, Riv?
Hell no. I'm cooked.
Oh,
Player
I was looking
A.
at the comments.
So
so you said 24?
a winning team.
27 total touchdowns,
27
18 interceptions, 4,300 yards,
43
No rushing.
yards. This is total.
27
I'm assuming.
total touchdowns,
Got it.
Yeah,
43
total.
passing yards.
4,300 passing yards.
Is this Andrew Luck?
It is Andrew Luck.
Nice,
fucking
nice,
with me,
nice.
boy.
he had 18 total.
I didn't know
18
they won that
interceptions?
many
He
games.
did
this
throw a
rookie
lot of
year.
interceptions.
I didn't know
No,
they won
that
11
team was
games.
solid. They were a quarterback away. They were fucking with. I think Dan Orlovsky was the quarterback the year before. That was the year Peyton had his neck injury.
The guy on
So when I was
ESPN?
there. Yes.
He was a quarterback?
He
Bro,
was.
he was the. Have
What?
you ever seen the video of the guy running out the back of the end zone
Yes.
on the Lions?
was him?
That's
It
Dan
was him.
Orlovsky.
He played.
He did.
Was he good?
Nah.
Not at all.
Nah, he was a backup.
He's great at like breaking down the
Yes,
game and
he's
shit. I thought he
phenomenal.
was just a wow.
Nah, he was a
Yeah.
backup.
I'm
I
nice.
just got caught
That
on
was
casual
good.
watch. I did not know he
Unfortunately,
played
we are
football.
not going to have Russell Wilson because it's going to be clearing
Really?
for the last name.
Okay.
The only rookie quarterbacks left are
All
Mac
right,
Jones.
that's
and
okay.
Russ.
Go ahead.
Russell Wilson had a tremendous rookie quarterback season. I was thinking about comparing him and RG3.
So that was the last name.
That was the last name.
All right, yo, gentlemen.
What?
Sorry, with all due respect, it's me.
That's fine. NBA catch me.
for sure. The Dak and Herbert one was fire,
13-3 was
Yeah.
a giveaway.
and Baker also. That the
Big
6 and 7 was
yeah.
firm.
Honestly, the records is what helped me.
13-3 was easy,
If
Dak.
you didn't give me the
Facts.
records, I would not have.
I
probably
should
wouldn't
have
be able to
not
get
given
all
you the
of them.
records, man. It's
No,
not
it
even a quarterback
matters.
stat.
What is the
Hey,
quarterback?
listen, man.
stat?
13-3.
Yeah, so not many rookies are
13-3.
doing.
We're
doing
2
that.
hours in, man.
Here we go. 2
Let's
topics.
talk about the Cleveland Browns because they
Let's
came
talk.
back against the Baltimore Ravens. They beat the Ravens 32-31. This game in the fourth quarter was 31-17,
Talk about it.
and the Browns still came back. You know, Deshaun Watson in the second half, 14 for 14, 134
Rev, you said he
yards,
was
one
terrible.
touchdown.
Oh, listen.
Deshaun Watson in the second half, he has some flashes. He
Scored on
got
every drive.
out
He had the
of
ball.
pressure. He scrambled
only
for
had
some
one
first
incompletion.
downs.
14,
He was great. He was great. Deshaun Watson was great, and it may have restored some hope in the Cleveland fan base. I think if anything, we already knew the Browns defense was elite. I think that was a given. But my takeaway from this game is that in order for me to really take the Ravens seriously, they have to start winning games that they should win and stop losing games in embarrassing fashion, because their losses this year, you can argue, have been mistakes by them versus the Colts, versus the Steelers, a bunch of wide receivers dropping passes, versus the Browns blowing a 2-possession lead. Lamar Jackson throwing an interception touchdown that basically tied the game up. It was 31-30 because the kicker missed the field goal on the Browns side. But the Ravens have lost 7 games in the last 2 regular seasons with Lamar as a starter. They had at least a 75% win probability, according to ESPN's win probability tracker, in the fourth quarter of every single one. In 5 of the 7, they had a 90% chance to win in the fourth.
God damn.
This is a team that when they lose games, they're losing games that they're supposed to win. And until they start winning these matchups, it's hard for me to fully trust and invest into this team as a legitimate team that I think could make it out the AFC, because that's the name of the game in the playoffs. You got to win these type of ball games.
Absolutely. Riv, you want to start? Talk about your Browns?
Duh.
You got some things you want to say to me?
I do, because I felt like me and you had a very spicy, entertaining conversation about the Steelers and the Browns. You know, a lot of back and forth, clawing at the jaw, damn near kissing. And, you know, I feel like you disrespecting my Browns. And now that they have that signature win against the Ravens, who you were excited about the Steelers saying they beat the Ravens, they have that signature win.
They do.
I think a little bit more respect needs to be pointed their way. And listen, I've been a big advocate of the fact that the Browns have been playing against another team and their quarterbacks every time they go out there on the field. It's been so bad from the quarterback play between PJ Walker, who shout out to PJ. I felt like he didn't think he would play this year. Just came in for vibes. You know, he's just trying to do the best he can in the situation. Yeah, and Deshaun Watson, he just doesn't look himself. But this game started bad. I mean, Deshaun threw an interception on the first drive, and they returned it for a touchdown.
That was a nice play, though.
Yeah, it was, but it's like, damn, you're in Baltimore. That's not how you want to start. You know, 31-17, like you mentioned, going into the fourth. This defense just made Lamar look terrible. He wasn't completing passes at the percentage he used. He had a couple turnovers. You know, this Myles Garrett, this Darius Smith, they were getting to Lamar. Like, this defense just put on a masterclass performance, but I can't really not give Deshaun Watson credit. He was flawless in the second half, you know. Okay. He was flawless in the second half. You know, he was completing his passes. You know, his pocket presence was solid. He looked the best I've seen him look in a Browns uniform in that second half. Like, credit the Titans game, their ass. You know, this was the game where he looked the best in the second half, and it was a clutch game because they needed this one. You already lost to the Ravens early in the year in embarrassing fashion. You know, you beat the Bengals this year, but you lost to the Steelers. So you were 1-2 in your division. You needed a game like this, and that division is so tight. It's so all over the place. Even the Ravens are comfortable in the lead, but they can, you know, we've seen them, they can choke at any moment, you know, and I think the Browns, you know, credit to them. Like I mentioned, they have been playing with probably one of the worst quarterback position. Like, they've been playing one of the worst quarterback plays in this league. This defense gets no help from that quarterback position, and yet they still fight every week, you know, and then they lost Chubb early in the year, which probably would have helped them so much. But this Browns team is legit. You know, it's not legit in terms of winning a Super Bowl. You know, it's not legit in terms of maybe even making an AFC championship game. But I think I stand firm on what I said in the offseason. This team is a legit playoff team. This team is a wild card team, and this team will make the wild card. Backpacking this defense. If Deshaun Watson could just play flawless football, could just play calm football. Jerome Ford was good too in the run game. Kareem Hunt had his moments here and there, but if they can just run the ball, Deshaun Watson make plays here and there, you rely on that defense they have shown they will get you turnovers, they will get you stops when you need, and you just make the plays where you just don't turn over the ball. I think this Browns team can legit make the playoffs, and I have them making the playoffs.
Rav, I'll say this. You say that this is a wild card team. This team that can contend for the division at this current point in time. 6-3 record, 7-3 record for the
I just think
Ravens.
the quarterback play right now is too risky to put my full faith in it. Deshaun was great in the second half, but all year it's been inconsistent between him and PJ. Not good. Like they're the only team right now, like outside of them and the Steelers, who don't have consistent quarterback play. Like Lamar's great, Joe Burrow's great when he's healthy, Herbert's great, Patrick Mahomes is great. They don't have a quarterback they don't even have a run game right now. They consistently rely. Like Jerome Ford has been great in his role, but he's not Nick Chubb.
He ate against.
Yeah, but he's just not like Nick Chubb gives you those 3rd and 8.
You
I
saw
can
him
get
put
you
on
that.
Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Yo,
he's
interesting.
Listen, man.
Interesting.
Cleveland fights, man. The mentality different over there.
For those that we kind of just had like the subliminal. Nick Chubb put up an Instagram post. I don't know what it was specifically, but it was kind of just more so just like, yo, I'm working.
Hinted.
I'm trying to come back
for sure
to be ready for my guys. Now, Rick, when we had our discussion, when you mentioned that we almost started kissing right at this table. The issue was that we didn't know who was going to play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Now, that was a time where we were unsure with Deshaun Watson's shoulder. That was when PJ Walker was your quarterback, like you just mentioned. You weren't even sure that at a point in time that PJ was going to play football at all this year. He kind of just got picked up, filled in a role.
That'd be Dorian.
For sure, we all thought it would be Dorian. Wasn't good enough. PJ came in. Now, here we are with Deshaun Watson going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Deshaun played pretty bad in the first half. But again, in the National Football League, it's a tale of two halves. Yep. He was phenomenal in the second half. They scored on every drive that he had the football. The defense also did pick him up with that huge pick six at the end of the game to put them in a position to tie the game.
That was
where the
Martin
kicker,
Emerson, I believe.
Yep, correct. And then
he's been great.
And then the kicker just could not. I think it was a missnap. I'm blanking off the top of my head, but they weren't able to get the extra point. So then now the defense has to go again, make another stop. Deshaun gets the ball, and then wills his way to get in that first down, getting them in position to kick a field goal. They got there through Deshaun Watson on that drive, but not only his arm, but of course his legs as well. Deshaun, when he's playing this level of football, we talk about the Browns in a serious manner. If Deshaun can play like he played in the second half throughout the entirety of the rest of the season, we're talking about the Browns being contenders. We are.
But I'm not asking for him to do that. I'm just asking for him to limit the turnovers.
But you know why I say you should ask him to do that? And I can respect you standing on that point because you feel like Deshaun Watson, you can't trust him at this point in time. But why I say that maybe you should is because they invested capital into him to do that. 3 firsts. You put over, what is it, 240?
230 mil.
230?
All guaranteed.
All guaranteed money.
He has all that money.
You have to rely on him to do stuff like he did against Baltimore. It's not just going to be a one-sided job with the Browns where they're the number one statistical defense in the league. It's reasonable for you to ask Deshaun to do what he did in the second half, rest of the season, because we're talking about a Baltimore Ravens team that prior to this game against the Browns, it was consensus. Number one team in the AFC. Number one team in the NFL, arguably. Of course, you have to respect the Philadelphia Eagles. And Deshaun Watson played arguably his best football of the season. So for that to be the case, why is it unreasonable to ask him to do this going forward? It should not be simple as that. So again, if he's going to play like this rest of the season, Riv, I'm with you. The Browns are a legit team to be messed with.
I have an interesting stat here from Brett Coleman because when I went and I rewatched that game, specifically I was looking at the second half because I heard the 14 for 14 and I was watching the game, but I never felt like overwhelmed by Deshaun Watson. I never thought he was playing at like this super high level. And outside that last drive where he was phenomenal, right? He had a beautiful throw to Amari Cooper on the right hash. For
second and 18. Right?
Yeah. Player was right on his hip, made a pass, perfectly let him inside.
Cooper had a good game.
He had another rush for like 15, 20 yards that set him up to field goal range. And he was playing while injured. He got hurt first, second quarter of this game
Ankle
too.
Injury.
And he was able to, fight through it. But in the first half, the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson, had an average up target of 16.2 yards, extremely aggressive. They ended up being 6 of 22, 79 yards, and a pick six that happened in that first drive. Second half, average up target of 5.9, 87% of throws were short of the sticks. He did go 14 for 14, 134 yards. So the question was, originally, does this restore your faith in Deshaun Watson? And well, I think on one hand, it's great to see that Deshaun Watson kind of had his moment as a Cleveland Brown. He had his moment of, being able to, quote unquote, put the team on his back for that one drive, put him in field goal range to ultimately win the game. But this was a team effort. Jerome Ford had over 100 rushing yards. This was only the second time the Ravens gave up over 100 rushing yards to a single player all season. The other player was Zach Moss. He had 30 carries. Jerome Ford didn't have with, 17. The defense was great. They forced that turnover late during the game. Myles Garrett, of course, is dominant as ever. And this was a game that 99% of the time the Browns lose because it felt like every single time they were third down, red zone, they had a penalty. It was either legal contact, it was holding, it was something usually on the defense that gave the Ravens more opportunities to end up scoring it and get into the end zone or kicking field goals. They had, 10 turnovers, 10 penalties in that game. 5 of them turned into first downs for Baltimore, giving them extra chances. So I have to give the Browns a credit. That was a big win, a win like you mentioned, that they needed, being 1-2 in the division, how close the AFC North is, that at the end of the season, it's going to be one game probably between you could win the division or be out of the playoffs.
Yep.
Like everyone is, you're sitting there. The Steelers are 6-3 now all of a sudden, right? Baltimore, the Bengals, even though they just lost, they're sitting there at 5-4 with the matchup with the Ravens on Thursday Night Football, where the whole division could be flipped in one night.
Fire.
They muffed a punt too. The Cleveland Browns did, which led up to another Baltimore score. The offensive line, they got 27 pressures. So this was definitely a team effort that I feel like for most of the time I'm watching the Cleveland Browns, they end up losing. But to Drew's point, there's a reason you go out and you trade all of this for Deshaun Watson. There's a reason why you give him that $200+ million guaranteed. And that was because of that last drive where he made key play after key play, got them in field goal range. But this was far, far, far from a perfect game. This was far from probably the best game they've played all season. And if they want to make real noise in the AFC and in the division, they have to play better than this. I know we had Baltimore number 1 in the power rankings. I know this is a great win for them, but I'm not coming away from this game being like, oh my God, they just beat Baltimore's ass. We got to talk about them being a Super Bowl contender because I still see a lot of issues with this team.
I think that's a fair point because I think if these teams match up again, the Ravens will beat them 8 times out of 10. Maybe 9 times out of 10.
Second time, baby.
I think that the Ravens are that much better of a team over the Browns, and it showcased that way for 3 quarters. For 3 quarters, there was no doubt in anybody's mind that the Ravens are just a better football team than the Browns. The Browns cannot compete with them. But in that 4th quarter, everything changed, and credit to them for coming back. But there is still something about the Browns that you can't trust, and that something is that quarterback wearing number 4 that you don't trust.
What about Lamar Jackson? Didn't have that good of a game at all.
Come on, Lamar.
He's back at it.
Come on, Lamar.
This was a tough one to watch.
I don't want to hear that, Drew.
I'm just being honest.
Because weeks ago, I brought up the stat of how Lamar Jackson in the 4th quarter has some of the most turnovers. And you just brushed off that stat.
Is that true?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Like Brock Purdy to me.
No, again, because I don't remember that, so I don't know why that would come up to memory. But I do remember supporting Lamar Jackson outside of when I was critical about when we had our Browns conversation.
It was after Stephen A. Smith's Lamar Jackson.
See, but that's exactly what I'm going to say. I remember when Riv and I were having our conversation about the Browns and the Steelers, where Lamar Jackson, yes, he did go through a lot of drops in that game. He had an opportunity to win the game, and he did throw an interception. I was very vocal about that. So I don't know. I mean, I do want to talk about Lamar Jackson, his struggles against the Browns late in this game.
It was after the Steelers game.
It definitely played in part to the Ravens ultimately losing.
It did. And, I don't trust Lamar the most in the 4th quarter. I don't. Is that what you're getting at?
I'm just saying he was really one of the main reasons why they lost.
He was. It's just difficult because the 4th quarter interception that he threw, it's just really not a bad decision from him. It's just kind of like an unlucky interception. It happened regardless, so I can't say it's not a bad play, but it's an unfortunate play.
It's like the play that started the game for the Browns, where Kyle Hamilton goes and makes that play. It's like that was an elite play by Hamilton, but again, the stats are going to tell you, yo, Deshaun, you just had a pick 6. What the fuck are you doing? Now, of course, we watch and we understand the same thing happened on the other side of the ball, but again, Lamar Jackson could have put the game away and didn't.
I'm looking at the chat right now, and I see Noah E is saying, Joel making excuses, cry. Joel never gives credit. I'm supposed to give credit to the Browns and Deshaun Watson? That's what I'm supposed to do?
A little bit. I mean, listen,
did I not give credit to them?
Did you feel similar, though, that second half, you read 14 for 14, you're like, holy shit, Deshaun's back. But then you watch the game, you're like, this is a lot of, 5-yard routes. Just put it on him and then go.
Listen, the reason why it actually does make me feel better is because the problem with Deshaun Watson has been when those concepts have been there, he does not rip the throws. He's not on time. The timing is off within the offense. So that gave me some hope because I'm like, okay, Deshaun Watson is finally playing within the structure of the offense. Okay, he can get to his 3rd step drop and then throw it on that 3rd step right to the receiver. Even if it's a 5-yard, if it's a 5-yard completion, he can do that. He can play quick game. And I think all the Browns need is somebody that can manage the game and be efficient. It doesn't have to be over the top, but it just has to be at least mediocre level football because the Browns defense is that elite.
And that's all you're asking for. If you got a team that can generate you 2 to 3 turnovers a game, get you 3 to 4 sacks, constantly put pressure on the quarterback. You got 2 to 3 in Denzel Ward. He left the game, but you got Denzel Ward, you got Greg Newsome, you got Grant, you got Martin Emerson. Like, you got dudes that can literally scrap up other wide receivers and you can play man. Like, you got a defense like that. You don't need to be sitting here throwing 15 and 20-yard passes no. make this game muddy. Your defense is nasty. It makes games ugly. They play gritty. Make your offense the same. If Nick Chubb was here, you'd have been doing the same thing. Run, short pass. Run, short. You should be doing the same thing. Short pass, run, short pass, run. It shouldn't be no extra. No, and you don't even have receivers. Like, you have Amari Cooper. He is not a deep threat machine. No, make him beat dudes vertically, but not far out. Get these little short routes.
Intermediate.
Yeah, he's intermediate short, and keep working. You can do that. You don't have to make mistakes, because if you don't make mistakes, this Brown defense rarely makes mistakes.
Yeah.
So you have a defense that don't bend, they don't break, and offensively, you haven't been able to apply that same pressure. I remember the Steelers game like it was yesterday. Like, that shit is boggled in my mind at the fact that the Browns offense literally did nothing to help that Cleveland Brown defense.
sure.
Like, they did so much, and what the Browns kept doing, fumbling, interception, fumbling, 3 and out. It's like, because you're doing too much. This Browns offense, you don't need to be sophisticated. You don't need to be extra. You need to just play it simple, and your defense will be great.
Yeah, and I read this number wrong. Read this number wrong. They allowed 27 pressures, didn't get 27 pressures. The Browns being so, part of the reason they probably changed that philosophy in the second half is like, oh shit, the Ravens pass rush is getting after us.
They also lost.
Drop back.
Ravens pass rush has been great.
They just lost somebody.
They lost left tackle.
left tackle.
It was a beneath.
Jedrick?
Yes,
Wills.
Jedrick
Jedrick
Wills.
Wills.
Yes.
Well said. They lost. I think he's out for the year.
Yes.
So that's another guy. And they lost somebody earlier too. I forgot his name.
Batonio.
It might have been. They lost somebody against the Steelers game, I want to say.
So this is the reason the commenters are up in arms. It's because Deshaun Watson played through a bad ankle for 3 quarters. After the first quarter, he thugged it out.
That's
He was
exactly what I'm
tough.
saying. In the last drive of the game, the big play that set them up was him getting that first down with his
It's a
legs.
big game. He knew he needed it.
It's about time. It's about time he played through.
Listen, it's
something
not
like that.
unreasonable for you to be hypercritical of Deshaun when he's getting 230. He was traded for 3 first-round picks. The same way people were critical of Russ last year is the same way that they were expecting him to be good this year. You are not incorrect in asking Deshaun Watson to play like he played prior to the trade.
And that's what I'm expecting. I don't want to see PJ Walker out there. If Deshaun Watson's on a bad ankle, I still want to see Deshaun Watson. Even on a bad shoulder, I'd rather see Deshaun Watson and PJ Walker out there.
So that is what they're saying, because you were pretty critical about him not playing.
Yeah, about the injury, about not being tough.
Interesting.
I remember that. Long talk.
All right, so
I
hey,
remember that.
All right, are you gonna apologize?
It's a bad ankle.
Apologize about what?
Toughing through an injury. He did not
called
come
him
out of the
soft.
game.
No, I'll give him credit for
did say he
toughing
was soft
through an
before.
injury.
So
Is he still soft to you?
He's a tough guy.
all right,
He's a
there you
tough
go.
football player.
That's the apology.
He's
all
a
I need.
football player. You got to be
Listen,
tough.
that's
This
all I
guy
need.
Joel and his pride. It's kind of
It's nasty, right?
it is, Joel.
We on the BR stream did Darkhorse contenders, right? So I think the Browns are they fall into that category. If you guys were to rank 5 to 1 Darkhorse contenders in the NFL, what would be your order?
I don't know, Joel. We agreed on one.
Wait, what's the team?
I was gonna say I don't even have.
No, Joel. We agreed on one.
Let me hear you.
All right,
So
so
first
here
of
it is.
all, what do you
So
what do you
basically
deem
anybody outside the
what do you
I'll give you
deem
the
a
five.
dark horse
I'll
contender?
I think Cincinnati should be 1.
All right, I'm fine with that. I'll tell you what we decided on. So prior to the season starting, we felt as if Cincinnati's not in this conversation because their expectation was already to be a contender. So to me, I guess now that where we are
You
right
should
now,
change expectations.
you could. I'm fine with that. So the 5 teams that we had, it was Seattle, it was the Jaguars, it was the Lions, it was the Browns, and it was the Dolphins.
So Dark Horse is they have a chance. Because
Dark horse is a team. I think a dark horse contender is a team that you think nobody's talking about. They're under the radar. They're not tier 1 contender status, but
Seattle has
they
no
can make
chance.
it out.
I feel like everyone's talking about the Dolphins though. Like who is
Correct.
not talking about the Dolphins?
Correct.
So taking that part out, because I think everything else you said was,
Okay,
I don't think
okay,
Seattle
okay.
has no chance.
I think-
I wouldn't call them a dark horse.
So
Yeah.
so here are the other teams that we also came up with. It was the Browns, it was the Chargers, it was
Really?
it was the Steelers, it was Seattle, and it was the Vikings.
No Miami?
So again, like Joel said,
Yeah.
he feels as if everyone's talking about
But
Miami.
if you were doing preseason, I don't think many people had Miami as a Super Bowl contender, did they?
think a
I
lot
mean,
of
I
people
had them
did.
winning the division.
I think people had them high.
I also felt as if they were still a great team overall, had a chance for
I would
sure.
say, so for me personally, I would say, no order, but I would say Cincinnati. I think Miami. I can lean Detroit.
we also had Houston in this conversation.
I wouldn't put Houston in. I like Detroit though. Detroit's a good one. The Cleveland and Pittsburgh, they're like the same. They're like in the same spot. Like I can't give them 2 spots in the top 5 because they are the same exact. Like they're not the same They're the same makeup. They may not play the same and this, but they have quarterback issues. That defense pretty much wins them games.
They just keep winning.
Yeah, they
man.
just win. They in that defense always. So I think they're like both 5A, 5B. Yeah, and the fourth team, I guess
You think the Jaguars are a dark horse?
I was
team?
about to say, I guess because they'll have home field advantage. It'll be they'll have a lot of.
All right, Riv, do you want me to
energy.
share you the list that we had with those 5 early on, though?
Sure,
All right, we had the Dolphins 1.
that's fair.
Number 2, we had the Browns.
Okay.
Number 3, we had Detroit. Number 4 was Jacksonville. And number 5 was Seattle.
So you guys don't think Cincinnati because you think they're already contenders?
I personally put them in that tier already.
Yeah.
But I understand where you guys are coming from
I feel the
now.
same way
where-
about Miami.
Oh,
too.
okay, I agree.
Okay, all right. I respect that. As long as we're on the same page, is okay. I respect
If you had
that.
to rank those 5, is that the order?
I wouldn't put Seattle.
Number,
in.
I'll repeat it again because I know I have issues with short-term memory also. Number 1, Miami.
Fair.
Number 2, the Browns. Number 3, Detroit.
You could convince me with Detroit and Cleveland.
So I actually had that same conversation with
think-
Joel on the stream. My thought process was Detroit's secondary is bad. Like, it's noticeably bad. They really just got gashed by not just the Ravens. We've seen it with Seattle, who struggled with their offense also, and the Chargers just put up 38 on them. Now, their offense can score, obviously, but the Chargers defense obviously isn't one that we're really talking about too crazily. The only time we spoke about it was after the Jets game, but that's the Jets. Like you guys have mentioned, I'm not throwing shots.
I think there's more troubles in the AFC than the NFC. I think Detroit has to worry about 3 teams.
I just
They might
mean
only
this-
have to see
in the sense of
2 of them.
talent. Let's just keep it in a vacuum, right?
Are the Cowboys a dark horse contender?
I said no,
Yes.
they're not. I think they're a top tier 1 team in the NFC.
Which means he thinks they're as good as the Niners and Eagles.
I would.
I think
I
they're
would
in
put
that
Dallas.
tier.
See,
Doing
me and
it.
Dehls
Hey,
know.
we're doing it.
Me and Dehls think they're a tier 2, top of the tier 2. So
Rib,
that would probably
you know
be a
what's
dark
funny?
horse.
Because I literally said this one or 2 weeks ago after the Eagles game.
Yeah, this
I
guy,
said-
I heard it already.
I said they're gonna these next 2 games they're playing
They're gonna
dog
play
shit
garbage.
teams.
They're gonna look amazing.
and we're gonna put them up
But
there
the thing
with
is,
those
they've
other
looked
teams.
amazing for the past month. They've looked amazing for the past month. And the game against the Eagles was
and
right in
lost.
reach.
So since you classify them as a tier
I-
2
I
team, do
don't
you
think-
think they're a dark horse contender?
Yeah, it's tough because I still think they're the 3rd best team in the NFC. You know, I just don't. I think they're a tier below those other 2.
So if there
So
was
I guess
a team,
they'd be dark horse then if they're not tier 1.
if there was a team that you label as a dark horse contender in the NFC, what team would it be?
It would. The thing is, I see 2 clear contenders in the NFC where I see San Francisco
I
and
agree.
Philly, and then it's Detroit
It'd
and-
have to be
and-
Detroit.
and Dallas.
The dark horse would have to be
It
Detroit.
would have to be Detroit.
And in the AFC, how many teams do you have for the AFC?
Oh,
The AFC is different because I don't see it as clearly like out
So,
like
like,
the
if we're
Chiefs,
calling-
the Ravens.
If we're calling the Cowboys dark horse, then you have to call Dolphins dark horse.
I don't mind. I don't mind calling the
because
Dolphins.
yeah,
But
dark
so
horse.
are the Dolphins tier 1
I probably
in your
Dolphins in
opinion?
tier 2. Yeah,
Okay.
probably Dolphins tier
So
2.
I would say Dolphins, Cincy, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland, and Jacksonville.
You think the Steelers are dark horse contenders?
Hell no. Fuck
If I'm
no.
throwing, this is the thing. If I'm throwing Cleveland, because I don't think Cleveland is a dark horse contender. I really don't think they can win the Super Bowl. I don't think they can get to a Super Bowl.
Not even if
I
Deshaun
think they
Watson
have better-
plays average
But
football.
see,
they
that's the
have
thing.
better
That's
talent.
me. Like
Browns defense is nuts.
Shout out to DJ. He was just saying that's me having mental masturbation. Me having me literally
We're gonna
having
use that
thoughts
now.
of Deshaun
He
being
fried
great when
over
he's
that.
shown
That shit
he's
was
shown
funny.
me nothing that is going to warrant consistent play, especially in a playoff series, which they're probably going to be on the road. I don't know if I can trust.
They were just on the
Deshaun.
road against the Ravens.
I know, I understand, and he was bad for quarters 1 to 3. In a playoff series, I don't know. Like that's too much to really gamble on, and I know Kenny Pickett ain't gonna be good in the playoffs.
Hell no.
Like I know that. So like that's why them 2 teams. It's like
So you'd put the Jaguars in a dark horse contender.
because I think
The
Trevor
Steelers aren't
Lawrence
in my list.
Yeah,
I'll keep
Trevor
it stacked.
Lawrence has
The
that
Steelers got no
potential
shot.
to like. We've seen them come back from 27,
Yeah.
like regardless. We've seen that, and Trevor Lawrence has that it factor. Like he's one of those quarterbacks. So yeah, I'd probably cut both of them out. I'd probably say Cincy, Miami, Jacksonville. Those are 3 dark horses for me.
Yeah, I don't think I could put Cincy in there. It's hard to if you got Joe Burrow on your team to be a dark horse, you know. Like
Man,
you got
they
a
lose
top-tier
Thursday, shit
quarterback.
get dog.
That's
They
a
right with them
fact.
Bills list.
You get Thursday, all of a sudden you're scratching and clawing for a wild card spot. Sitting
Don't
at
lose.
5-5.
The Buffalo Bills fired Ken Dorsey this morning.
That was
The
great.
Broncos beat the Bills 24-22, and that's what led to this firing. Now, 2 things to make of this game. One, Riv's bet of the Broncos 6 wins is looking very bad right now.
It's looking
They're only
slim
2
and
wins
grim.
away,
I
and
thought I
they
had
might
over-
get
I
it
thought I had over
relatively
6.
soon.
I thought
No,
like
it was
6.5.
5.5. Don't
I
fucking play with me.
Ask the question.
Because you were talking all that shit. I'm not here for sympathy now.
Okay.
I'm not.
It's cool. You can have your little victory lap. I have more.
I'm not here for it. All I've heard these last 2 seasons is you run that mouth of yours
It's
on my
warranted.
Denver
You
Broncos.
haven't been
It's not
good.
warranted anymore, so keep it
What are they,
hush.
4-5?
We beat the Chiefs. We
4
beat
and
the
6?
Bills. Your
4 and
Bills.
5.
We beat Michael Jordan.
Stop. I said that 2
That
years
Michael
ago.
Jordan.
Let that go.
That's a fact. It is.
Let that
How
go.
many times have I heard 65 wins? I'm going to bring up Michael Jordan.
You were. I mean, he did go what 12-4. He almost won MVP.
It was close. It was
It
close.
was really close. The Lakers
I
weren't
mean-
close to 65 wins.
I mean, he doesn't have a chance in hell.
We went
for
to
MVP.
the WCF
Last
next
year.
year.
He was
Last
It
year
was
he did.
it was Mahomes. It wasn't Mahomes. It was Hurts.
No, they had the same amount of votes. Remember, Hurts and Josh had 1 vote. Stop
That's fucked
playing,
up.
bro.
That's
But
fucked
we,
up.
but we know.
Bro, I ain't trying to hear that.
Now we
No
know
disrespect.
Mahomes clears.
No,
Fucking
listen,
making
man. I
outside
texted you. I said, good win. I gave you your flowers and whatnot.
Respect
You
that.
and Terrell. Shout out to y'all. You
You're a
have-
real man. Respect that there.
I take L's. It happens.
It does.
If I take an L, I'm a stand on business because it's never nothing. But those L's I took, I had great W's this weekend.
You did. You did.
Of great W's.
But
this
we're not
weekend.
just going to gloss over this big L.
No, we're gonna talk about it because I got a lot to say, and I was very angry last night because there was a bunch of bullshit going on in the game, and a fellow brother of mine at the table, you know what I'm saying? He pissed me off because he was giving he was talking in the moment of my angry and trying to defend the man. I didn't have the moment to defend. You know what I'm saying? But I understand Joel. He likes to be objective, but at the same time, I didn't like that. But to talk.
Get in his charger, bro.
Oh, okay. So to talk about the Bills, they fired Ken Dorsey. It's about fucking time. He has not been good all year. The system is broken. The schematics is very boring and it's very played out. And Dan Orlovsky, shout out to him. I'm glad y'all told me he played football because I was just watching him this morning because now that I know who he is, it's kind of all clicking together. He said, everybody knows the Bills playbook walking into the game. Offensively,
Spam Stefan.
No, everybody knows exactly what the Bills are going to do every single game. Do you know how embarrassing that is that you've played 10 games? Going back to last year, he said everybody knows their game. So it's like you needed a change. 5-5. You've had shitty performances against the Giants. You've had shitty performances against the Patriots. And, I've seen Bills fans talk about ever since Miami, they lost their funk because defensively they got hurt ever since that Jaguars game coming back from London. But, dude, the defense, I got to give them credit because they have been getting their slack. But against the Bengals, against what they just played, oh, my God, I'm blanking. Against the Broncos, the defense was holding it down. The defense was playing great football for the most part, especially a defense that banged up. And mind you, they're losing guys in between the games, like
in the position they
like
were in. Every drive last night felt like the Broncos had the ball at the 50-yard line.
Yeah, like the punt returns were great, 50-yard line, and then Buffalo is losing a guy every single drive. There's a defensive lineman getting out. There's a secondary getting out. Like they're losing a player in that defense.
Yep, Micah Hyde didn't play.
Yeah, they showed that something wrong with his neck, but they showed out. They play well offensively. This Bills offense hasn't been able to get together for about 5 to 6 weeks, and we expected, what Josh Allen has showed us over the last 2 or 3 seasons is he can backpack an offense. He can, and statistically he's been great individually, but just from the eye test, like Joel mentioned before, sometimes the eye test can tell you something different. Just from the eye test from this Bills team, they look out of funk. They look figured out. They look sloppy. They don't look engaged. They don't look together. And, we can blame the Josh Allen turnovers, which he's always throws a really terrible one. But last game, Gabe Davis dropped a clean one, which Josh Allen throws that ball like that 90% through the middle. It went right through Gabe Davis' hands. Kincaid had an important drop that would have gave him a first down. Trevon Diggs had another drop on third down, which he had one-on-one with a linebacker, which would have easily been 12 to 13 yards. They had a fumble. James Cook had a fumble in the beginning, which he redeemed himself.
He did
in the fourth, but he had a fumble to start the game, which gave the Broncos elite field position, which once again, the defense was great, forced him into a field goal, forced him into multiple field goals, but Ken Dorsey is gone. I think Sean McDermott will be gone towards the end of the year. I think you need something different. You need to salvage what you can from this era. Can you fix this team up? It's going to happen between the draft. You have a lot of old guys in that defense. Von Miller hasn't shown you nothing, even when he played this year. Tre'Davious White, back-to-back season-ending injuries. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, they're getting up there in age. Daquan Jones is up there in age. Like, you got a lot of guys that are up there in age on this defense. And offensively, you need a number 2. Gabe Davis did improve slightly, but you need a consistent number 2. I think Dalton Kincaid is a perfect replacement for Dawson Knox, or even if you want to keep both. But you need a number 2 guy. And shout out to Shakir. He's done all he can in his role, but he's not going to be good enough either. And I think this Bills team, as great as Josh Allen is, his contract is going to kick in next year. You got to kind of be able to build this team through the draft, cut some players, and kind of salvage what you can from a team that is kind of dwindling on no hope right now. I don't see a chance that they can gauntlet through this. Like, they can go through this gauntlet schedule and win a hell of games with this offense playing the way it's playing, especially with Dallas coming up, Miami later in the year. I believe they have Philadelphia coming
KC,
up.
I think KC.
They do got KC down the
their
road.
next slate of games is crazy.
It's nuts.
Versus Jets, at the Eagles, at the Chiefs, versus the Cowboys, at the Chargers, and then they finish off the season with
in Miami,
Patriots, but then at Miami.
Yep. So
that's terrible,
it's
bro.
a terrible, especially with you had winnable games. The Patriots game you could have won. Defense couldn't get a stop. Denver game you could have won. A lot of mishaps in the fourth quarter. Like, there's multiple games you could have won and you wouldn't be in this situation. But, you know, they seen the error of their ways. They fired Ken Dorsey. I expect Sean McDermott to be out, if not in the middle of this year, definitely by the end of the offseason.
I think they'll respect him enough to keep him
for sure, even though he doesn't deserve it. But for sure, they definitely will respect him enough. But, you know, you got to kind of salvage what you can from this Bills team that pretty much their window is closed.
Whew. This is surprising news when I saw it this morning.
Was he scapegoated?
He was scapegoated. Absolutely.
Yes, he was.
What are we doing?
Shout out to Denver.
The wrong guy got fired, but we're here.
Shout out to Denver, though. Big win. Keeping their playoff hopes alive. You know,
Thank you. You didn't even acknowledge Denver.
After starting
let
off
you do it.
terrible, you know, me up here talking shit about Sean Payton, which I will continue to do because I don't like Sean Payton talking shit about Jets. They turned it around, and you gotta give them respect for that. Big win on the road. But talk about Buffalo Bills. Brett Coleman had a great video that I watched last week, like a couple of days before this Bills video, this Bills game happened on Monday Night Football, where you look at the advanced stats for Buffalo. You look at the EPA, DVOA, anything where you look at basically theoretical points. Like, the Bills should be scoring all of these points. And they're not. And it's been for a couple of reasons, really. One, the first half of the season, they were, I want to say, top 5 in terms of converting on field goals. And then these last 4 weeks, they're bottom 3 in terms of hitting on field goals. I think from weeks 5 to 9, they've attempted 6 field goals. They only made 3 of them. So they get these big chunk plays, and you guys should go watch the Brett Coleman video. He's going to explain it much better than me. But basically, they get put in these positions where they're on like the 10 or 20 yard line. And you know how Josh Allen, Gabe Davis, and Diggs in this offense is. They have these huge explosive plays where they go 30 yards down the field. And now your EPA rises, right? You go from a 0 EPA or whatever to now it's like +2 because you're expected once you're on the 50-yard line to at least get some points out of this drive. And then once they get in position, that's when they fuck up. They either stall out, they go 3 and out, they get a turnover, a penalty to put them back 10 more yards. So the Bills theoretically should be scoring all of these points, but they don't. Because in these key situations, which we saw even last night, where they had multiple turnovers, 4 or 5 turnovers in a single game, they get into position to score almost every single drive. They're in Broncos territory. They're right on the cusp of scoring, and something screw ups. Gabe Davis drops the ball. He turns into an interception. They get a flag, whatever it might be. So it does feel like Ken Dorsey was scapegoated because I think 2 things can be true. I think number 1, Josh Allen is still elite quarterback. I still think that you should be talking about him as a top 5 quarterback in this game. But I don't think Ken Dorsey did the best job at making this a balanced offense, especially when you look at the run game. James Cook last night, he fumbled. Who the fuck cares? It's inexcusable. James Cook is your best running back on this team. I know Latavius Murray had a good stat line at the end of the game, but there is no chance in God's name you convince me Latavius Murray is a better running back than James Cook. He's phenomenal. So he gets benched because he fumbles the ball. Like, what year is it that we have to send these guys a message because you fumbled the ball? No, you want the best players to go out there on the field because they give you the best chance to win the game. That was a big blunder. But for Buffalo, we've talked about it week in and week out. We talked about year in and year out. It's been the turnovers for them. I mean, Josh Allen, as great as he is, it's one thing if he's throwing interceptions. It's another thing if the surrounding players are making mistakes, right? Josh Allen's going to have these interceptions because he's pushing the ball downfield at such a high rate. But when Gabe Davis is dropping balls, when James Cook, which, listen, everyone's going to fumble, but when James Cook is fumbling balls, those are the things you can't have happen because Josh Allen's going to be special. He's going to make big plays happen. But when the other players who aren't as special as Josh Allen, they don't have the same margin for error because we know Gabe Davis is going to make 2 catches for 60 yards. But outside of that, is he really going to do much? James Cook is able to make those big chunk plays as well. But we're not looking at him like this super explosive top 5 type running back in the NFL. He has to take care of the ball. So Ken Dorsey does feel like a bit of a scapegoat here, but this upcoming schedule for Buffalo is brutal. And I talked about this, I think, last offseason, the one prior when they gave Sean McDermott the extension. It was head scratching because I'm looking at this offense. I'm looking at this team as not a team that's progressing, not a team that year in and year out we are feeling better about, that we think can get over the hump, make a Super Bowl appearance, make a Super Bowl run. And this, this is probably going to be the year where everything comes together. Sean McDermott moves on, but you're going to have a great head coaching position. And I know everyone's talking about Ben Johnson, and all of these potential offensive coordinators that they want to bring in to be the new head coach of the Buffalo Bills. I'm sure people are going to be lining up for this job because there's not a lot of Josh Allens out there. They're going to be able to work with it. But right now, it's not working with McDermott.
Ken Dorsey was scapegoated. It's as simple as that. And it's quite obvious that he was scapegoated because had the Bills won this game, Ken Dorsey's not getting fired. They lost this game. Ken Dorsey gets fired, but I'm looking at the mistakes they had. Josh Allen had 2 interceptions. One of them wasn't his fault. It was a Gabe Davis drop. The other one was just he trusted his arm too much to fit it into a tight window. He got intercepted.
Shout out to my brother.
That's not a Ken Dorsey problem. James Cook fumbled. That's not a Ken Dorsey problem. The Allen and James Cook handoff that was botched that turned into a fumble. That's not a Ken Dorsey problem. This Bills defense let up 2 touchdowns. Let up a touchdown to Russell Wilson. On third down, I believe it was, Russell Wilson extended the play, made a hell of a throw to Sutton. That was a touchdown. That's an incredible throw, an incredible play. That's not on Ken Dorsey. The last sequence of the game, where on 2nd and 4, it's an all-out blitz to get the Broncos out of field goal range. It's successful. 3rd and 10, you send another all-out blitz. You allow the Broncos to dial up a go shot, a go ball to Jerry Jeudy against Teron Johnson.
Who fries him?
It's a defensive pass interference. That's not on Ken Dorsey. Having 12 men on the field, that's not on Ken Dorsey. I'm looking at the Bills' offensive ranks this year, 3rd in DVOA, 1st in success rate, 3rd in EPA per play. I understand EPA per play is a hypothetical stat. That's because from each positive play a team makes, it measures the expected points added from that play. It's still a very valuable stat. But even on the surface level stats that aren't advanced, the Bills right now, Josh Allen's 4th in QBR. They're 3rd in yards per play. They're 2nd and 3rd down conversion percentage. They're 3rd in red zone efficiency. You can chalk all of that up to, well, Josh Allen is just a great player and he's masking Ken Dorsey's deficiencies. Or you can say, Josh Allen is great, but Ken Dorsey has been doing some things. And I think over the course of the season, Ken Dorsey has tried to implement the running game more.
Mm-hmm.
He's tried to find more solutions. The fact that they
getting
fired
Kincaid involved, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
yes,
but really
getting Dalton Kincaid involved, moving more towards an 11 personnel type of offense instead of 12 personnel because Dawson Knox went down and they were more efficient that way. I'm looking at the Bills and you fire Ken Dorsey and an interim OC now is Joe Brady. Joe Brady, his claim to fame is being the OC for the 2019 LSU team that was led by Joe Burrow, that had Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Thaddeus Moss, and a plethora of players. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, that team was stacked. That was Joe Brady's claim to fame. But since Joe Brady's been in the NFL, he was an OC for the Panthers 2 times. He did not have a successful offense in either season. I understand it's the Panthers, but the fact that you let go of Ken Dorsey for Joe Brady now to take over the play calling duties for the rest of the season, I think this was a panic move. Sean McDermott has to look himself in the mirror. Josh Allen has to look himself in the mirror. And I'll compare Josh Allen to a high-usage superstar in the NBA. Russell Wilson, when he averaged a triple-double in the 2017 MVP season, he's not Luka. Luka's better. Let's get that straight. Luka's better.
I feel like that's a perfect comparison.
Neither one of them have went to any conference. Oh, actually, Josh did.
Yeah, and so did Luka.
Oh, facts, he did.
I'm telling you, this is the perfect comparison.
Russell Westbrook.
Run from it. Hide from it. It's the truth, baby.
Russell Westbrook, he was going to give you 4 to 5 turnovers per game, but he was going to average triple-double and do everything else. Josh Allen is this offense. His positive plays greatly outweigh the negative ones. And people trying to use his turnovers against him like he's some mediocre quarterback or he's not worthy of his current standing in the NFL is ridiculous. He's a top-level quarterback, but the turnovers have to be cut down. And I think eventually the Bills have to bring in a head coach that can coach Josh Allen and coach those bad habits out of him. A couple weeks ago, I made a take about Brian Dable maybe coming back. A lot of things have to happen for that reunion to transpire. 1, Sean McDermott has to be fired. I think that can happen. Number 2, the Giants have to miss out on the 1st or the 2nd overall pick, because if Brian Dable does not have a Caleb Williams or a Drake May to build around in New York, I don't know how much he'd want to be on a rebuilding team with the Giants. So he'd want to ask out, and then a trade would have to happen. So a lot of things have to happen, but I think it's not an unrealistic scenario. But ultimately, with Sean McDermott and his woes late in games with the defense, with the predictable offense, with the turnovers on this team, not just on Josh Allen, but the other players around him, with Stephon Diggs having his brother Trevon Diggs on Twitter airing grievances about the team and calling out Josh Allen and saying to the entire world that gets Stephon off the team, I think this team right now is imploding right in front of our eyes. And firing Ken Dorsey was a panic move, 100%.
The Buffalo Bills, an interesting team for the idea that you have a great collection of guys. It's just a matter of getting them all on the same page and being able to get victories in situations like we saw last night. You had a prime position to win. It was just a lack of discipline. That's ultimately why you didn't come away with this W. Ken Dorsey most definitely was scapegoated. Josh Allen needs to do a better job of not turning the ball over. It's just that simple. We can praise Josh Allen like he deserves, but in the grand scheme of things, you can't turn the ball over as much as you do. You need to do a better job of holding it. Just like we saw it right before the half started. He throws that interception. Fabian Moreau makes a nice play, and then we go and we get points out of it. That's where issues become. I'm fine with the chuck it up, long punt throw type situation. That's different. We've seen Josh Allen have those. But in situations like last night, you need to do a better job of being disciplined, holding on to the ball, making plays when it's timely. I'm with you. Definitely scapegoated. But really, what else is there to say that you guys haven't already said? The Buffalo Bills, 5-5 at this current point in time. The division's looking very unlikely. I saw a statistic that said that the Miami Dolphins have an over 80% chance of winning the division after last night's loss. I mean, at that point, we're looking at a group of teams in that 6, 7, 8. I still trust the Cincinnati Bengals more than I trust the Buffalo Bills for sure at this point in time. The Houston Texans, I don't know if I trust them per se more than the Buffalo Bills, but rest of the season, the schedule for the Texans is probably easier than the Buffalo Bills after the schedule that we just went over. They're just not that great of a football team at this point in time. I won't count them out just yet in terms of that 7 spot, but it's going to be it's a difficult ride for them making the playoffs. I don't feel confident that they will, but if there's a chance for it, they're a 7 seed. That's really the ceiling at this point for them regular season wise. This isn't a great defense in the grand scheme of things. They are an injured group. The offense does need to be better in complementing that defense. But you guys already laid out a bunch of great points. Sean McDermott needs to be better. This defensive unit is what it is. You made a move for Rasul Douglas after losing a Trey White. The replacement of Matt Milano will never come. He means too much to that defense. And I still feel similar to Trey White. You tried your hardest with a Rasul Douglas. But again, there's moments that you could have came away with this win against Denver. And the last game against Cincinnati, you kind of got dominated. So it's tough for me to feel confident with this Buffalo Bills team at all. But again, I give that respect to a Josh Allen who's done superhero type things, but limit the turnovers, dude. They're killing you. And they're killing the Buffalo Bills.
What are your, just to get away from Buffalo, because, big win for
thank
your
God.
Broncos.
I'm done talking about this.
Let me get your expectations rest of the season, because I'm looking at your schedule right now. Vikings, Browns, Texans, Chargers, Lions, Pats, Chargers, Raiders. Not the toughest schedule in the world, not the easiest schedule in the world. Have these last 2 weeks. I don't mean this to sound disrespectful. But to me, these last 2 weeks feel very similar to how the Jets have been winning games. You're getting 4 or 5 turnovers from these games.
Our offense scores touchdowns.
Your offense is just doing enough.
We scored touchdowns.
You won 24.
Our quarterback's top 3.
You won 24-22 in a game you had 4 turnovers.
Russ had 2 touchdowns to Sutton and to Javonte.
Yes, for sure. But I want to get your opinion. Okay, are your top 10 offense? Is this a team that can?
I wouldn't say carry? We have a quarterback playing very good football. He's unfortunately at a point where he has to game manage. You look at situations where, yes, I understand people's gripe with Russ that he holds on to the ball too long. We understand he's always done this his entire career.
Yeah, he's
always held on to the ball. Now, we can also be honest, this offensive line where it had a decent showing yesterday. Quinn Merritt's had himself a great ball game. We saw McGlinchey be our highest graded tackle as well.
Bad.
Say that one more time.
Lloyd?
Cushenberry.
Cushenberry did have a flag, but he's been one of our
multiple.
better. He's been one of our better offensive linemen this season.
He was also on the LSU team.
For sure, he was. We got him as a great pick. I think he was our 3rd round pick, and for what he's been for a 3rd round pick, I love Lloyd. But again, our offensive line has not been the greatest. Last night put a decent showing forward, but we still got sacked 5 times. In crunch time, we still got pressured, and we still were able to allow us to get sacked and be taken out of field goal range, where Russ had to make a play and get us in position to win the game. Now, I still trust Russ. Obviously, I do. We saw it last night where the Bills were able to score with ease on our defense in that last drive of the game in terms of rushing. We've struggled to stop the run so far this season. And for us to be able to answer that punch, be able to still win this game after, of course, the Bills were undisciplined and did have 12 men on the field, the game was still ours to be had. Special teams needs to be better. Will Lutz needs to do a better job, be more clutch in those situations. Dixon has to hold on to the ball as well. Can't just fully blame Lutz in that situation, but he did miss the field goal prior to winning the game in the grand scheme of things. But our defense has been awesome. McMillan has been a great add to us after benching Damari Mathis, We've seen Femi Moreau come in. He's done a great job in filling his role also. It's just a great group of guys right now after we got rid of Frank Clark. We got rid of Randy Gregory. Baron Browning comes back into the unit. Now we're a respectable defense, and we've been playing high-level defensive football the last 3 games that we've played against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. We fucked them up so bad that they fired their offensive coordinator. It's something that you got to at least give credit where credit is due to the Denver Broncos. We made Patrick Mahomes look the worst that he's arguably looked in his entire career. We made the Buffalo Bills fire their offensive coordinator. Our defense is good now. That is stamped to me.
Are we allowing that?
They didn't dominate the Bills.
I said nothing.
The Chiefs. I give you 2. The Bills lost this game.
A little bit of. Here's the thing. We almost. It happened. It happened. They felt so bad about losing to the Denver Broncos.
They were embarrassed,
right? They were right that they fired their offensive coordinator. Imagine that.
I'm giving,
but it wasn't like a beat down. Like, oh my God, the Broncos beat us down so bad.
The thing is,
we got fired.
You played that game 10 times, bro. The
they
Bills
didn't have
win
12
9
dudes on the
Do you know
field.
what?
You
But
lose
again,
that game.
the Bills defense played well.
Yeah, because every time they basically had the ball at midfield.
The defense played well, and for what Russ was able to do in limited opportunity, let me say limit. I say limited opportunity where guys aren't getting open on a consistent basis. Cortland Sutton makes an insane grab. Cortland Sutton really has been under the radar, really fucking good this season. I really want to give credit to Cortland. Javonte had himself a great ball game.
Back.
Our run blocking was really great. That's where Quinn Rance was able to really get his and really make his impact on this game. But again, I love what I'm seeing on the defensive side of things. Really, that's what's been the most intriguing part to me with this Denver Broncos team, where we got against two good offenses and held them in check. But I still worry about our offense on a consistent basis because these receivers can't get open on a consistent basis. Russ is dinking and dunking. I mean, his average depth of target was one of the worst. I think it was the lowest in his career. But again, he was able to make timely plays, and that's all it's all I ask of Russell, who statistically has been awesome. I have to share the stats because Russ is my guy, and I always want him to succeed. 3rd in passing touchdowns, 1st in passing touchdowns to attempts, pass touchdowns to interception. He's 2nd. You mentioned CJ Stroud is number 1. Passer rating, he's 4th. Number 1, tied. 4th quarter comebacks, 2nd in game-winning drives.
Tied with
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson,
baby. Let's go, the Wilson brothers.
Oh God bless us all.
But I just want to give credit where credit is due to Russ because last season
they did too, though.
We did.
Oh, facts.
We did week 1. But we're a different team now. But I also will say last season they destroyed Russ's name. They said that he was one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the game.
He was.
And now he was bad last season. But you know what it was? It was that guy over there that now is coaching one of the other worst offenses in the National Football League. And that's Nathaniel Hackett. Now, yeah, your offense sucks, but so did ours. So did ours.
Our
quarterback, but you know what? It was also due to situation and a guy that could not adapt to his quarterback's skill set.
I'm going to be honest. When it comes to Hackett, 100% he deserves a lot of blame for the Broncos and how that went down. The Jets have had a dog shit offense since I was alive. I don't know if I can I don't know if he's like the common denominator. Like, him not succeeding with the Jets is the reason why he's horrible.
So it's just a Jets thing.
Well, I think it's just
It's been
Let's say
definitely a
Ryan
Jets thing.
Fitzpatrick was pretty damn good with y'all.
That
Brandon
was
Marshall
one
was
year.
also
That
great
was
with
one
y'all.
year.
I just think I think it's quarterback.
Sean
bro.
Green,
Like,
LaDainian Tomlinson, they were
the
pretty great.
Ryan
with
expectation-
guys.
Schottenheimer was the
I think it's
OC.
just the expectation because when Hackett goes to Denver, you get rushed. You're like, boom. All right, we're getting a quarterback away. This should be a great offense. When you have Zach Wilson, I don't think anyone is expecting this offense to be great.
But again, I'm just saying where he was last season, where he is at this point
no,
in
you
time,
gotta-
it's
yeah.
night and day.
Oh, it's
Absolutely.
good that you guys finally have competent quarterback play. That's what you were expecting, which is good. To talk about the Will Lutz field goal and stuff, I guess the holder and him should be better. I don't love the decision of Sean Payne to just rush these guys
I
out.
No,
know
there.
that was a terrible decision.
I think
don't
it
know
was
why he's
hella
doing that
dumb.
shit.
I think the first field goal he missed was because of that. They rushed him
Yes.
out there and he missed the field goal, and that's why the holder he bobbled the snap. And you got a defensive pass interference. You don't need to rush guys out there. You can just spike it.
I'll also
and stop
say
the clock.
no, but
was
I'll say
fourth
this:
down,
we
I
had
believe.
20 seconds left on the clock in that situation. We didn't have any timeouts left. It was third down.
kept
They could have
needing
kicked the field
but
goal and left like 15
we,
seconds
we
left
were
for Buffalo.
we were getting the hash. Buffalo. I mean, Josh Allen's always a play away. I understand the logic behind it. I'll say that.
Tried to
Yes,
leave no
in the
time.
moment, I'm stressed out. My heart's beating. I'm just like, okay, we really stressed ourselves out. For what reason? But again, now that you really sit and think about it, what was he supposed to do with 20 seconds? Like if it was like 3, 4,
You can
I would go
definitely take
upwards
the
of
clock
10.
down and spike it though.
It was fourth down.
No,
Was
it was
fourth
third.
down?
It was third down. No, it was third down. That
No,
where
it-
it was
Russ-
third down with 20 seconds left is what I'm saying.
Russ- on the missed field
Russ
goal
need
kick.
no,
three
on
straight
the
times.
missed field goal kick,
It was fourth down.
it was fourth down. Correct.
Now I'm talking about like to end the game. Yes.
Okay. My whole point is on third down when we need it and we rushed the field goal unit out there, there was 20 seconds left on the clock. I'm saying on that third down where he needed, that was the quote unquote right thing to do because again, God forbid where
Why
our
not just
pass rush
spike
had
it and
been
stop the
terrible.
clock?
But
It was fourth
could-
down.
Yeah, correct.
I'm saying no, but before
We were
that,
trying-
Russ
we were
needed
trying-
3 straight times.
No, but again, we didn't want to give the
Oh,
Bills
well, they ain't
any,
had no timeouts, so
but we
their
see-
offense has been.
but we've seen in history that it could just take 2 plays.
No, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
So I'm looking at it right now.
Shit, I remember that Jags game. They scored in like 3 plays.
It was 4th and 16. That's what it was. On 3rd and 13, Russell Wilson kneeled it
Correct.
to
I know. That's what I'm
the clock
saying.
going. Okay, I get it. But the thing is, I understand the reasoning, but rushing him out there like that, I think that's a big reason why he missed the initial kick.
I don't
And-
disagree.
Had he missed the initial kick and there was no penalty, we're like, why did Sean Payne make it more stressful for him?
Can I also say this? Where it was, I think it's around 20 seconds left on the clock when he kneeled it on third. When we lined
24.
up, he had time to calm down.
He did.
He
Yeah,
did.
he
He
had a
did
good-
not have to kick right
He had a
away.
good amount of time.
You even hear Joe Buck and Troy Aikman saying, "Hey, you don't have to rush anything here. You can take your time." I think when they were finally set up, they had 11 seconds left on the
It was
clock.
a good enough time.
But in the moment, it's like if I'm a kicker, I know
Still
that the
running
clock
out
is
there,
going.
setting up
The
quick.
clock is going. I know that I have to get this off. Where like the time has stopped. I know I can really get
And
set.
it was a chip shot. It was a chipper.
They really had
40
12
yards,
dudes on
right?
the field, and the 12th dude was the dude in the back doing jumping jacks.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that shit with my own
Sean
eyes.
McDermott's after the game too is like, we practiced that all week from going from dime to field goal.
He literally was
unit,"
back
and
there like this, being the odd guy out. It's like, yo,
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, he might not have been the wrong. Like, there was someone who was on the field that was supposed to.
There was
might not have
11
been him.
dudes on the line, and there was
Yeah,
the 12th guy.
there was probably someone on the line.
I
that wasn't supposed to be
also
there.
will say this for conversational purposes. When I seen DeMar Hamlin come out on the field on the defensive side of the ball for the first time this
Got
season,
tackled.
it's not like it didn't enter my mind that, hey,
pick.
script written.
Yeah, no,
he's
facts.
making a play.
Like, what if he gets an
I
interception
swear it
right
entered.
now?
I'm just like, oh, this is the moment where DeMar Hamlin steals the Comeback Player of the Year award from Russell Wilson. He makes a big time play, ends the game. Thank God the script didn't go that way, and my boy Russell was able to secure the W for
Russ
us.
comeback player of the year.
He should be. He's got to be the top candidate. From at this point where he had 7 touchdowns last year to be at already 18, which is already more than what he had for the entirety of last season. He's been so clean with the ball, and I understand the sacks are an issue, but that's who he's always been. And it doesn't help that our offensive line isn't the best. It did a decent job yesterday, even so we allowed 5 sacks. You know what I mean? So I got to give credit to my guy. He's been resilient.
You guys are 4-5 right now. Do you think you're making the playoffs?
No.
If you don't make the playoffs, do you think he deserves comeback player of the year
Yes.
for a player that didn't make the playoffs?
Yes.
Who else is a
It's
candidate?
because who else you got?
It would be Tua,
Brees.
him, and Brees. In my opinion,
Tua probably
Brees has
wins.
been awesome these last couple of games.
Agreed.
They've really struggled with the
Yes.
run game. Tua, I understand that argument wholeheartedly. I wouldn't be upset, of course.
I think if Miami has number one offense, wins the division, he's comeback player of the year.
I understand that. But I just think for how terrible Russ was last year,
That's valid.
for him being
It's a win-win for you either way.
and just counting stats, it is. I'm
He'll
not
probably
going to be
beat him
upset
on,
either way.
but, yeah.
But I want my guy Russ to get some type of acknowledgement this season because the dirt that was thrown on his name last year, and you could say deservedly so. I'll say so too. But for him to bounce back the way that he did, that's my guy.
This week in the NFL, for me, since 2000, no team has lost more games when scoring 30-plus points than the Los Angeles Chargers. They have lost a total of 6 games when scoring 30-plus points with Justin Herbert starting at quarterback. And, of course, I had to mention this, because Dak Prescott on a year, 17 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, 105 passer rating, third in QBR, 72.6. Currently, he has the best QBR since his rookie season, best passer rating of his career, and the 4th most games with 3 passing touchdowns in his first 8 NFL seasons. Dak Prescott's having the best season of his career
He's balling.
with that boy Mike McCarthy calling plays. I thought Mike McCarthy was going to turn Dak into a shell of himself, but it seems like Mike McCarthy has made Dak Prescott even better than he was.
Interesting.
I'll let you have this moment because I know how this story ends. But Dak's balling his ass out, so I'm gonna let
The
him
story
do his
always
thing.
ends like that for the Cowboys.
I know that's why. Dak's doing his thing. He's having his best year of his career, but
And I don't know
how the story ends.
I don't know if Rip was going to mention it, but CeeDee Lamb.
Stop. Just stop. Stop.
Okay, he's going to mention
You're
it.
gonna mention. All right, take over, Riff.
I had to get the stats up because, my fellow brethren at the table, he was giving me a little bit of dirt. He was like, "Yo, CD's been real mid. Where's CD been?" I'm not gonna say who he is on the
You're talking about me?
podcast, but
You're crazy. I apologize.
but he's been he was pretty
You're
much-
really outing me like
he-
this?
I didn't see
Nothing's
the
ever enough for this guy,
Go.
man.
What the fuck?
Joel. Did I say a name?
You
We
didn't
all
say
know
that.
who you're
I-
talking
Dehls, did I
about.
say a name? I didn't
Joel,
say-
don't do that.
I didn't say a name. And then
Have a backbone. Call me out right now then. Call me out right now then.
All right, you want me to do? Andrew Velez was one of those guys that was pretty much.
Unfucking
After
I
the
didn't
Niners game.
apologize. I didn't
Yeah.
After the Niners
apologize.
game, you were very critical of
What are
CeeDee.
you
Yeah.
talking about?
You was pretty. You've been critical of CD since you've been on this
I
podcast.
was not.
And no, since you've been on this podcast,
agreed.
you've
I'm
been
fine with that.
You've been nutmegging,
just
and it's
fucking nuts.
you've been
I
pissing me off.
apologize for my wrongs after last season.
Well-
This season, we all know I have CeeDee Lamb in fantasy football. You better log into the fantasy reaction show. It's evident you're not logged in. I'll say this. I've been as vocal as
This
I've
is
ever
my
been on
this week in
CD.
the NFL. Please stop talking. And Drew was disrespected, and I may have accepted his apology, but CeeDee Lamb did it, and he's rounded off. Weeks of first week 7 receptions, having 17. He's back. Next week 14 receptions on the 12 receptions, 158 yards, 2 TDs. Next week 11 receptions, 191 yards against Philly. Oh my God! Then against the Giants, dog day, eat day, kind of like that. Let's get a stat game. 11 receptions, 151 yards. And a touchdown. And to make it sweeter, CeeDee Lamb has officially walked in to the top 3 receiving yards on the season for a guy who pretty much struggled for 3 straight weeks.
Already
He is
had his
number
bye
3.
week, too.
He is number 3 with 68 receptions, 975 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. We were talking about guys that can walk into that tier 1 receiver list. CeeDee Lamb was one of the guys that didn't get brought up. He's officially walking into that list. He's one of the best receivers in the league. I hate that he plays for Dallas because I have to unintentionally root for him, but love the fact that what he's doing, just being a game breaker, game in, game out, and he's going to continue to put on these performances. And shout out to CD, shout out to the haters, Drew and stuff like that. And
That's so crazy.
CD didn't hear you, bro. He's going to keep doing all what he do.
Thing is, I got none but love for CD this
Couldn't
season.
tell.
I mean, you don't lock into the fantasy reaction. I know my
I do.
brother Joel-
Actually, I locked in last episode. You guys didn't acknowledge me at all, so I left.
Okay, the name of the
You were
title.
drunk. That was when you were drunk.
Oh, I thought we shouted you out.
You didn't acknowledge me. I was in the
I
chat
saw
going
you. I
crazy.
thought we said something.
Nah, I left.
That wasn't the Dak and CD one.
No.
I was
That
on
was-
before.
Yeah, because they don't. When I
Maybe
go
I'm
in
sure.
there and I talking, they don't acknowledge me, so I leave. They're too business savvy. I don't like that. So I just get out of
my
there.
this week in the NFL. So we've done a quarterback list. We've done a wide receiver
Wasn't you
list.
supposed to do the Would You Rather?
I had a
this
long
week?
day today. I couldn't do it.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. It was a
Um,
long day.
I have a running back list here. Tell me what you guys want to do. Do you want to guess the running back who has forced the most missed tackles or has the most yards after contact? I have both.
Missed tackles.
Missed tackles
means
is the
bag.
most intriguing one.
It means you got a bag on you.
You got a little
Crazy
slippery
work.
in you. Huh?
Crazy work.
What, a bag?
Oh, you're not a shady guy. Shady, he be on I Am Athlete, so I'll be giving guys crazy work. That's basically his bag.
Oh,
His
all right, I like
okay.
that. I like that.
So you want to do
I'm with that.
Force?
Yeah.
Let's do the broken tackles.
broken tackles.
missed tackles for?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I got the top 10 here. We got a couple obvious ones, a couple not so obvious ones. So go ahead.
Christian McCaffrey.
Number 1.
Saquon Barkley.
No.
Bijan Robinson.
Yes.
James
4.
Cook.
Number 4, Bijan with only 145 attempts. Sorry, James Cook?
Yes.
No.
Kyren Williams.
No, he's misled last like month.
Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't feel great about it though.
I'm going with Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker is number 3.
Devin Singletary.
Okay. So far I got the first,
So you got
third,
1,
and fourth.
3,
You're cooking.
4.
You're
Just
cooking, brother.
letting out names.
Oh, DeAndre Swift.
No,
No.
Swift's not on this list.
Brees Hall. I don't feel good about.
Brees is
though.
not on this list.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry is number 5.
Yep.
We got 1, 3, 4.
Oh,
5.
Alvin Kamara.
Kamara, no.
Tell him.
Is there a quarterback on this list?
No.
Okay.
I was gonna say Justin
Just
Fields.
running backs.
I would say you're missing probably 2 obvious ones.
Travis Etienne.
Etienne is
Austin
number 2.
Eckler.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Eckler hasn't played that much. this year.
Eckler, no.
He missed a lot of time.
I'm trying to think of running backs. Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs is number 10. Okay, so those are basically all the obvious ones. Now we got
Jerome Ford.
no, we got 3 remaining that are not as obvious.
Cam
Tyler
Akers.
Algier.
What do you mean is not as obvious?
Well, we were talking about McCaffrey and
Cam
Jacobs.
Akers.
No.
I'm sorry. His name.
I'm gonna go with Rashad White.
That's a good one.
He's shifty. He's
Khalil
shifty.
Herbert.
Oh my
Who's that?
God, Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren, number 7.
That's a go. You're cooking.
There's
right
someone tied with
now.
Warren.
You're
as
carrying
well.
us OD right now.
Not giving me a chance to fucking.
You gotta think.
I'm-
You think
I-
too
We
slow.
got
You're
2
right.
more.
What conference? Talk to
Don't
me.
do that. Don't do that. It's way too early for
Way
that.
too early.
We're 2 more.
We're gonna be all right.
You ain't do shit.
You know what? I'm just gonna go by the eye test and what I've seen from this player. I might be wrong,
I
but
got Derrick Henry. bitch.
Jaleel
did?
McLaughlin.
That doesn't
Okay.
count, bro.
Jaleel McLaughlin.
I would have loved that.
He definitely breaks some tackles.
Devon Achane.
Hasn't played enough.
Mostert.
Mostert, yes, is number 6.
Stop playing me, bitch.
Sorry, we had 3 more. We have
Get
3
a
left.
name.
You got 2. I got one.
Who?
I forgot who the
You
fuck I
didn't.
said. No, I did. I said one. I
Who?
literally said what was
Who?
his
You know,
name?
we have to have like
Josh
a cutoff.
Jacobs. That's what I said.
Like each of us can't guess like 20 million times.
just did.
No, I didn't. What do you mean?
Now you did.
You
You did.
guessed the most.
You
for sure.
guessed,
You
but
got
I've
the
got
most.
it
You
most.
got
I got
it
it right.
I'm
You
not
got the most
mad.
right.
I'm not
No, that's why
mad.
we're letting you
But you
cook.
just said
I'm like 6
we
for
got
8.
unlimited.
No, we're letting you
You're
cook.
doing
We're
well.
letting you cook, bro. Because
You got 2 left. Sorry, I missed Raheem. So 2 left. 2 left.
you have one job.
Sorry, sometimes I'm losing. I don't
James
keep track.
Conner.
James Conner. No, he
missed some
got
time.
hurt, Yeah.
Oh, Brian Robinson.
No, he's 11.
Oh my goodness.
Well done, bro. Don't be
Why-
upset.
we
at
haven't
yourself.
mentioned him
Jerome
yet.
Ford was also 11.
That hurts.
We haven't
I'm-
mentioned him yet, but it got to be Isaiah Pacheco.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zay Pacheco tied for.
I felt like that was an
tied for
obvious
9.
one. We just ignored.
So we got one more. Should I give you a hint or no?
no.
Okay.
No.
Donta Foreman. All right,
Tank
go.
Bidsby.
Tank Bigsby.
He might have 20 carries on you. I don't know. It might be.
I'm just dude. Listen, I'm gonna get some names out there. Ty J Spears.
No.
Okay. Don't give it to us. Kenneth Gainwell.
DeAndre Swift.
No, Swift is also tied for 11th though.
I said him, bruh. I'll keep getting the outs.
11th is
I
nuts.
keep
Okay,
getting 11.
so
That might be
what
my lucky
conference
number.
is it in? This is the last guess. So what conference is it in?
AFC.
AFC. What division?
No.
What
Don't
are
give
we
us. Don't give us.
doing?
Don't give us.
You're
Don't give us-
already down.
Joe
to fucking
Mixon.
16 names. No.
Joe Mixon was a good guess.
That was a good guess.
This is
Oh,
probably
oh,
the toughest
Kareem
one on the
Hunt.
list. No.
You're gonna stop with. Oh shit, Gus Edwards.
No.
Fuck. So one of those running backs. Who's the other guys?
No, it's not Hill.
It's not Baltimore. Okay, that's
No,
cool.
I'm here.
Oh
too.
shit, Najee Harris.
No.
Okay, that division's cooked,
Okay,
right?
so we mentioned Devon Achane.
Zach Moss.
He's not
Yes,
there.
there we go.
Zach Moss was a very easy one. He
Zach
should have been
Moss.
there.
There it is.
I helped you.
It
I
took us
cleared-
very
I
long to
cleared
guess
divisions.
Zach Moss.
So the top 10: CMC, Etienne, Kenneth Walker, Bijan, Derrick Henry, Raheem Mostert, Jalen Warren, Zach Moss, Pacheco, and Josh Jacobs.
Drew, you should thank me. I
Fine.
cleared divisions for you just now.
Okay. Thanks, bro.
What's your this week in the NFL, Drew?
Nothing.
Yeah, no, not really. But I will actually have one because I respect the grind and I respect the hustle. Cortland Sutton has played. It's Cortland Sutton. What am I saying? It's going to be about Pat Surtain. Pat Surtain has played the most consecutive snaps of any defensive player so far. He has played a total of 1,533 consecutive snaps. The next closest is Julian Blackmon with 913. He has been the best corner in football, in my opinion, this season. Last season, it was a competition between him and Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner was amazing in his own right, but Surtain has forced a tight window on 28.3% of his targets over the last 2 seasons, 9th highest in the NFL. He continues to be special on every level, and last night we saw that on display against Trevon Diggs, and he's just reliable. He's going to be on the football field, and that's my franchise corner that will be on my team for at least another 4 or 5 years.
Can you guys guess the top 10 passing yards leaders in the last 4 weeks?
I can. CJ Stroud.
Dak.
Dak
sure. Prescott's number 1. CJ's number 3.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Jared Goff.
Tua is not on this list.
Okay.
Jared Goff is number 2.
Just because of the bye.
No.
Is it
4
entering this
games.
week?
It's 4 games, so it measures
The
everything.
bye. He's fucked because of the
Jalen
bye.
Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is number 6.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker's number 8.
I am
Good pull. Good pull. It's a good pull.
You got, like, when you get
That's a good
something, you
pull.
pulled it out.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
bro. Great job. You pulled it out.
Got it. What'd you put in?
Wouldn't you
So
like to?
far, you guys had number 1, number 2, number
Sam
3,
Howell.
number 6, number 8. Sam Howell's not on here.
Oh, Joshua Dobbs.
Joshua Dobbs not on
Josh
here.
Allen.
Josh Allen is number 9.
Is Kirk Cousins on this list?
Kirk is not on this list.
Okay.
God, he's up
Mahomes.
there.
Patrick Mahomes number 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
figured.
So let's get those easy ones out.
So you're missing number 4 and you're missing number 7 and 10.
I'm sure ain't Trevor
Justin Herbert.
Lawrence.
Justin Herbert's number 10.
Who do we got left? We said most of the elite quarterbacks. I'm assuming Trevor Lawrence is not on this list.
Lawrence is not on this
Hell
list.
no.
Sam Howell not being here is interesting.
Howell.
What number is he? Do you know?
Will Levis.
Will Levis is not
No.
on here.
This is passing yard, you said, right?
Yes.
Joe Burrow.
Don't look it up, bro.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's number 4.
So what are we missing?
Number
Brock Purdy.
7. Brock Purdy's number 7.
Nice.
Yes.
Was that everyone?
Clean.
Yes.
Cook.
Tough.
Let me see. Quarterback passing yards last 7
Oh,
games.
Duke
Oh, no.
won.
Last 4 games.
That
Let's
makes me
see
so
where Sam
finicky
Howell
sometimes.
is. NFL quarterback.
Sometimes it's so stupid, bro.
I know, right?
Like,
I was like
It's
literally.
like quarterbacks have thrown for 30,000 passing yards in the last 4 games.
I was
Like,
super
sick.
specific. Okay, so number 1's Dak, 2 Goff, 3 Stroud, 4 Burrow, 5 Mahomes, 6 Hurts, 7 Purdy, 8 Baker, 9 Allen, Herbert 10. Sam Howell is
Zachary.
wow. Sam Howell is not appearing here.
They must have fucked something up. I'll be
Yeah, I
honest.
wonder why.
Is that totality? Did he have a bye recently or something?
No, because it's all 4 games played. So
Is Tua on the list?
Tua, yeah, he's number 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, because these last 4 weeks, we're talking about 312, 325, 397, 249.
Yeah, last 4 games, Sam Howell has 1,283 yards, and on this list, Goff has 1,242.
Yeah,
so
so
Sam
stop
Howell would be
fucking
number
playing
2.
with my boy.
He's been awesome these last 4 weeks.
He has been.
God, man.
Again, yeah, I mean, 6 sacks against the Giants.
Remember when I said I was 8 out of 10 confident that they got their franchise guy?
Nice, it's good prediction, man.
I mean, listen, you were pretty high on the list too.
After 4 weeks, good
I'm
prediction.
still
Sam
like
Howell's good.
5.
He's not bad. If he's fixing those
He's better than
mistakes,
Jordan.
Jordan Love is.
He's better than Jordan.
I hope
I didn't
you
say he's
watch-
bad. I didn't say Jordan Love's
He's
bad. I
not
just said
better.
Sam Howell's
He's-
better.
he's
He's
not
better.
better.
He's playing better.
I
Sorry.
wish Jordan Love had a situation.
Oh,
like that.
now this. Go to
Christian-
hell.
Christian Watson's dog shit.
That's not a him problem at all. That has nothing to do with Sam
Christian
Howell.
Watson is dog shit, man. Damn. Now I feel like this list fucked up because Sam Howell wasn't on here. All right. Grading Kyler Murray's debut.
Yes, sir.
The Cardinals beat the Falcons 25-23. How do you feel like Kyler Murray looks? So round table, grade Kyler Murray's first game back from his ACL injury.
All right. Can we give our grades first and then explain?
Okay.
All right. I went A-.
Yeah, I was B plus A minus. You look really good.
B plus A minus.
I went with a B plus.
I considered the B+ for the interception. I did, because that throw was pretty poor, was behind him, but I wasn't going to allow one moment to gloss over the fact that in prime time, you need Kyler Murray to make a play on 3rd down. He's able to scramble, go backwards what seemed like 15 yards and still pick up the
Vintage.
first down. That's Kyler Murray. And to do this in his first game back off a torn ACL, that was your biggest concern. How was the mobility going to be impacted off his surgery? He looked like his normal self. He looked comfortable in the pocket. If the pocket was breaking down, you trust that Kyler Murray is able to extend, get outside, and make plays happen. And then that throw to Trey McBride was underthrown, sure. Trey McBride had a hell of a game in his own right, was the most targeted on the team. It was great to see them have a great connection early on, I say, in Kyler Murray's return for the idea. Trey's been playing relatively well over these last couple of weeks for him to ball out the way that he did. But let's stay on topic with Kyler. He made some high-level throws. I also knocked him down because that throw to Hollywood Brown, I would have loved it just to be a touch less. It was a touch less away from being one of the plays of the year.
If Hollywood's 6 foot instead of 5'9", he's probably holding that.
Hollywood hauls ass. Hollywood's the highlight of that play, in my opinion, where it was seemed overthrown from jump, but he just gets such an amazing beat on it and lays out full extension, just wasn't able to haul it in. But again, that's why I knocked him off that interception, that throw over the top that I would have loved to have back. But in a debut back off a torn ACL, we saw Kyler Murray look like Kyler Murray, and he was able to come away with the W. I mean, this is what you expect out of Kyler Murray. The world had been throwing dirt on his name. It was easy to do that because he wasn't on the football field, but he reminded the world very comfortably, this is who the fuck Kyler Murray is.
The 3rd and 10 play was the biggest play of the game. It was the highlight. The fact
Talk
that
about it, bro. He's fucking him.
3rd and 10, you need a first down, and Kyler Murray scrambles like that. That's what Kyler Murray does, and you're right. That mobility being on display in his first game back from that ACL is what you want to see. The Cardinals won their 2nd game of the season, and now I think the Cardinals are in great position to rebuild this team around Kyler with all the assets they have moving forward in the future. And I'm excited to see what happens because this offense now seems like it has some pieces. Hollywood Brown's a solid receiver, but then Trey McBride really coming on strong this year, breaking out and showing that he was worthy of that 2nd-round draft pick. I think the Cardinals are a team that is intriguing for the future because they have a lot of moves they can make.
I also saw there was this report that even Kyler Murray's contract is hard to move regardless. So they're kind of pretty much stuck.
I think someone called it untradeable.
They're pretty much stuck with it. But great that he looked amazing because you mentioned it. The one thing you wanted to see was if the athleticism is still there. Can he still move out the pocket? Can he still be cooking his feet? He still runs like a little midget, and he still can move like you know how like a little child just running away, like they stole something, they run away. Like he just looks, he's so fast, he's so agile, guy, for sure. He's explosive, and that's just what you wanted to see. The throws are gonna get consistent, the throws are gonna get back to form, but that running ability, man. I'll be honest.
He's him. He's him.
Yeah, Cardinals, man. We going back to the playoffs. I can't wait. I'm back.
You're back. You're going on a run.
Back like
1-7 or 2-7? Or
2-8.
I'll say who Kyler Murray's return.
Maybe not like this year, but next year.
Kyler Murray's return benefits one more than the other, and it's the New York Football Giants. Where right now the Giants have a better draft position now that the Cardinals were able to come away with this win. With Kyler Murray, you anticipate that they're going to be able to win a couple of games also down the stretch of this season. But really, the Giants having the tiebreaker over the Cardinals could have impacted draft position come draft time. But again, with Kyler back, I think that the Giants, who are going to be in strong contention for Caleb and Drake, I think that this was a huge one for New York Giants fans.
Absolutely. I love the way Kyler Murray looked. You guys talked about it. The biggest, issue was how is he going to look off the ACL athleticism wise? We usually see about like a 15% decrease in rushing production. First year back from quarterbacks, and Kyler Murray, I mean, he had 33 rushing yards. His career average is around like 40 or so. So I guess technically it's still around that, 10 to 15%. But the athleticism was pre-ACL injury, right? He looked just like Kyler Murray. So I was more concerned about how is he going to look as a rusher, not as a passer. And we're looking at it now, like he looked a little rusty as a passer, but as a rusher, he looked as good as always. So as the season goes on, I'm sure we'll have more vintage Kyler Murray moments. I'm sure that throw to Hollywood a week from now, he'll end up, it'll be right on the money. So, we know how special Kyler Murray is. It's great to see him healthy back on the field because when he's 100%, he's one of the most, fun players to watch in the NFL.
Reading some super chats here because we got a whole bunch right now.
Talk nicely about Kyler Murray. You think you're slick?
What do you mean? I just spoke.
He did. No, he did speak.
I just spoke.
Yeah, you're on.
This is the first time that I haven't been locked in. I want to apologize to you, sir.
He did smoke.
3 hours
Actually, he spoke highly of Kyler Murray.
I love to hear that.
Brandon Roop Chan goes, as a Giants fan, I want the season to be over. Plus, the Jets and the Bills aren't looking great. Not looking good for New York football this season.
This guy roots for all
Honestly,
New York teams.
all New York sports this year. I guess the Knicks are kind of the saving grace because they could be decent, but Mets, Yankees, Jets,
Yankees are
Giants. It was all bad.
Vayports goes, all my homies love Jamal Agnew.
Shout out to Brett.
Brandon Roopchan goes, what is a trade package for Josh Allen to the
8
Giants?
first-round picks.
Something
It doesn't
that doesn't exist.
It's more realistic game. Brian Dable to the Bills.
It's probably more realistic. Dable goes back to the Bills than Josh Allen to the Giants.
Damian Delgado, I want to start getting into football. What are your main tips on how I should start?
Get a fantasy football team. Love the players on that
Gamble.
team. Putting money on the game for sure.
Nah,
Start watching one specific team.
Yeah, I think that's it. Find one team, your local area that's going to be on your
Fuck
your
that.
local
Pick anyone.
network.
Pick the Chiefs.
It's gonna be hard to like watch games and shit if you're picking a team cross country.
Like, why?
That's why I give credit to my boy Sean. He was like, you know what? Lions. And now
When
he's
he- when
reaping
he
the
started
rewards. A
becoming the Lions
minute
fan?
ago. When they got Stafford was
Oh,
like
okay.
his
So he's
change
been
of
there for a
guard.
minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just find one team, follow them, and then go based off that. I think red zone's a huge help. Are you okay?
Santos
Fucking
gave us
back,
our record.
baby.
You've been cooking.
92 wins for me and Drew. We're tied.
They're
90
cutting me
wins
off,
for
so.
Dehls and 87 wins for
Hey,
River.
Riv,
They
you're in
told
the
me lock in, and what the fuck
really-
did I
it
do?
really
I
takes
locked
one
All I'm
in.
gonna
week.
say is, remember when I was 5 down? Remember that, Joel?
Yeah, you
He's
were.
Remember that?
I'm only
Folded
two
up
down.
like a lawn.
You know,
chair.
I was
it's
like
crazy
6,
because I was
7
thinking about it and I was like, I built up such a comfortable, respectable lead that I was able to lean back and just
That was me too.
watch y'all catch up.
You remember that?
Watch y'all catch up.
He's talking
But you
shit
know
like
what?
that wasn't me in the beginning
But
of
now,
the season.
but now it's time to lock in.
All
Now
right,
it's
brother, man.
time to do my thing. Now it's time the real season
I
starts.
think the big takeaway, you're right, Riv. It's you.
Yo, listen, and I'm a couple.
Would you go like 11-10-3 this week? Was it?
Nah, bro,
I
you
had
went-
back-to-back weeks to like
It was like
9 to 10.
13.
I'll tell you what
Three.
saved me too. Y'all taking the Bills and me taking
That's
the
a fact.
Broncos.
See, that would have capped off a beautiful week I had. And I'm gonna tell you this: I'm like 6-7 troll wins away from really having like 93 wins.
That's
But I
right.
ain't,
Enough with the 6-7.
Bro,
We
I
went
picked
through
the
it,
Bears
bro.
over the
It's
Chiefs,
like
bro.
3. It's like
No,
3.
No cap.
It's
cap,
like
cap,
3.
cap. I picked the Bears 5 times.
I understand that.
If you want to get our picks,
That's-
subscribe to the Patreon
Like Santos,
every
Santos.
Wednesday. Come on, $1.
Santos, how many troll picks do I have? Santos can easily get this. Tell me how many troll picks I have.
You're gonna have to go through every
was-
video.
He will do it.
But honestly, I don't.
I think you just look at the.
I think you've had maybe a couple troll
picture.
picks. Definitely has
It's
not been
only
like more
3.
than 5.
I would be ahead of
3.
Dehls. I would be ahead of Dehls right now.
nuts. I'm 3 up on you.
So I would have about 4.
No, bro. I'm giving you 3. Take it or
Well,
leave
we
it.
tied with Dehls.
Yeah, there you go.
That's fair.
I think the winner of this should
That's
get
an
a
L for you,
trophy.
bro.
You have 2 more wins than me.
I think we should get a trophy. We should get a trophy. Get it from like one of those places that
Yeah,
make trophies.
Make it a yearly
And
thing.
it's 2023 NFL season pick'em winner with our name on it.
I'm with it.
We should do it for the
winner.
NBA playoffs too.
Sundown Sports. Why does Drew give Bryce Young a pass? Because his situation is horrible. But before the season, everyone said that Houston is the worst situation.
Now we can all round table tell the audience who was the only one that stood 10 toes on Houston having the better situation.
I think it was Dell.
It was me.
It was-
I respect that. Lying on my name, I respect that. But of course, we know that was the case. I felt coming in that Houston was the better situation. I've given nothing but praise to CJ Stroud over these last 2 weeks. But again, I'm just not ready for that next extreme level of conversation. He's been awesome. No doubt about it. You do it once. I already said this. Do it once. It's a surprise. You do it twice, becomes an expectation. He solidified himself in that regard. But I didn't give Bryce a pass. He was terrible. He was terrible against Chicago, and then the week after against the Colts, he was not good either. What are you gonna do, man? I've been honest. I've been transparent. I've given credit where credit is due.
Blake Bass goes, that Bills offense has looked awful for the past month, and the defense is plagued with injuries. Plus, the Diggs drama is not looking good.
Perfectly
He
said.
also goes, Allen got to cut out the turnovers, and it doesn't help that this Diggs-Allen drama has been brewing since last year.
Yeah, the Bills got to be better as a unit, as a whole. This team chemistry right now is negative.
Aiden Ramirez goes, the pick-a-side ambassador of San Diego has made his long-awaited return.
Tough.
Let's have some fun. Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Stroud, Tua, and Herbert. Who has the best chance to win the Super Bowl in the next 3 years?
Did he self-tag himself, or like he is actually the
No, he's the listen, bro.
He's the
He's-
pick-a-side ambassador
he
of San
said
Diego.
he
Shout
says
out.
that he is the pick-a-side ambassador for San Diego.
I must be like
I'm gonna give it to him.
I must
So-
be like lost in the sauce.
I'm going to go with Joe Burrow.
So we got Burrow.
I'm gonna go-
Allen,
I'm gonna go
Stroud,
Tua.
I'm gonna go wild card. CJ fucking Stroud.
You know where
I
I'm
like that.
going. Action Jackson. He's doing it this year.
That's his nickname. Sucks.
Action Jackson.
It is his
Sucks.
nickname.
That is his
Sucks.
nickname. That's a
Sucks is
fire
crazy.
one.
That's mid as shit.
Anthony Saldana
What's your
goes.
nickname?
Rivio.
Anthony Saldana goes. What are
Literally
your
stolen.
guys?
It's Durkio,
It
but
is,
Rivio.
but it's fire.
It is cool.
Some
He's-
things got to be stolen.
He combined two people's names for his nickname.
Who's the other one?
Foreign.
Mine's is better than his. Fabio, that's trash. Rivio for is the one.
Yeah, I lied. We now really think about it. He stole his nickname.
No,
from
if
Fabio
anything,
Foreign.
he stole
That's
from
what we're
Dirk.
talking about.
Okay,
Why?
We both stole from Dirk.
but
I
you stole from
both,
Fabio.
for sure.
How
Fabio.
Fabi steal from Dirk?
Fabio, Smirkio. Come on, put 2 and 2 together.
I guess.
Fabio's 30.
Turkio, Smirkio.
He's 30. I think he's older than 30.
You know, he used to call Pop Smoke Big Bro. Pop Smoke.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
19.
that was crazy. That was crazy.
That's crazy.
Anthony Saldana goes. What are your guys' top 10 receivers currently? Also, my guy CD is on fire and carrying me in fantasy.
Naming all 10's tough. I will say you have to have him on around your top 10 or you just don't know ball.
Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, CD Lamb,
Chase is in there.
Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase got to be
AJ
there.
Brown.
Said AJ.
I said AJ.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Garrett Wilson is a top
Okay,
10 receiver.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Brandon Ayuk's top 10.
He's not better than Amon-Ra.
He is better than Amon Ra. Amon Ra might have better production, but Amon Ra, I think, yes, he's a top 10 receiver
No
right
shit.
now.
I feel like we missing somebody.
Tay. Even though
Tay,
Devontae
we didn't say
Adams,
Tay.
of course.
Somebody gotta get out.
He's still one of them ones.
Who's kicking out?
Yeah.
Who's getting kicked out?
See Ayuk. See Garrett Wilson.
Keenan?
Yeah. Keenan's been
Keenan?
hooping this year.
Keenan deserves to be.
Keenan got the production
By
for
Garrett
sure.
and Brandon.
We didn't mention
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs, so Stephon Diggs
Diggs,
got to be
oh,
top
yeah.
10.
Justin,
sure.
we say Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
Duh.
And then it comes down to guys like Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans.
We know the top 6. Who's
DJ
those next
Moore.
4 coming up? CD,
I'm telling you,
Amon-Ra,
gotta be
Puka? Nuts.
Nah.
way too soon.
Puka was crazy.
Stafford playing against Seattle, huge. Yo, me and Joel, we got a pretty fucking big matchup this week in fantasy football.
Yeah.
This league.
It's the
Our
main,
main
it's our
league.
main money league.
If Drew
Oh,
wins,
like that too?
if Drew wins, he gets a bye, basically confirmed. right?
Honestly, if he yes, and which I
If-
didn't know,
if I win, I need Jared to lose. I think.
yeah,
Jared loses, I'll get a bye.
that which is
But you're both in the playoffs.
yeah, we're locked in.
Hey,
I'm on a 7-game win streak. I started the season 0-3.
check my fantasy.
It's been one of the best comebacks I've had.
You're not that good.
I clear you.
Chris Bass goes, Kyler gets an A minus, but Arthur Smith is a bottom 3 coach in the league minimum. Blank hates winning, keeping him around for 2024. Bad teams stay bad.
I think Arthur Smith will get let go at the end of the season.
What's our league called?
Big side.
I'm
Yes.
hilariously 5-5.
5-5.
No, that's no the pick a side league. You're the worst team in the league.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of
Oh,
a
you
different
Big Ten.
one.
Big
yeah,
Ten.
Big 10. You're 5
Yeah,
and 5.
Big Ten.
No, P. Which? Oh,
I'm
this is
6
with
and
the.
4
This
on
is, oh no,
PAS.
yeah, I'm 2-10.
I know. You're
Black
too-
Sunday
Lost by
goes-
5 to fucking John.
How
See.
about them Jets?
LOL.
Not great, but hey,
He's a
we
Raiders
get Buffalo
fan.
next week.
Oh, I see why I'm losing. Fucking Ridley, Knox, and what's this guy's name?
Your team's ass.
Ridley's in my starting.
You do
lineup.
have Dak and CJ.
Jalen
though.
Waddle's been in my starting lineup for like 4 weeks.
Santos goes, losers should give the winner a jersey.
Not opposed to that, but
Chris Bass
your jersey
goes,
so
also
much, though.
Sam Howell is him. He clears love.
Sam Howell's been hooping.
He's been playing well. You know, great
Will
situation.
he-
what
Will
is
he
it?
survive
What
a
is it
coaching
with me and
change?
mid-tier
I don't know.
quarterbacks just hunting them out and them being good?
I don't know.
Daniel Jones, pray for him. Hope he's doing well.
Justin Fields is better.
And
Daniel Jones. And
So you admit Tua was mid tier.
at the time when I was propping him up to get into that level, yeah, he was mid. But then now he's elite.
Is he top 10 right now?
So get off his cock. Huh? Say that one
Top
more time. For sure.
I'm asking.
What are we
I'm
talking
I'm
about?
Barely.
I'm just asking.
Maybe he's barely getting in.
Mhm. Hater.
He's not better than Dak Prescott.
L.
Is he better than Dak?
Dak's
L.
been hooping.
He's
Yeah.
not better than Dak.
Third in your division. Ouch.
Is they third?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Jets.
Yeah, are they third?
L.
The Jets quarterbacks, I don't care. It don't matter.
Oh, you don't care.
Why does Aaron
Throw
Rodgers
that
keep
Funko
teasing
Pop
you
boy.
guys?
Yeah, nah.
We're a month away.
He's fucked up.
He's
for
like
that.
just putting into like
Every-
surface level.
He's
shit.
honest. I really think he's just trying to keep hope alive in the locker room.
He's
I'll keep it a stack with
hilarious,
you.
bro.
I'm gonna
He
be
like-
honest. I don't even want him to come back. You know,
It's hard to envision a world where we're like around 500 with where the offense looks.
I saw
I
to envision
want-
a world where he doesn't go out there, get sacked, and legs get fucked up.
I want-
Can we not
Yeah, I
put
know
that
that's
in the
negative
universe?
energy. It's
Christ.
terrible. I'll
It's
say
like
this.
Achilles less than 6 months.
I want him. Well, we
Modern
saw
medicine.
Cam Akers come back.
in 6 months.
He came
did it.
back. at
Rodgers
the
will come
start of
back
the
in
season.
4.
That's
I
fact,
understand. But at the same time, I want this to happen because he's approaching 40, if not 40 already.
He
And-
knows time's ticking.
And he is
And
getting
he
back
sees
on the field
defense.
in 4
He's like,
months.
if I was out there, we'd be fucking 7-2 right now.
His Achilles is fried, bro.
it's surgically repaired.
I'll keep it a stack. Doctors say he's good. Go out there, Rodgers. Give it your all.
I'm with
We
it.
got to see. Now, we talked about the Cardinals and Kyler's grade for the game. The Cardinals traded maybe a future franchise quarterback, when they made the move that they were going to start Kyler, and Mr. Joshua Dobbs. The Minnesota Vikings.
Too, bro.
3 hours.
The Minnesota Vikings, I'm looking at them. The Vikings are 6-4.
Oh, shit.
They've won 2 straight with Mr. Joshua Dobbs, who's a rocket scientist,
you know
by
what?
the way.
I had a question because we was having a conversation in the Discord about this. I have a better question to what you're about to spiel about. So we were talking about Coach of the Years. Everybody's been doing a great job. And the conversation that got brought up was DeMeco Ryans versus Kevin O'Connell. And it was like, okay, DeMeco's doing this with, the expectation would they be bottom of the league. CJ was playing amazing. But Kevin O'Connell is the adversity story where he lost Kirk, lost Jettas. Jettas is coming back, but now they're 6-4. So the question is, which side would you say hypothetically in our world, they both make the playoffs. Which side would you ride with more for Coach of the Year? Would you ride for exceeding expectations or beating adversity?
It got to be DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans, last year the Texans were 3-13-1. If they make the playoffs the following year with a rookie quarterback, an improved defense, multiple players having the best seasons of their career, I think DeMeco Ryans deserves the award. With that being said, what Kevin O'Connell has done, he deserves a lot of recognition for the award because Kirk Cousins is playing at MVP level. They started out the season slow. They lost a bunch of one-score games. Now they're winning those football games. You trade for Josh Dobbs after Kirk Cousins went out. And if the Vikings make the playoffs with Josh Dobbs and Josh Dobbs plays well for them, Kevin O'Connell, he might not win Coach of the Year, but he's quickly putting himself in the conversation for the top offensive coaches in the NFL.
I would side with Kevin O'Connell. Start off the year 1-4, season's dead. You come back with life. Cousins gets hurt, season's dead again. You trade a 6th-round pick, bring in Josh Dobbs right away, win. And then also, listen, DeMeco Ryans deserves all the credit in the world, but DeMeco Ryans' specialty is defense. It's been the offense for this Texans team that's been carrying them these last couple of weeks. The defense has been a bit spotty. For the Vikings, their defense has drastically improved actually during this win streak. But their offense with Josh Dobbs has been phenomenal these last 2 weeks. 31 points against Atlanta and 27 points against the Saints, who, were in the better defense in the league.
Talk to me.
I'm with Joel, though. Yeah, DeMeco doing what he's doing when they were bottom 3 in almost every single statistical category last season, for them to bounce back the way that they did this season, doing it with a rookie quarterback. The rookie quarterback also happens to be amazing. So, of course, that's always going to bode well for his situation. He is a defensive guy. They haven't allowed that many points. I believe right now they're tied for 13th in terms of points allowed. So he's been able to do his job on that side of things as well. But with injuries that he's had to face also early in the season, well, right now we're at the midway point. So far in the season, DeMeco doing this as a first-year guy. Respect to O'Connell. He has been amazing in his own right. Joel, you made some excellent points. Start 1-4 to get to the point where they're at right now. What is it, 5-game heater? 5-game heater, and you lose your franchise quarterback in Kirk Cousins. You got to give endless praise there. But first-year coach, doing it with a rookie quarterback, that's pretty amazing. What are we looking at?
Two of the hottest teams of football next week.
Looking at my power rankings.
Vikings, Broncos.
I'm looking at you.
I know. I'm excited.
Why do you have
That's
James
Sunday night?
Yeah.
Oh, because he threw 2 interceptions late.
You were going to go on this whole Vikings spiel.
Now, listen, man.
He has
I feel like
Let's just go on to power rankings.
I just feel like you guys don't respect Josh Dobbs. I feel like I'm the only person that respects Josh Dobbs.
You're the schmuck that said he wasn't good.
When I said he wasn't all that.
No, you said he's a backup. Nothing more.
He is a backup.
Yeah.
He did this on
he's
on
playing
purpose.
well.
He did this on purpose to get me riled up at the very end of the show.
How about
so
you
we
respect
respected the
Joshua
topic.
Dobbs and what he's doing?
How
Joshua
about
Dobbs is a
you-
rocket scientist.
How about you go to a doctor and get checked out?
How about you
for
respect Joshua Dobbs? You don't respect Joshua Dobbs because he's been playing better than Russell Wilson. That's why you're not respecting Joshua Dobbs.
What are you talking about?
Joshua Dobbs is a rocket scientist.
I'm
who just
the
joined a
one-
new team and back-to-back
I'm the one. I'm not
performances
hearing
has
this.
led
I don't
his team
care.
to
I'm not
victories.
hearing this. What's crazy to me is that when I mentioned this in my This Week in the NFL about Dobbs getting picked up by the Minnesota Vikings, you said very blandly, very, very emotionless, Josh Dobbs is not good. So what the fuck
He's
are
not
you
that
doing?
good, but he's winning games and he's playing well.
K1.
One.
Oh, okay.
He's not that good, but you got to respect Joshua Dobbs and how he's playing, Drew.
Gotta make him look.
I am.
Why don't you respect Joshua Dobbs? But you don't want to respect him because you don't want to admit that the Minnesota Vikings might have a chance at this NFC North that we're talking about. Because right now they're 6-4.
We're talking about this.
And look at this. The next games for the Vikings. How about you guys just tell me if this is a win or loss for the Vikings?
Okay.
Next games for the Vikings are 6-4 right now, led by Mr. Joshua Dobbs at the Broncos.
That's a coin flip game.
It's a fucking L. They
But
lost.
in
They're
Denver,
losing.
In Denver, I would side with Denver.
Versus the Bears.
Ribs,
So
keep it
win.
track.
Start over.
I'll keep track. It's fine.
No, start over. I'm sorry, guys. Start over.
Versus the Bears.
Well, I think
They're
win
gonna
that.
win.
1-1.
Then that
1-1.
means they'd be 7-5. 7-5, right?
I'm here.
Okay.
At the Raiders.
It's a tough game.
Raiders been playing
Tough
good
game,
ball.
right? Yeah.
They're Antonio Pierce, Adam Pierce, whatever his name is.
Antonio.
Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, he's listen.
Adam Pierce is a WWE GM.
Yeah.
Really?
I want
Yes.
the Raiders got
Okay.
them credit, but to be fair, they played the Jets and Giants, two of the worst offenses. in
I'm gonna
football.
go Minnesota.
I was having
8-5.
8-5 at the Bengals.
L.
8-6 versus the Lions.
L.
8-7.
8-7 versus the Packers.
W.
9-7.
9-7 at the Lions.
L.
They get swept.
What?
By Detroit.
L.
9-8.
By
Be
Detroit.
That's gonna be it. Week 18.
Hey, listen, 9-8 after you started 1-4 is tough.
That's a huge W.
You're not respecting Joshua Dobbs. He can
I
get
am.
one versus
But
Detroit.
you now don't have a
I'm the
quarterback.
one that was
Perfectly.
happy to hear about this happening.
My goodness.
He's
You
lying.
lost me, bro. You said some disgusting shit in your day. This might be at the
Josh
top.
Dobbs?
I said what I said.
How about you respect Josh
You
Dobbs?
said Josh Dobbs is not good.
He's not that good.
So what the fuck you on
But he's
about?
playing well.
He's playing well.
So shush.
What do you mean,
Happy for
shush? I'm telling you, gotta respect the Vikings.
I would
I
kill for
am.
Josh.
The
Dobbs.
same way you gotta respect the Timberwolves.
I'm done. I'm done with you. Done.
You don't respect the Timberwolves.
Your
man.
mind is gone.
I'll be
He
trying to
does
talk
not
about
respect-
the Wolves too. It's
He
crazy.
doesn't respect the Timberwolves.
I've been
man.
right there with you every step of the way with Anthony Edwards. I don't want to hear it.
But you haven't been there with me with Mike Conley.
What are you talking about?
Oh!
That's a TBT, bro.
That's a throwback. The fact that you brought that up was
Ben
tough.
Simmons is still a better player.
That was
He's
so
hurt
tough.
again.
That's so long
I know.
ago. Wow. They don't
Yo,
even.
fire.
New fans don't even. Y'all don't. where's the
Y'all
camera?
weren't there.
Y'all don't even know.
Mike Conley's assists are more meaningful than Ben Simmons.
Y'all don't even fucking know.
They
how
weren't.
throwback. Oh, y'all don't even know.
They were. That was before Delhi too.
Yeah, that's such
Yeah.
a throwback. Mike Conley versus Ben Simmons conversation.
Damn, bro. That's when I was a
Casual.
novice.
Yeah, you were a fucking idiot at that point.
That shit got us views
My
for
boy
no
growed
reason.
up, man. Shout out to Drew, man. He
Mike
blossomed.
Conley.
Thank
That was
you.
your Usman Garuba days.
I still root for him. I swear I
He's
do.
on Golden State now.
I know. I'm praying for him to get minutes.
He won't, bro.
God, I pray. He is honestly one of those that I have no choice but to root for.
Gotta count it
So
out,
Santos wrote this in the chat. River, I count 4 troll picks right now.
Or
I'm higher than you with the
decided
troll
to-
picks. I told you,
I'll
bro.
be honest, shit don't count. I'm kicking that lead.
Now let's wrap up the show with the
Oh, thank
NFL
heaven,
power
Jesus
rankings.
Christ.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first, very calmly. Number 10. You say I don't respect them. This is me respecting them. The Houston Texans are number 10. Number 9, Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 8, Cincinnati Bengals. I know that the Texans just beat them. Everyone's going to say, how is that possible? How can it be higher than them? You got to trust Joe Burrow, Luan Arunmo, and what they're going over there on the defensive side of the ball. T. Higgins is also dealing with an injury. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. Fully anticipate once he's back, this offense is back. The offense played well. Joe Burrow just had a few unfortunate turnovers, but also did have a position to win the game. Tyler Boyd dropped it. Don't know if T. Higgins does. Number 7, I have the Detroit Lions. Number 6, I have the
You have an ABCD,
bro, because the numbers
That's
are
so
the
ass
numbers. The
backwards.
numbers are for our topics. So then I go enter, escape, tab, and it goes into the number, into the letters.
Shit, yeah.
All right, number 7, I have the Detroit Lions. Number 6, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Number 5, my Miami Dolphins. Number 4, San Francisco 49ers. Number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs, because that defense is fire and they ultimately have Mahomes. And number 1, Philadelphia Eagles.
Damn, I am handsome when I get my hair done.
Oh, you're sexy,
You're
bro.
handsome all the time. Don't even trip. I'll go.
CJ, I look
I'll go
just
here
like him,
next.
man.
They were
You
really,
look like
they were
Stroud.
really
You
on my
look
neck
more
for
like
no
Fields,
beard.
for
Fields?
sure. For sure.
my
Nah,
dog.
bro. With this, he also has the
has great
CJ
shape.
Stroud head shape.
Crying. I'm crying.
You are CJ Stroud.
He wears baggy clothes all the time.
22 years old, man. He actually was just on the Let's Go podcast.
Bro.
He was talking about like his whole upbringing and
Oh yeah, his dad is in jail and
he
stuff.
is.
Yeah.
Yep. And just how mature he is for 22 years
I'm gonna
old.
email him.
You're gonna what?
Email him.
Okay.
Try to get him.
on the show?
for sure.
Tough.
Like, I might not be able to be here, but I'd like watch it from over there.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Too much pressure.
I start stuttering and shit. Like,
Listen, we have some big guys on. I mean, it
Yeah,
be
but
but
okay.
that CJ is a different guy for me.
He's 22 years old, bro. We're
Slay
good.
on. Oh, you
I
missed
missed Slay.
We got Eckler.
Eckler was cool.
You
Eckler was
for
cool. Yeah, for sure. But CJ, like, if we got
Man,
Fields,
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube had me. Remember before the show, I was like
Facts,
shaking and
facts,
shit.
that's facts.
CJ might have me on the floor.
All right, let's get these power rankings. Number 10, I still have the Buffalo Bills. I'd have the Texans at 11.
Yo,
I still got the Bills at 10.
what the?
I
Give
still,
it up.
That was hilarious.
Give it up.
I think. I mean, you still got Josh Allen there. They still got a
Yeah, but they as a whole suck.
Joel, talk to your boy.
I still got Buffalo at
Gotta
10.
respect it.
9, I got the Cleveland Browns. Got to respect what they're doing defensively. 8, Detroit Lions.
Oh,
7,
no.
Dolphins.
Oh
6,
no,
Cowboys.
guys, I need to
No,
redo my
he's
list.
done. Keep going. He's done.
He
He didn't have the
need-
Browns.
I need
He's
to
done.
redo my. I made
He's
a
done.
mistake.
He's
No.
done.
I'll do him. I'll do him right. I'll do him right. One sec.
We rescinded every
No.
apology he's ever
No,
said.
agreed. I'm going to put the Browns at 8 over Cincinnati and the Jaguars. Cool.
Who are they under?
They are. I have the Lions, the Cowboys, Miami, the Niners,
Okay.
Ravens, Chiefs.
That's fine.
Lions is fringe too. Lions is fringe.
I'll
You know
argue
what?
it.
I'll go one better for conversation
to
purposes.
Just said it's all messed up.
I made a
They'll
mistake.
start over
Because
from
you put
10.
A, B, C, D. That's your
That's
problem.
exactly what it is, and I want to apologize to the fans and to you guys for wasting
No,
your
you
guys'
could
time.
just do this, right? You can like do the bullet points and then just write the number.
I know.
Or you could just put one dot and it'll literally do it for you.
You can just highlight it and then click number.
Why are we teaching him how to use a computer?
I don't know. But I'll go back. Number 10, I have the Buffalo Bills. You guys might hate it, but I think them, Texans, Jaguars, all kind of in the same tier. 9, I have the Cleveland Browns. Don't completely trust their offense. 8, the Lions. Don't trust their defense, but their offense is potent. 7, Miami Dolphins. The defense is coming around. The offense can have some blips here where they can go scoreless for halves, but overall, got to trust them. 6, the Dallas Cowboys. I just like their defense a bit more than Miami. Their offense been cooking lately. Some terrible teams, but have been cooking. The top 5 is still the same to me. 5, I have the Bengals. Tyler Boyd catches that pass. They win the game. No one's thinking twice about it. 4, the Kansas City Chiefs. 3, I am dropping the Ravens from 1 to 3. Have had a couple losses here and there that they should win these games. They just haven't been able to close them out. 2, the 49ers getting back on track. And 1, I think the Eagles have the best offense in football. So give me Phil.
All right, let me reread my 10 because I made a mistake. All right, I appreciate it. Number 10, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is pretty damn close between them and the Texans. I'm going to trust the Jaguars. Number 9, Cleveland Browns. Number 8, Cincinnati Bengals. Number 7, Detroit Lions. Number 6, Cowboys. 5, Miami. 4, Niners. 3, Ravens. 2, Chiefs. 1, Eagles.
Just a quick question, because I'm assuming, I know you have Texans 10. If the Bills would have beat the Broncos, would they be a 10 or still Texans?
No.
Okay.
I don't have Texans at 10.
Oh, sorry. Where'd you have
I have
them?
the Jaguars at 10.
Oh, my bad.
You want to go out McCook?
Yes. So for me, number 10, I got the Houston Texans. I think they're a more complete football team than the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 9, I'm gonna go with the Cincinnati Bengals. I was thinking about dropping them off the top 10, but I still believe a lot in this offense and Joe Burrow and Lou Anarumo on the defensive side of the ball. Number 8, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. Big time win over the Ravens. Number 7, the Lions. Number 6, the Cowboys. Number 5, the Dolphins. And the top 4 is Ravens, Niners, Chiefs, and then Eagles.
Just a quick question. I know you guys don't do your power rankings like this all the time, but if the Bengals and Dolphins played, who would you pick?
The Bengals.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because I'm like, damn, I got the Bengals at 5, but I always think like, regardless. Go ahead, Rick.
I'm gonna ride with Miami, boy. Shouldn't me?
Where's Cleveland? 6?
Number 10, I got number 10, I got the Jags. Number 9, I have the Browns. Number 8, I have Cincinnati. Number 7, Detroit. 6, Dallas. 5, Miami. 4, Baltimore. 3, Niners. 2, Chiefs, and 1, Philadelphia.
We all have the Eagles one. Did you have the Eagles one?
Yeah, I think Eagles one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
a new
we have
number 1 in the power rankings for
Dehls,
us.
we're the best team in the league. We have 1 loss.
I-
These bunch of 2, 3
I try-
losses.
I try
teams.
telling
Huge
is
bye
embarrassing.
week for the Chiefs and Eagles. The Ravens lost. The Jaguars lost.
We
The
got
Cowboys
some-
did win. The
some
Niners
big-
won.
We got some big.
How many
games
losses
this
do the
week,
Ravens have
man.
now? 3?
7-3.
Fucking
correct.
embarrassing.
We got Ravens, Bengals Thursday night football. We got Broncos, Vikings Sunday night football, and we got Chiefs, Eagles. Monday
I'm
night
telling
football.
y'all right now on live, I'll consider us television. So live television. The Eagles are gonna stomp Kansas City on Monday.
I'm with it, man.
Like they're
I'm
gonna
with
listen. You love your man's Mahomes. He's one of the best we've ever seen do it.
First gets his revenge.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the way we gonna come out that day. I'm telling you, Meek Mill dreams and nightmares is playing. Like
Hurts-
we're gonna
his
be in the
knee is
locker
feeling
room.
better.
Yeah,
Got the
like
vibe.
we gonna get met by Meek.
How much do you
Gilly,
think tickets are?
Like,
Iraq?
yo,
Right.
Who's
Meek,
home?
I think Kansas City's home.
Kansas City's home?
I think Kansas City might be home.
I thought. I don't know.
If the Eagles are home,
Kansas City is home. The cheapest ticket is $340.
Makes sense.
It's not bad.
They're gonna have Meek
so
Millions.
at Arrowhead, they're going to play.
Arrowhead.
No, I'm talking about in the locker room.
They're not playing Dreams.
No, in the locker room. Meek is gonna be in there. Gilly gonna be in there. Drake might pop up. Like, it's gonna be a vibe.
Listen, I love your confidence. Off
the
the
best team in
bye
the
week,
league.
off the bye week, Andy Reid scheming up against a defense that has been very vulnerable. It's going to be fun to watch. I think this could be the bounce back game the Chiefs offense
Vulnerable.
needs.
You don't have anybody to throw to.
Travis Kelce.
I'm talking about receivers, of course.
Yeah,
Is that your
but
boy
the
Rasheed?
Eagles are actually the worst team at guard.
I'm gonna be honest. I think Rasheed Rice goes crazy.
he could have a big
It's okay
time
because
game.
we have AJ Brown.
Okay,
It's true.
they got Trent McDuffie, Jerry Sneed.
Come on, stop it.
They got some guys.
Stop, bro.
What do you mean? You love Trent McDuffie?
No, I really
I'm
do.
hoping he gets locked up
We
with all
share
due
that.
respect.
That's our.
AJ Brown.
That's twin, but like, come on, it's AJ.
Trent
AJ.
McDuffie's that dog.
I mean, if Trent locks up AJ, I wouldn't be mad. You know what I'm saying? Because I love Trent, but you know,
You don't like Hurts. You want AJ to get locked up.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. You're weird.
What the fuck?
You're weird. You're weird. Reevaluate that one, bro. Bad.
so that's the guy who was literally had a Cowboys jersey on, a Giants
I love
jersey
Ezekiel.
on, and
I
he's a
don't have-
Washington fan.
I love Andrew
Weird guy
Thomas.
here. Like, what do we
Washington
do?
fan.
Sam fucking Howell. You
That's
thought I
nothing to do
forgot?
with Washington.
Anyways,
He plays for Washington.
I understand that, but I'm not rooting for the Commanders to win games. I want Sammy to play well. He's played well.
you have to kind of root for him.
Not
Him to win a
necessarily.
game, for him
Not
to play well.
necessarily.
I mean, if they don't win games, he'll lose his job. So
It's not true.
Okay.
It's not true.
Yeah, to an extent.
yeah, all right, if they don't-
That's going to do it for episode 327 of the Pick a Side podcast. Make sure to join the Patreon tomorrow. We will be doing our NFL picks for week 11. You can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.